In the cramped room, a white-haired boy is fiercely doing push-ups, counting each rep with deadly focus. He pours every ounce of strength into the next one, moving like he's trying to break his own limits. At 9,996 reps, Chen staggers up, gasping and cursing the system that forced him into hard labor right after transmigrating. The door bursts open, his friend rushes in, shouting that the awakening ceremony is about to begin. The newcomer, Zhu, Chen's best bro, urges him to hurry so they won't miss the grand ritual. Chen hesitates, wanting to finish the set, but Zhu Zilong yanks him along without mercy. Zhu Zilong keeps nagging about how vital the ceremony is, not letting Chen waste a second. Reluctantly, Chen joins the excited yet tense crowd gathering in the square. People gossip about rare, powerful classes like Mage or Dragon Knight. Fueling the hype, a cheerful girl squeals, hoping to see the genius idol of the academy Mo Rong Liu Yan. Zhu Zilong and Chen squeeze through the crowd, relieved they're not late. Chen recalls being dragged into this world after a massive earthquake. Now forced into this weird ritual, everyone of age here must undergo a job selection from countless combat and support roles. On stage, a girl named Zhou Lu just finished and became a mage. Amid cheers, Zhou Lu beams proudly, holding glowing energy in her hands. The audience buzzes. This once invisible girl now shines like a celebrity. Zhu Zilong teases Chen about once chasing Zhou Lu, and he awkwardly admits it. He digs through the old memories, remembering the body's past self spending money to buy her affection. After awakening, Zhou Lu is instantly surrounded by boys begging for her attention. She ignores them all, gives Chen a cold glance when he congratulates her, and walks off. Just then, Zhang Lei storms in, furious, and bluntly declares a breakup, leaving Chen confused. Zhou Lu barely reacts, flipping through her notebook to confirm Chen's identity. After a quick check, she coolly announces the breakup too and closes the book. Chen grumbles for the body's sake, muttering like he's just been fired. Zhou Lu sneers, calling him worthless right then. A blonde guy strolls up, acting chummy. That's Lei Ling, proudly saying he's becoming a gunner, then suavely invites her to celebrate tonight as Chen eyes him warily. Zhou Lu gleefully grabs Lei Ling Xiao's hand, declaring she wants seafood for dinner. He instantly melts, promising the moon if she wishes. Then he turns to Chen, arrogantly asking if he wants to come serve them. Zhu Zilong, furious at the insult, defends his friend and swears everyone will regret this one day. Lei Ling Xiao smirks, mocking that the odds of awakening a combat class are nearly zero for commoners. Aside from Zhou Lu, the so-called genius, all regular folks can only hope for trash-tier jobs. When Chen steps onto the stage, every gaze locks onto him. He raises his chin proudly, vowing to make his rival kneel after seeing his result. Lei Ling Xiao growls a threat, saying Chen's arrogance is suicide. Still confident, Chen advances, praying to awaken something mighty enough to change his fate. A bell tolls, the test begins, and the progress bar slowly fills on the screen. He throws his head back and shouts, ready to bask in his imagined glory. But a cold gust sweeps by, and shock hits. The result shows no class awakened at all. Lei Ling Xiao bursts out laughing, ridiculing him for not even getting a basic job. The crowd erupts. No one's ever seen a zero-class case before. Has the world's first. Stunned, Chen mutters in disbelief, thinking he should at least have a fighter's class as a transmigrant. Lei Ling Xiao keeps taunting, yelling for him to crawl off the stage before he embarrasses himself further. Suddenly, the sky shifts ominously, hinting that something big is coming. Thick black clouds swirl as lightning cracks, the crowd gasping at what might be a special awakening sign. Excited, Chen is sure the spectacle means a legendary power is awakening within him. Lei Ling Xiao frowns, refusing to believe a mere nobody could trigger such a phenomenon. Zhou Lu hesitates, secretly wondering if she cut ties too soon. On stage, Chen arrogantly points at his rival, declaring it's time to call him dad. The sky darkens further, bolts of thunder making the audience panic. Suddenly, a massive foot with clawed toes emerges from the clouds. Chaos erupts. Students scream as an overwhelming aura floods the area. The beast dives down, flinging people aside. It's not an awakening sign, it's an invasion. In seconds, the monster smashes through defenses and storms into the academy's core. Chen barely dodges a colossal claw that nearly crushes him. Sirens blare. The system warns of a level 1 demon dragon incursion. Facing it, Chen blankly wonders if this is his transmigration reward. A group of brave students charge forward, weapons ready to fight the beast. The demon dragon merely flaps once, blowing them away like autumn leaves. The rest stand frozen. The creatures at least brank, far beyond their reach. Someone shouts for Mo Rong, their last hope. Zhu Zilong, already fleeing, suddenly remembers his friend and yells for Chen to run. Meanwhile, Lei Ling Xiao laughs cruelly, saying death suits his rival perfectly, standing beneath the demon dragon. Chen realizes there's no escape and braces himself. The monster roars thunderously, shaking the heavens, terrified by its blade-like teeth. Chen screams uncontrollably. Strangely, the demon dragon freezes, staring at him with a confused, almost human gaze. While everyone gapes, Chen suddenly drops down and starts doing push-ups, his only escape plan. The students whisper, wondering if his joking has gone completely mad. Lei Ling Xiao stands paralyzed, pale with terror. At that moment, Chen completes his 9,999th push-up. Upon hitting 10,000, the system congratulates him, granting bonus physique and unlocking a special skill, power charging fist. Curious, Chen asks about it, learning its power scales with energy charge time and force index. The system even offers him a free 10-year trial of the new skill. Suddenly, another demon dragon dives from the sky. Aura fierce as a storm. A re-haired girl on a flying sword appears. Tense and alarmed at the chaos, Chen shouts at the beast to stop before more people die. Without hesitation, he channels his strength and throws his first punch using the new skill. Simultaneously, the red-haired girl unleashes a blazing sword strike at the monster. Both powers collide, with Chen's punch landing squarely in the creature's mouth. A deafening explosion follows. The demon dragon disintegrates into smoke. Everyone rushes out cheering for Mo Rong Liu Yan. the reed-haired heroine they believe slew the beast. Though she senses something off, floating on her sword, Morong ponders silently while Chen below celebrates, praising his skill and begging the system for more quests. Morong lands gracefully, sheathing her sword amid odd stares. Xiao showers her with praise, saying only she could fell a brank monster in one strike. Xiao Lu, standing aside, grits her teeth and vows to surpass the legendary girl. But Morong knows her own limits, she couldn't have done it alone. Her eyes turn suspiciously toward Chen. Suddenly, a chubby man rushes over, panting respectfully beside her. He introduces himself as Huizi, the newly appointed principal, thanking her profusely for saving them, speaking solemnly, and Huizi invites her to address the academy. Her presence long awaited, fearing Chen might steal the spotlight. He hurriedly pushes him offstage to clear the way for the goddess. Unexpectedly, Morong orders him to stop, instantly silencing the crowd. Right then, the system pings into Chen's head commanding him to shout "I love you" to Morong Liu Yan 100 times. Chen freezes, eyes wide in disbelief at the absurd demand. Morong approaches gently, her tone warm yet curious, asking for his name. Chen stammers, unable to finish his sentence, his mind a tangled mess. Suddenly, Chen grits his teeth and shouts, "I love you." At full volume, the thunderous cry stuns Morong, genuine shock flashing in her eyes, and Huizi rushes over, furious and clueless about what's happening. Yet Morong remains calm, intending to ask if that earlier punch was his doing, but Chen ignores her, still yelling "I love you, to finish the mission. Enraged, and Huizi screams that he's insane and orders the guards to restrain him. Even while being dragged, Chen keeps shouting as if his life depends on it, and Huizi and Morong Liu Yan watch in confusion his bizarre behavior. Xiao sneers nearby, mocking Chen as a delusional fool reaching too high. Suddenly, Zilu approaches, softly asking Xiao to lend her some magic manuals. He smirks playfully, hinting their relationship isn't exactly official yet. Zhou ignores him and coolly asks how many books she can borrow. Xiao grins, saying she'll need his father's approval first. Without a word, Zhou pulls out a slip declaring their official relationship. She hands him a crumpled boyfriend certificate, shoving it into his hand. Xiao holds it awkwardly, unsure how to react. Meanwhile, Chen is tossed to the ground by guards, still mumbling his mission lines while being called useless and unworthy of Morong. The guards walk off coldly, saying he'll be the first to die in the awakening trials. Sitting on the ground, Chen ignores the insults, determined to finish after all. Shouting is easier than 10,000 push-ups. Suddenly, 3 thugs block his path, led by a muscular white-haired brute. Chen dusts himself off and calmly asks what they want. The brute explodes with anger after being called uncle. Grabbing Chen's collar, his 2 goons jeer, urging their boss to beat him if he want pay protection money. Chen remembers this guy Li, the bully who used to extort the body's original owner. The original host lived miserably, abandoned and bullied, but the transmigrant Chen won't let that repeat. Without hesitation, he punches the thug straight in the face. Li's face twists sideways in shock, his goons frozen in disbelief, but Chen staggers too, muttering that he didn't charge enough power into the punch. He sighs, realizing the new skill still lacks impact in real combat. Li recovers, cracking his knuckles and growling in surprise that his prey fought back. One goon laughs, boasting that Li awakened as a tank warrior. His skin like iron. Chen's punch barely scratched him. Grabbed by the collar again, Chen quickly stalls, pretending to beg for time to find money. Li snorts, dropping him and warning hell come to the dorm before dinner to collect. Once the thugs leave, Chen bolts off like lightning. He knows time is tight, he must finish the mission with Morong Liu Yan before she leaves the academy. Elsewhere, Morong is being lavishly praised by Principal and Huaji for her top-tier academy achievements. The moment Chen spots her, he dashes in and yells "I love you." Again before everyone, the scene shocks the crowd and Huizi, who roars in outrage. 2 guards rush to drag Chen out, but he keeps shouting like pain doesn't exist. Inside, the conference begins with Morong seated at the center. Asked to share awakening and tournament insights, she calmly replies that she has no secret, just talent and a strong class. Her confident tone silences the room completely. Suddenly, from outside the window, "I love you" echoes again, this time from Chen perched in a tree, and Huizi storms out, yelling furiously at the still yelling boy. He returns, explaining to Morong that the lad might be mentally broken after failing his awakening. Hearing that, Morong frowns, wondering if he's tied to the punch that downed the demon dragon. The principal hastily orders people to gag Chen to stop the chaos, but Morong raises a hand, coldly declaring she'll handle it herself. Without hesitation, she soars skyward, streaking toward Chen like a red tornado. She snatches him up like a chicken and steers her sword skyward with both of them aboard. The crowd below murmurs nervously, does she plan to drop him? And Huizi panics, remembering her demon queen reputation at Qinfu Academy. Midair, Chen trembles as Morong asks Esili, "Didn't you say you love me?" Yet he shouts back firmly, "I love you." She lifts him higher and challenges him to say it 50 times before hitting the ground, if he wants her to believe it. Chen tries to bargain for mercy, but she coolly refuses unless he completes it. Then she lets go, sending him plummeting as the countdown of his life begins. As he falls, Chen screams in fury, calling Morong a true lunatic. Still, for survival in the quest, he keeps yelling "I love you" through the air. Below, the crowd murmurs that no one could survive such a fall. Even as the ground races closer, Chen keeps shouting, refusing to quit. Facing death, he panics and cries out for help. In that instant, Morong Liu Yan dives like lightning, catching him midair and coldly remarking, "Guess your luck's not bad." Though saved, Chen dangles like a chick, gasping, "Are you really a demon?" She chuckles lazily, admitting many have called her that. Then she tosses him into the conference room and announces to the principal she must leave to report the demon dragon incident. And Huizi pleads, reminiscing about the school's golden era tied to her fame. Hoping for a parting favor, Morong responds by tossing out a student badge from Qinfu Academy. Before leaving, she declares that whoever ranks first in the freshman trials will receive a class-free skill. The crowd erupts. Such a reward is legendary, unrestricted by profession, found only in elite academies. And Huizi quietly exhales, hoping the next exam will restore the academy's glory. Outside the hall, Chen still sweats remembering his near-death fall. Grateful he managed 50 confessions, yet he regrets stopping at 9A7, the full 100 unspoken and Morong already gone. Back at the dorm, he finds Li's gang blocking the door with smug faces. Li charges in, demanding the protection fee as promised, but in a flash, Chen unleashes a fierce punch, blasting him out of the room. Smoke rises from his hand. The lackeys gape in terror that an unawakened could have such power. After testing, Chen learns 5 hours of charge can drop a combat rookie easily. Li grovels on the floor, trembling and apologizing. Chen leans down, coldly slapping his face and confirming his name. Then he asks if he knows someone called Mei Mei. Li looks blank, totally confused. Instantly, Chen smacks him again, demanding why he used that nickname if he didn't know her. Li clutches his cheek, whining that the name came from his grandma. Chen snorts, ordering him to find Han Mei Mei or face consequences. Li nods frantically. On stage, and Huiji cheerfully announces the first assessment for all newly awakened students. He stresses that results will directly affect the upcoming martial exam and urges students to reach at least 1-star rank. He adds that this test is joint with 2 other academies, forbidding disorder and requiring teams of 3 to 5. The students buzz with excitement. One shouts his goal to become a 1-star knight for the top military academy. Others whisper about the rare skill rewards. Some boast about taking first place and get doubted for dreaming too high. Chen stands awkwardly alone, annoyed that no one wants to team up. Suddenly, Zhu Zilong calls out, making Chen suspect he's been rejected too. Zhu Zilong scratches his head, admitting he just doesn't want a team, not that he's unwanted. Principal and spots Chen still solo and yells for him to join a group. Ling Xiao adds fuel, mocking that no one would partner with a jobless weakling like Chen. The students agree, calling Chen dead weight unfit for the exam. Suddenly, a loud roar echoes as an aircraft lands near the campus. A purple-haired young man descends from the private jet with effortless flair. He asks the principal if he's late, calm and composed, and Huizi beams, ushering him to the stage and ordering silence. He introduces him as a transfer from Academy No. 1, coining the joint assessment with Academy No. 2. The purple-haired boy humbly introduces himself, denying being the best or most talented. He looks down at the crowd, saying he's unsure he's stronger or worthy of any special skill. The girls swoon, moved by his beauty and modesty. The boys also clap, finding his humility oddly comforting. Then the purple-haired youth smiles and boldly declares he's here for Morong and will take first place. The hall freezes, stunned by the whiplash after that fake display of humility. Turns out the guy was just pretending modesty to hype everyone up. Principal and coughs quietly, whispering for Ruan Kai Ho to team up with Chen for safety. Groups begin entering the dungeon, chatting about the new beginner-friendly zone. Someone warns that even easy zones have monsters not to be underestimated. Chen and Zhu Zilong still wait outside. Curious about Ruan Q's class, Zhu Zilong shyly admits he's a warrior. Chen grins, guessing it's a female-type combat class. Zhu Zilong blushes and nods, making Chen eager to see the transformation. Hesitating, Zhu Zilong transforms into a stunning beauty. Chen claps in delight, clearly impressed. Before he can say more, the transformed girl punches him 10 meters away. Zhu Zilong panics and reverts, explaining he gets overly emotional when transformed. Despite the pain, Chen laughs, shaking his friend's hand, calling them comrades. Just then, Ruan Kai Ho walks by, and Chen calls out that they've been waiting. Zhu Zilong adds that the principal assigned him to their team. Ruan Kai Ho coldly refuses, calling them weak and declaring he works alone. Chen fumes, saying his edgy talk isn't cool, just annoying. Ruan Ki Hai spins around, pointing furiously, accusing Chen of publicly confessing to Morong. He shouts his devotion to Morong, calling her his life's purpose, and scolds Chen for disrespecting her. He orders Chen to stay away, saying just seeing his face makes him want to fight. Chen stays silent, mulling over the angry outburst. Ruan Ki Ho coldly vows to take first place to win Morong's heart. Then he turns and strides off, his proud figure fading into the distance. Suddenly, Lily appears, calling Chen boss and asking why their team has only 2 people. Chen sighs, explaining no one wanted to join them. Without hesitation, Lily eagerly offers to join their team. His girlfriend protests, complaining that Chen has no class. Ignoring her, Lily insists he believes in Chen's strength. The girl snaps, demanding he choose her or Chen. Lily doesn't hesitate and tells her to get lost. She freezes, screaming in disbelief that he dumped her for a loser. Lily coldly says women only get in the way during fights. Furious, she vows to find teammates far stronger than him. Without another glance, she storms off. Chen bursts out laughing, praising Lily's manly resolve. He then declares it's time to enter the trio officially formed, and they step into the dungeon. Inside, Zhu Zilong marvels at the strange energy saturating the place. Chen scans the surroundings, guessing nearby monsters have already been cleared. Urging the team deeper, the group ventures through the dark forest. Chen spots movement and points out a creature matching the book's description. Lele hides and confirms it's indeed a chain fiend. 2 beasts appear in the clearing, the same species. Chen sighs, irritated that his teammates just restate the obvious, and orders them to attack. Lele dumps the mission on Zhu Zilong, telling him to handle it. Zhu Zilong refuses without hesitation. Lele begs Chen to take the field, but he scoffs it's just low-level beasts. Chen orders both to attack, yet neither moves an inch. He loses his temper, smacks Lily's shoulder, and yells that he's a warrior. Lele tries to explain but gets cut off mid-sentence. Chen shoves him out of the bushes, ending all debate. Lele sighs and steps forward. Chen waves encouragingly, and Zhu Zilong cheers. 2 spirit beasts grazing nearby sense movement and grow alert. They charge straight toward Li after spotting him. Lele counterattacks instantly, smashing both beasts away with 2 heavy punches. Chen cheers, praising Lele as a true brute with decent power. Lele coldly collects the beasts' corpses and moves on until a strange sound stops everyone. A horrifying sight, a horde of redade beasts stampeding toward them. Chen panics, clueless about what's happening. Zhu Zilong drags him behind the bushes, muttering about a whole pack of red chain beasts. Lei turns back, finishing his earlier thought his physique attracts monsters. Tu Chen and Zhu Zilong freeze at that shocking revelation. Lei calmly explains that his beast attraction trait pulls in whole packs whenever he fights. The trio dashes off in panic, with Tu Chen shouting that Lei should warn them. Elsewhere, Lingxiao's team and Zhou are battling 3 spirit beasts. Xiaolu casts a high-level fire spell. 3 blazing fireballs streak toward the red chain beasts. Strangely, before impact, the beasts scatter in terror. Lingxiao is baffled, wondering why the monsters fled. One teammate points out the whole horde rushing somewhere else. Xiaolu frowns, worried that missing kills will slow their level gains. Meanwhile, Tu Chen's group is still running for their lives as Zhu Zilong yells about the growing swarm. Tu Chen scans around, spots an open area, and orders a move toward it. He charges ahead, telling the others to stay put while he handles it. Zhu Zilong panics, warning him the beasts are too many, but Tu Chen just waves them back, refusing to be stopped. He lures the entire horde into a narrow canyon. His fists clench, aura blazing. One punch erupts into a massive fireball hurled at the beasts. The explosion rocks the canyon, shredding the monsters into flying gore. Meanwhile, the principals are watching the leaderboard closely. Latiny of Academy 1 proudly boasts his school's dominance. Huang Lin of Academy 3 is thrilled as student. Xiao Huohu ranks second. He turns to Mok and Hueji, who stays silent, and Hueji forces a smile. Mentioning his own student's 4th place, Huang Lin sneers it's only thanks to a transfer from Academy 1. Latiny joins in, teasing that Academy 2 is so drained they have to borrow talent, and Hueji awkwardly defends that staff exchanges are normal. Huang Lin presses harder, saying Academy 2 has no one worth fighting over. He concludes that without Nian Tathaway, Academy 2 would have been crushed by Academy 3. Fired up, Huang Lin proposes allocating more resources to Academy 3 this year, and Hueji counters, saying it's too early to judge before the test ends. Latiny coldly points at the ranking board, declaring results clear, then the board suddenly glitches wildly. Huang Lin gasps as Tu Chen's name shoots to 1st place with 98 points. Latiny is stunned, clueless who Tu Chen even is to rise so fast, and Hueji is equally shocked seeing an unclassified student at the top. He doesn't care why he instantly claims credit. Smugly facing Huang Lin freezes, insisting there must be an error, but Hueji grows cockier. The gap is so absurd everyone doubts it, yet no flaw can be found. The system, powered by the central mind, is famously infallible. Furious, Huang Lin demands a full data audit immediately, and Hueji lifts his chin, daring inspection, proud that Academy 2 now leads. On site, Zhu Zilong and Li gape at Tu Chen's overwhelming power. One punch wiped out the whole horde. Tu Chen still stands dazed, body glowing in golden light. He mutters, baffled by his body's strange radiance. Zhu Zilong panics, realizing Tu Chen is breaking to a 1-star pseudoclass, far ahead of top academy prodigies. But Tu Chen stays confused. He has no class, so he feels no change. Elsewhere, 2 bald men face a pack of radiated demonic wolves. One scoffs, calling the 1-star beast mere trash, boasting he's beyond that level. The other nods they're not after the wolves but something important hidden nearby. Though this trial zone just appeared, legend says someone entered 1,000 years ago, so their target must lie within. One opens a golden case revealing a glowing purple stone. Instantly, a mechanism triggers, shaking the canyon violently. The supposedly slain wolves awaken. Red horns sprout on their heads, their forms turning ferocious. The bald man frowns, space itself feels altered, and the beasts have grown stronger. He rushes to the newly revealed door mechanism but finds it jammed shut. His partner screams as the wolf pack charges straight at them. The alpha leaps, stumping him hard to the ground. He grits his teeth, realizing the wolves have evolved to 2-star level. The other turns pale, confirming they just upgraded the entire dungeon from 1-star to 2-star by accident. Meanwhile, Tu Chen's group ventures deeper. Li sighs, saying no trial has ever been this easy. He guesses all the red chain beasts were wiped out by Tu Chen, and they'll need to go deeper. For more than here's movement ahead. On the cliff, 3 ostrich-like monsters scream wildly. Their heads are absurdly huge, looking like yellow fur slippers, with massive bodies. Zhu Zilong recognizes them as Baotuji. 1-star beasts far deadlier than red chain beasts. Just then, another group of students appears from the opposite canyon. Spotting the same beasts, it's Zhang Yuyu's team. Lilise X, whose member wonders why the red chain beasts vanished. Leaving only 1-star monsters, Zhang Yuyu arrogantly calls Baotuji the weakest kind and orders full firepower. Lilei steps up, declaring his team found them first. Zhang Yuyu glares coldly, mocking that Lilei has some skill, but dragging Tu Chen makes the team weaker. She doubts they can kill 3 beasts. Lilei turns to Tu Chen, urging him to fight since Zhang Yuyu looked down on them, but Tu Chen lazily refuses, saying that last punch drained him completely. Lilei then begs Zhu Zilong to replace him, but gets rejected again. With a helpless sigh, Lilei prepares to charge alone. The other 2 rush in, grabbing his legs and yelling for him to stop, knowing his move would spell disaster. The sight of the 3 clinging together makes Zhang Yuyu snort and sneer, calling them useless clowns. Just then, a loud shout echoes. Team Academy 3 has arrived. Lilei looks over and recognizes Huang Kai, Academy 3's 3rd-ranked prodigy and Huang Lin's golden boy. His sidekick Muddy quickly declares the area under their control. Lilei sighs in annoyance, mocking them for acting like barroom bullies. Zhang Yu instantly approaches Huang Kai, acting all friendly, hoping to be noticed. Huang Kai nods indifferently, acknowledging he knows her. He waves, ordering everyone out except Zhang Yuyu. But Zhang Yuyu smirks, suggesting Tu Chen's team stay for her amusement. Huang Kai agrees with a sly grin, promising to show her his cat that can flip tricks at his villa. Immediately, the girl in Zhang Yuyu's team transforms into a silver-armored warrior and charges. Her 2 teammates join in, attacking from both sides. Tu Chen's team just stares. Zhu Zilong is shocked they're all heavy-armored fighters, while Lilei sighs, calling them real tanks. Zhang Yu sneers, saying Lilei will regret dumping her for keeping a useless guy like Tu Chen. Huang Kai, watch until now, suddenly draws his sword, shouting his name and charging like a storm. He leads the armored girls, their battle cry shaking the air. Suddenly, A deafening explosion booms from the nearby mountain. Huang Kai startles, shouting in panic, demanding to know what happened. Before anyone can react, the Bao Tuji molt, sprouting bladed wings. Huang Kai flails his sword in despair. A single wing slice sends him flying out of the fight. The 3 silver-armored fighters are also knocked down, screaming in pain. Zhu Zilong freezes, realizing the beast has evolved into a 2-star sawtooth demon. Huang Kai gasps on the ground, mumbling disbelief at the transformation. His teammates rush to pull him up, urging retreat. They can't fight a 2-star monster. Battered Zhang Yu crawls over, clutching Huang Kai's hand and pleading weakly for help, but Huang Kai coldly shoves her away, declaring he won't carry dead weight. She collapses, sobbing in despair, begging him not to leave, reminding him about the trick-performing cat. Huang Kai kicks Zhang Yu aside without mercy. Severing all ties, she trembles, crawling up while crying for help in hopeless despair. In the distance, the sawtooth beast keeps savaging her team. Huang Kai flees while shouting for his teammates to retreat fast, but the monsters block their path, roaring ferociously. One member panics, admitting even all 3 together can't beat one sawtooth, let alone 2. Huang Kai suddenly remembers his father's relic and pulls out a glowing green neon orb. Yelling like he's found salvation, he hurls it toward Tu Chen's team, shouting, "Here, a gift for you losers." Tu Chen instinctively catches it, still clueless about what's happening. Zhu Zilong pales, shouting that it's a monster-attracting lure and must be thrown away. Too late, the orb explodes, spreading green smoke around the trio. The sawtooth beast instantly changes direction, stalking toward Tu Chen's team while Zhang Yu weakly moans Huang Kai's name. He keeps running, grinning wickedly, boasting that he doesn't need 2-star beasts, his generously gifting them away. Tu Chen's rage erupts, the system warns, his fury status spiking as he vows to remember this debt. Huang Kai smirks over his shoulder, mocking that threats mean nothing on death's doorstep. Zhang Yu keeps screaming for help, begging anyone to save her, offering anything to survive. Lai Li yells at her to shut up, they're still here fighting. Zhang Yu snaps back bitterly, calling them useless cowards afraid of even 1-star monsters. But before she finishes, the beast leaps over her, charging straight at Tu Chen, has slammed to the ground, crying out in pain. Lai Li panics, admitting even Tu Chen can't withstand the sawtooth beast. Though terrified, he steps forward, ready to fight to the death, but Zhu Zilong grabs him back, firmly taking his place this time. It's his turn, the monster roars, its spinning blades slashing through the air. Zhu Zilong rushes it, his body shrouded in misty light. When the smoke clears, a purple-haired girl in a sailor outfit holding a staff appears, charming yet deadly. Lai Li stands frozen, unable to believe his eyes. In that form, Zhu Zilong blocks the attack, shouting for his teammates to retreat. Zhang Yu instantly joins the retreat, babbling promises while staggering away. Tu Chen and Lai Li exchange glances, nod, then swiftly withdraw. During the clash, Zhu Zilong takes a hit, sliding back a step. Zhang Yu screams, demanding why Tu Chen is still standing there. Tu Chen doesn't answer, he just watches the fight and refuses to retreat. She scoffs, mocking that a jobless nobody is pretending to be noble. Even in misery, she keeps whining about her rotten luck meeting useless trash. Fed up, Tu Chen slaps her hard across the face. She clutches her cheek, screaming in outrage at being hit. Then she runs to Li Li, yelling why he just stood there while she was attacked. Lai Li stays silent, then suddenly slaps her too, unleashing his long-suppressed fury. Zhu Zilong luckily lands safely after being surrounded by the twin beasts. Tu Chen rushes to protect him, stopping his friend from fighting further, knowing his spent, ignoring warnings. Tu Chen stands firm, his rage blazing, determined to avenge his friend. The 2 beasts lunge, and Tu Chen roars, unleashing his mightiest strike. The explosive punch erupts, blasting the monsters into shreds. Lai Li shouts in awe, cheering for his brother's unbelievable power. Tu Chen realizes his skill relies on charge time and the anger burning inside him. Zhang Yu, trembling, insists he only won because she weakened the monsters first. Suddenly, 3 more beasts appear, making her scream in terror. After that blow, Tu Chen is drained, he needs to rebuild his rage to fight again. Thinking of Huang Kai fuels his fury, and the system records a rage point rise. Still, the emotion isn't strong enough to unleash full power. He stands unmoving, facing 2 massive monsters rushing at him. Zhu Zilong and Lai Li watch anxiously from the side. Suddenly, Tu Chen gathers energy as his rage level spikes. He roars, swings his blade, and knocks both creatures back. He doesn't stop, his fury now surges with patriotic fire. The beasts are obliterated in a blink by his blazing punch. Tu Chen stands tall, shouting out the glorious names of history. His next strike seems to ignite the past itself, channeling ancestral wrath. Lai Li is swept up by Tu Chen's burning spirit, screaming with excitement. He yells that he wants to pour a lifetime of fury into one blow. Tu Chen channels everything into a punch that annihilates the remaining beasts. He exhales in relief, wiping sweat, feeling the weight lift off. Zhang Yu trembles, unable to believe a jobless man wiped out an entire horde. Under the sunlight, Tu Chen looks divine, vowing to face this perilous world head-on. Lai Li curiously whispers, suspecting Tu Chen might be a mage with a power boost chant. He still doesn't get what's happening, and Zhu Zilong stands dazed like he's hypnotized. At the monitoring center, the scoreboard shifts wildly. Li Yanjin jumps to first place. Li Tiny beams, boasting that Li Yanjin's talent can never be buried. Huang Lin mocks the silent and Huiji, sneering about Tu Chen's drop in rank, and Huiji calmly replies that third place still proves ability. Huang Lin laughs, calling Tu Chen a useless failure with no real results. He points at the board again, saying Tu Chen will soon be booted from the top ranks. Right then, the system chimes. Tu Chen suddenly leaps to first with 208 points, slapping Huang Lin figuratively. Li Tany is stunned, unable to comprehend Tu Chen's explosive growth. Principal and smirks coldly while the other 2 mutter in disbelief. He steps close to Huang Lin, sneering, "Hear that? That's the sound of your slap." Enraged, Huang Lin turns to Li Chiny, insisting the system or Tu Chen must be glitched. Principal and shrugs, asking if he'll feel ashamed when it proves correct. Suddenly, The board emits a shrill alarm, urgent and strange. Huang Lin freezes in fear, recognizing it as a level and alert sign of a major disaster. He bursts out laughing, claiming he was right, taunting Huaji about who's embarrassed now. At that instant, a staff member rushes in, reporting a severe incident. The trial zone space has suddenly shifted from 1-star to 2-star difficulty. All three principals gasp together, shocked beyond words. Latini hurriedly asks the cause, but the staffer says only that the beasts have evolved, growing far deadlier. Everyone instantly realizes the students inside can't possibly handle 2-star monsters, even the best ones. Principal and calmly asks if they can intervene in the trial zone. The staff shakes his head. The area is now 2-star, but the rule still forbids anyone above 1-star from entering. Huang Lin panics his son is still trapped inside and might be killed, and Huaji coldly replies that things might not be as bad as he thinks. Huang Lin growls, demanding a clear explanation, and Huaji points at the board, highlighting Tu Chen's sudden point surge. He concludes that Tu Chen must slay a high-tier monster only that could grant such massive points. Though logical, Huang Lin refuses to believe a weak academy could produce real talent. Lai Tiny, still doubtful, admits it's the most reasonable explanation for now. Suddenly, and Huaji pulls out a shoe and smacks Huang Lin in the face without mercy. Stunned, Huang Lin yells in outrage, having no idea why he was hit, and Huaji stays calm, saying the slap was for insulting his academy. Before Huang Lin recovers, and Huaji keeps mocking him, telling him to crawl into the shoe out of shame. Inside the trial, Tu Chen realizes things are spiraling out of control and decides to find a way out. Zhu Zilong replies that the exit gate lies at the end of the secret realm. A bit farther ahead, as Tu Chen moves out, Zhang Yuyu clings to him, begging to come along. Her sudden change in tone makes Tu Chen sneer and coldly reject her, but she drops to her knees, hugging him tight, flattering him so hard it makes his skin crawl. Meanwhile, at the teleport gate, two shady men are surrounded by 4 2-star monsters. One mutters that the space distortion must be linked to the relic young Master Lo is after. The skinny one interrupts, saying talking's useless, they need to open the bronze gate and escape. He panics, realizing only a 2-star can open it while they're trapped by powerful beasts. Tu Chen's group reluctantly accepts Zhang Yu into the party. Knowing they can only rely on themselves now, Li worries the path ahead teems with danger, and many will likely die. Soon after, he spots 2 people fleeing from a monster. It's a Lingxiao and Zhou Lu. Lingxiao flips up, firing his gun rapidly like a pro assassin, but even riddled with bullets. The 2-star beast keeps charging unharmed. Lingxiao panics, his bullets can't pierce its armor and both are forced to run. Zhou Lu halts, raises her staff solemnly, and radiates a dazzling light. An earth-binding spell lands, rooting the monster in place. Lingxiao praises her magic power, but she coldly says it's only a temporary hold. From afar, Zhang Yuyu and Zhu Zilong watch the clash between Zhou Lu and the beast. Lingxiao is stunned to see Tu Chen alive, shocked a jobless man could survive this long. Zhou Lu glances over disdainfully, wanting no involvement, and deliberately takes another route. Before leaving, she curtly cuts all ties with Tu Chen, declaring she won't help him again. Tu Chen stands silent, watching them leave, words stuck in his throat. Lei shudders in disgust at their hypocrisy, saying no one asked for their help anyway. Zhang Yu quickly agrees, calling Zhou Lu a foolish girl blind just like she once was. She keeps ranting in fury, flattering Tu Chen nonstop, making Zhu Zilong burst into laughter. Tu Chen seems heartbroken, but it's pure fury he decides to vent it on the monsters. He throws a lightning charge punch, obliterating a wolf in one blow. Lei is stunned by the terrifying power, doubting Tu Chen's true identity. Zhu Zilong is equally puzzled, insisting Tu Chen has no class at all. Suddenly, Tu Chen's body glows, wrapped in radiant golden energy. 2 spinning stars appear above his head, leaving him utterly confused. Li instantly recognizes it as a breakthrough. Tu Chen just hit 2-star rank. Tu Chen is shocked by the speed, while Li can't believe anyone finds leveling up that easy. Lei explains that from 1-star upward, each level is a massive wall that stops most class bearers cold. Zhu Zilong adds that after 2-star, one must complete a class advancement trial to rise higher. Tu Chen tilts his head, clueless about what that trial even is. Lei frowns, reminding him they studied that already, while Tu Chen laughs it off, pretending it's a memory test. Zhang Yu seizes the chance to shine, clearly explaining about the Star Tower and its class-specific trials. She adds that the Star Tower trials are deadly, many geniuses have died or been crippled trying. Zhu Zilong remarks that Tu Chen slaying over-tier monsters is unprecedented, beyond normal limits. Tu Chen starts worrying without a class. How could he even take a Star Tower trial? The group shakes their heads, having no answer to his dilemma. Lei solemnly confirms there's no Star Tower for the classless. A thought sparks in Tu Chen's mind, could that mean he can level up freely without trials? Both Li and Zhu Zilong look uncertain. There's no rule for such a case. Even so, Tu Chen resolves to hunt more 2-star monsters to test his theory. The group reaches a crowded valley where many are watching a battle below. A lone fighter is clashing with a savage sawtooth beast. Tu Chen observes closely while Zhu Zilong gasps, "Few dare solo a 2-star beast." Below, the monster's blade wings spin violently. Deadly as ever, a silver-haired girl with twin daggers charges in, unleashing a close combat technique. Her strike weakens the beast's attack and forces it back. Seizing the chance, she leaps up to deliver a killing blow, but the monster reacts fast, spinning its massive saw wings for a brutal counter. She's slammed into a rock, while the beast also stumbles back, carving a trench in the ground, clinging to the rock. Like Xuanjin Academy one's prodigy curses, furious that her 1-star rank can't pierce a 2-star beast. From above, girl gasps, asking who's fighting the 2-star monster. Her friend quickly identifies her as the top genius. Lai Xuanjian, another adds that Li Xuanjian's class is Shadow Assassin, the same type, once birthed a legendary powerhouse. The crowd admires her bravery, calling her humanity's last hope against 2-star beasts. Lei snorts, saying shiz just average Tu Chen could crush such monsters instantly. Someone nearby laughs, calling Lei a daydreaming fool. The others laughed, thinking it was nonsense and not worth believing. Lai Lei coldly mocked their narrow minds for judging others by their own limits. He turned to Tu Chen, asking if he wanted to show off, but Tu Chen calmly advised humility. The mocker grew angry, asking if Lai Lei even knew who he was. Without waiting, he bragged that he was Xiao Huo, top genius of 3rd Academy after Li Xuanjin. He pointed at Tu Chen, claiming the story of beating a 2-star beast was pure fantasy. He even taunted that if Tu Chen could do it, he'd call him dad on the spot. Suddenly, Li Xuanjin stepped in, shouting for Xiao Huo to shut up, but he rudely asked who she was. Just when everyone expected a sharp retort, Zhang Yu barged in, yelling, "Don't steal my dad." Xiao Huo blinked in confusion, having no clue what she meant. When he realized, he pointed at her, calling her crazy for thinking someone stole her dad. Tu Chen sighed, scolding Zhang Yu for making the situation worse. Xiao Huo folded his arms with a cold grin, assuming Tu Chen had accepted his place. But Tu Chen got annoyed, saying calling someone dad like that was ridiculous and exploitative. Zhang Yu chimed in slyly, admitting it was indeed pure opportunism. Xiao Huo blushed with anger, yelling that calling someone dad was taking advantage. Not losing out, unable to outtalk them, he clenched his teeth and swallowed his rage. Finally losing it, he charged forward, vowing to teach them all a lesson. Meanwhile, in the valley below, the sawtooth beast kept attacking fiercely, even more gatheringly. Xuanjin shouted a warning. The crowd panicked and ran, some sneering that even she couldn't hold out. 2 beasts turned toward the fleeing group. Li Xuanjin blocked them. Shouting to stop, they split up, one facing Li Xuanjin directly, the other chased the crowd, leaving her worried she could only hold one back. Xiao Huo, about to fight Tu Chen, saw the chaos and quickly backed out, promising to settle later. He retreated to his teammates, urging them to retreat fast. Li Xuanjin shouted for help, warning a disaster if the beasts reached the undefended academy. Xiao Huo tried to slip away but was grabbed by Tu Chen, who mockingly called his name. Furious, he snapped at Tu Chen to shut up. Tu Chen loudly told Li Xuanjin that Xiao Huo could stop the beasts. Dumping the task on him, Xiao Huo exploded, denying it, realizing he'd been set up. Tu Chen coolly said he was giving him a chance to earn glory, but he wasted it. Below, Li Xuanjin was still struggling, calling Xiao Huo to help hold the other beast. The loudmouth now trembled like a leaf. Stammering incoherently, Tu Chen didn't stop, taunting if he was scared. The jab hit his pride. Xiao Huo roared back, claiming he was the academy's #1 prodigy. Fired up, he charged in, shouting he'd blocked the 2-star beast for the academy's honor. 1 second later, the beast slapped him flying, blood spurting as he hit the ground. Dignity gone, he clutched his head and ran, screaming in terror. From afar came mocking voices calling him useless. Xiao Huo shouted back, venting anger at Tu Chen and daring him to survive. Meanwhile, Li Xuanjin swung her blade hard, knocking away the beast, entangling her. She dashed toward the second beast, yelling for Tu Chen to run to her for help, but Tu Chen didn't move, eyes icy cold, ready to unleash fury on the foe ahead. Xiao Huo kept sneering, saying Tu Chen was just asking for death. Li Xuanjin also doubted him, thinking he was too reckless to face it head-on. Then Tu Chen delivered a devastating punch, blasting the beast into chunks. Xiao Huo froze, eyes nearly popping out in disbelief. Li Xuanjin stood stunned, heart racing at seeing someone far beyond her level. As Tu Chen finished the blow, a bright aura burst from his body. He clutched his head, groaning in pain. Li and Zhao Zilong rushed over. Worried and asking what was happening, he steadied himself, admitting he had reached 2-star rank and the pain proved it. Li marveled, saying breaking through without a star tower was nearly impossible. Zhao Zilong agreed, saying Tu Chen was extraordinary, so it wasn't surprising. Tu Chen thought to himself, glad he did need the tower but disappointed he felt no real power increase. Li Xuanjin appeared, curiously asking his class and background after seeing his strange power. Tu Chen confidently pointed to himself and said he had no profession at all. She froze, shocked he was completely classless, then assumed he was hiding his class, choosing not to pry since they were rivals. As she left, she suddenly turned back, declaring he was the first to make her feel evenly matched. She challenged him, vowing she would not lose. Tu Chen sighed warily, wondering how he got dragged into competing with this eccentric girl. He cut the talk short, telling his teammates to move out immediately. Seeing Xiao Huo still standing dumbly, he frowned and asked why he hadn't left. Hu shamelessly begged to join the team. Secretly seeking protection, Tu Chen coldly demanded proof of why he deserved to tag along. Xiao Huo fell to his knees, tossing away his pride to beg for a spot. The others were stunned, never imagining someone more shameless than Zhang Yu. Tu Chen couldn't help laughing, praising his rare level of desperation. The group, now 5 people, continued toward a huge bronze gate surrounded by a crowd. Li cheered they were almost out. Zhao Zilong grew suspicious why so many waited but none entered the gate. Lai Lei grabbed someone to ask what was going on. The person nervously explained only 2-star professionals could open it and they just fought 2-star beasts. Lai Lei turned to Tu Chen, saying only he could open it and placing his trust in him. Xiao Hu looked back, face pale as dust clouds rose with countless shapes charging closer. He realized it was a swarm of 2-star beasts rushing toward them at terrifying speed. The crowd before the bronze gate screamed and shoved, panicking as the monsters neared. The whole area plunged into chaos, people pushing, running, all order and reason lost. Li Lingqiu shouted angrily, claiming his class wasn't fit for frontline combat. Shiho from 3rd Academy coldly ordered 2nd Academy to handle the monsters instead. 2nd Academy students protested, upset at being bullied and fearing the overwhelming numbers. Zilu stepped forward calmly, trying to mediate using her status and reputation, but Shiho rudely dismissed her, boasting 3rd Academy's superiority. Zilu noted his name coldly, making it clear she wouldn't let it slide. Tu Chen's group squeezed through the crowd, politely asking for passage. Li Lingqiu sneered venomously, thinking they'd already died earlier. Shiho barked orders, forcing all 2nd Academy students to fight. Tu Chen loudly offered to open the gate, shocking everyone. Shiho laughed scornfully at his small frame, not believing him. He said everyone was waiting for the strongest genius, Lai Shuanjian, to rescue them. Then he mocked Tu Chen, saying if he could open the gate, he'd call him mom. The crowd held its breath. Tu Chen sighed and replied with sarcasm, making Shiho furious. Shiho roared, muscles tensing as he threatened Tu Chen. He jabbed a finger in Tu Chen's face, declaring he wasn't worthy to stand before a genius like him. Losing patience, Tu Chen flipped him off and cursed him right to his face. Li Lingxiao folded his arms, mocking that Tu Chen wouldn't dare defy Shiho so openly. Zhou Lu teased that maybe Tu Chen liked her and that's why he stood so close. Shiho exploded in rage, raising his hand to make Tu Chen suffer. Li Lingxiao secretly hoped Tu Chen would get beaten senseless. Suddenly, Xiao Huhu appeared, slapping Shiho hard and shouting for him to back off. Li Lingxiao froze, mouth gaping like he'd swallowed a melon whole. Shiho stumbled back, accidentally falling on top of Li Lingxiao. Both yelling in chaos, Xiao Huo shouted, calling him a pig and asking if he knew who he was. Shiho immediately softened, forcing a grin and changing attitude in a blink. The crowd buzzed, realizing Xiao Huo was the top genius of Third Academy. Xiao Huo slapped him again, scolding him for touching Tu Chen. The impact nearly made Li Lingxiao spit blood, writhing in pain. Shiho got up shakily, pointing at Tu Chen, furious for being forced to call him dad. Xiao Huo silently answered with another thunderous slap. By habit, Shiho toppled straight back onto the unlucky Li Lingxiao again. He roared in humiliation, struggling to rise. Li Lingxiao crawled to Xiao Lu. Wondering why Xiao Huo helped them, she smugly said it was because of her. Li Lingxiao admired her, convinced only Xiao Lu could make a genius act that way. Xiao Huo walked up solemnly, asking Zhou Lu if she was satisfied now. Xiao Lu adjusted her glasses and nodded, perfectly pleased. Li Lingxiao took the chance to flatter him, thanking him profusely on behalf of the academy. Xiao Huo coldly brushed them aside, clearly uninterested. Then he strode straight toward Tu Chen. Meanwhile, Li Lingxiao and Zhou Lu shamelessly lingered nearby, eavesdropping with zero shame. Xiao Huo seriously asked Tu Chen to speak up if anything displeased him. Li Lingxiao was baffled why Xiao Huo showed such respect to Tu Chen. Xiao Lu quietly noted his name down, vowing never to forget it. Meanwhile, the Tooster beasts had closed in, their roars shaking the earth. Lai Shuanjin led the First Academy elites charging straight into battle. She struck with blinding speed, cutting down horned wolves and sawtoothed beasts in succession. The crowd cheered wildly as the top names arrived to help. Lai Shuanjin rushed forward, declaring she would open the bronze gate herself. She pushed with all her strength, but the gate didn't budge an inch. The beast grew fiercer, nearly kicking someone out of the battlefield. A frantic shout warned that the situation was spiraling out of control. Lai Shuanjian, drenched in sweat, admitted desperately that only two-star fighters could open it. The crowd sank into despair as their last hope vanished. Suddenly, Tu Chen rolled up his sleeves, calmly stating he'd opened the gate. Wei Bihui jumped up angrily, shouting in disbelief. Ignoring everyone, Tu Chen strode toward the gate, declaring he had a way to open it. Even while fighting, Wei Bihui sneered, saying Tu Chen was spouting nonsense. He blocked Tu Chen's path, calling him a nuisance. Li Lingxiao joined the mockery, saying no one was dumb enough to believe Tu Chen. Tu Chen lost patience, shoved him aside, and claimed he knew the incantation to open the door. Wei Bihui snorted, calling it an impossible fairy tale. Tu Chen suddenly shouted a bizarre chant that sounded more like an insult to his two hecklers. The onlookers stared, unsure if it was real magic or a public roast session. After the chant, Tu Chen placed his hand on the gate and roared for it to open. Li Lingxiao sneered, swearing he'd livestream a robbery if it actually opened. But right after, he instantly regretted saying that. The gate slowly creaked open, glowing golden like salvation itself. Wei Bihui stood frozen, face petrified, speechless. Both mockers were stunned, unable to believe Tu Chen had done the impossible. The crowd erupted, rushing forward, buzzing if the strange chant really worked. Lai Shuanjin was in utter shock, unable to fathom how Tu Chen reached 2-star so fast. Before the amazement faded, a horde of monsters suddenly charged in, radiating killing intent. The savage sawtooth beasts attacked the nearest students mercilessly. Chaos spread as screams filled the air and everyone scrambled for the gate. In a shadowed corner, a bald man muttered in disbelief that Tu Chen had opened it that way. Another bald man urged him to hurry and finish their assigned task. The students poured through the bronze gate in groups, entering the secret realm. Lai Shuanjin and Wei Bihui led the way, but she soon screamed in terror. Before them appeared a spider demoness half-woman, half-beast hauntingly seductive. Surrounded by horse's-eyed spiders, the spider queen raised her claws, her horn glowing eerily as she laughed coldly about memories and her craving for human flesh. The students panicked when they realized it was a 2-star boss, normally found only in hide-your dungeons. Before anyone could react, lunged forward, attacking like a predator hunting prey. One student was snatched up by its claws, screaming desperately for help. The spider queen devoured the victim instantly. Without hesitation, blood splattered everywhere as the monster licked its lips in pleasure and hunger. The gruesome sight plunged everyone into utter despair. Seeing the danger, Lai Shuanjin immediately ordered a retreat, but Wei Bihui saw the exit blocked by 2 beasts, leaving no escape. With no choice, Lai Shuanjin decided to risk it all and charge the boss. Yet her strength was nothing. The boss swatted her away with a single blow. Her body crashed near where Tu Chen and Zhao Zilong stood. Tu Chen rushed to lift her up, asking if she was alright. Pale-faced, Lai Shuanjin admitted the 2-star boss was beyond their entire group's power. Overhead, whispers spread as the Spider Queen eerily recited her menu. Lai Shuanjin sprang up, warning everyone to stay away from the deadly claws. But in the chaos, no one knew where to run. Frozen in fear, the Spider Queen unleashed another strike aimed directly at Lai Shuanjin. Unable to stand it, Tu Chen roared in fury, refusing to be treated like sacrifice bait. At that moment, his system triggered emotion-based power, unlocking a max-strength strike. Lai Shuanjin panicked, shouting that the boss' strength was far too great. But Tu Chen attacked anyway, punching the monster's leg, barely scratching it. The backlash sent him flying, injured badly. The Spider Queen smirked arrogantly, mocking his suicidal courage. But then a cracking sound echoed. The monster's claw split and shattered. Li Xuanjin gasped, admitting silently that Tu Chen had managed to wound the boss, something she never could. Still, Tu Chen panted heavily, frustrated that even his full power only broke one claw, showing the massive gap between them. Some onlookers peeked out, hearing the boss claw broke, assuming Li Xuanjin did it, but the Spider Queen screamed in rage, commanding her brood to avenge her. Giant spiders rained down from the ceiling, swarming toward Tu Chen's group. Wei Bihu reacted first, slashing one down and shouting for the other prodigies to fight. La Lingxiao hid trembling, muttering he'd die for sure if he went out there. Wei Bihu yelled back that dying fighting was better than waiting for death. Tu Chen suddenly spoke up, cutting through the noise, asking everyone to stay silent. All the fighters turned toward him, curious what he'd do. Tu Chen raised his hand and asked Wei Bihu for Morong Lion's phone number. Everyone froze, thinking he'd gone insane talking romance at death's door. Wei Bihui roared like a lion, convinced Tu Chen had lost his mind. Meanwhile, at Tianjing Academy, Morong Lian was training against a monster. She wondered aloud if that scarecrow-like beast was really worthy of being a 4-star boss. Instead of answering, the monster lunged forward like an angry rebuttal. Morong Lian swung her sword once, slicing it down in an instant. After her slash, Morong Lian coldly remarked that the opponent was too weak. Her name glowed brightly on the 4th floor ranking board, proving her strength. A pink-haired girl beside her jumped up cheering, calling her someone's wife. Morong Lian left the arena expressionless. The pink-haired girl ran after her, demanding a celebratory kiss for leveling up. Morong pressed her head down, warning her in a threatening tone. Meng Miao teased, sticking her butt out and asking to be punished. Morong ignored her, sighing about being forced to do tasks beyond her role. Meng Miao trotted behind like a tail, calling wifey nonstop. Back at the battlefield, Tu Chen impatiently urged Wei Bihui to call Morong Lian. Wei Bihui snapped, refusing to involve the goddess in their mess. Tu Chen explained he just wanted to save everyone. Wei Bihui still didn't believe, saying even if she answered, help wouldn't come in time. Tu Chen, annoyed, reminded him how they doubted him before, then shouted to hand over the phone. Reluctantly, Wei Bihui handed it over, warning not to offend the goddess. The scene cut to Morong Lian's class at Xinjiang Academy. The male students were thrilled to hear her lecture, praising her beauty and debating punishments for flirting. Meng Miao angrily carried a pile of papers in the office. She dumped them on Morong's desk, startling her. Miao tiredly explained they were all love letters for Morong. Morong ordered the senders punished with harsh field missions. Miao agreed, joking that Morong actually belonged to her. A phone buzzed on the desk, interrupting their talk. Miao saw an unknown number and asked if she should answer. Morong said to pick up, assuming it was a teacher. Miao answered and handed the phone to her. Tu Chen appeared on the screen, face serious, calling Morong by name. Morong was surprised to see Tu Chen as the caller. Miao curiously asked who he was. Tu Chen confessed directly on video that he loved Morong Lian. Both girls froze, stunned by the sudden confession. The boys in class were also dumbstruck like statues. Wei Bihui roared angrily, saying Tu Chen had lost his mind. Tu Chen ignored them and repeated his confession. Morong looked flustered and annoyed by his persistence. After completing his 100 confession task, Tu Chen caused the whole academy to explode in gossip. The entire school raged at his public love confession, making him the most hated man alive. Miao fumed, suggesting they throw him into the hardest challenge for being so shameless. Morong stood up angrily, commanding silence. She stepped out and declared the man who confessed was Tu Chen. Everyone buzzed, curious about this unknown name. Morong suddenly announced that Tu Chen was her boyfriend. Her words stunned the class like a lightning strike. Miao was shocked that Morong publicly admitted to having a lover. Morong calmly walked away after the declaration, leaving the hall in chaos. Deep down, she thought using Tu Chen as a shield wasn't a bad move. The male students fumed, cursing and threatening Tu Chen for being chosen. A cocky, purple-haired guy calling himself Young Master Lang ordered a full background check on Tu Chen. Tu Chen's system pinged, announcing a reward for completing the confession mission. He froze when he saw the reward: 10,000 donkeys. Tu Chen cursed the heavens. Furious the system gave useless rewards in such danger, the system replied that the donkeys possessed a herd kick with unbelievable power. Two bald students slipped into the chaotic crowd, terrified by the dire situation. The skinny one pulled out a mysterious green orb, hinting at an escape plan. The other recognized it as a forbidden lure that attracts monsters extremely dangerous. The skinny man confirmed, revealing he had several and planned to use the students as bait. He coldly chose to sacrifice others to survive. His partner agreed and immediately threw the orb into the crowd. Toxic smoke spread, causing panic as everyone realized it was monster-attracting gas. The scent drove the 2-star beast berserk, sending them into a rampage. The chaos mirrored the earlier Space Rift massacre. The beast's sharp wings sliced through students like grass. One was tortured by spiderlings until he begged for death. The Spider Queen grinned, savoring the flavor added to her feast. The two bald men used the chaos to sneak toward the secret gate targeted by Li Lingxiao roared in fury, condemning the traitors as teammates fell. He turned to Tu Chen, mocking that it was his time to shine. While Wei Bihui sneered, calling him a useless clown, Tu Chen shouted for silence, saying he had a solid plan. He rushed toward the spiders, worried the donkeys might cause havoc before proving useful. Wei Bihui yelled for him to stop, while Li Lingxiao secretly hoped to die to buy time. Tu Chen muttered a bizarre chant, invoking the names of his two rivals for power. The spiderling smelled humans and charged wildly. At the decisive moment, Tu Chen raised his hand and shouted the summoning order for the Donkey Legion. Wei Bihui thought he was raving mad and shouted in frustration. Suddenly the sky lit up as thousands of fat donkeys dropped from above. They landed straight in the midst of the rampaging spiders. Wei Bihui was stunned, Unable to process what he saw, everyone panicked, expecting an attack, but the donkeys didn't harm them. Even the Spider Queen was baffled by the appearance of these odd creatures. Before she could react, the donkey horde charged like a tsunami, sweeping everything away. The lead donkey leapt up and delivered a devastating kick, draining the queen's full power bar. The rest followed like a tidal wave, trampling her mercilessly. Crushed beneath them, the Spider Queen wondered why divine beasts had betrayed her. The donkeys kept pounding until the Spider Demoness was nearly obliterated. Meanwhile, Ling Xiao and Weibui smugly assumed they had escaped safely. Their group hurried toward the teleportation array when space itself suddenly trembled. Strange sound echoed, forcing them to turn back. Before them, tens of thousands of raging donkeys thundered forward at terrifying speed. The two schemers were trampled flat before they could scream. The donkey horde swept through, smashing everything in its path toward the teleportation array. Outside, La Xiao's subordinates grew anxious that the pair hadn't returned as planned. One shouted with joy when the teleportation array lit up, thinking someone was coming back. La Xiao rejoices, believing that precious item will help him reach the ultimate realm. But his joy vanishes the moment he sees who steps out. Not a person but a herd of fat donkeys charging in, plunging him into chaos. Inside King Tong sect, students gossip in shock about the donkeys wiping out monsters. Lai Lei grills Zhao Zilong about whether Chen is a summoner, but no one's sure. Wei Baihui is utterly baffled who on earth summons thousands of donkeys. Chen calmly approaches the corpses of the two ringleaders and picks up a strange box. He opens it, revealing a dazzling golden key inside. Suddenly, the key flies toward him, as if trying to merge with his body. Li Yangyan arrives at the scene where the Spider Demoness was crushed. She stands there stunned, unable to believe a mighty boss lost to dumb donkeys. A survivor weakly lifts his head through the smoke and asks what just happened. He wonders why an entire herd of donkeys appeared out of nowhere. Many students cheer for surviving and wonder who saved them. Someone wants to learn the summoning spell, while another shouts the weird chant again. Nguyen Baihui and Ling Xiao fume, faces dark with embarrassment for being mocked. Wei Baihui grits his teeth, admitting Chen is no simple man, perhaps a hidden master. Yet Ling Xiao denies it, refusing to believe Chen saved them all. Wei Baihui suddenly realizes Ling Xiao truly is the big sand idiot Chen mentioned. As the group still reels, the two-star sawtooth beasts start moving menacingly again. A terrified student yells for everyone to retreat through the teleport array. Zilu strikes amid the chaos, using the Mother of Earth to hunt her old foe. That foe, Sheihao, once her enemy, is trapped by sand and can't escape. Just then, a sawtooth beast lunges in and finishes Sheihao with a brutal blow. Blood spills. Zhou Lu notes his name in her book, says she warned him, and walks off coldly. Meanwhile, Chen suddenly clutches his head in pain. Suspecting it's from overkilling monsters, Zhao Zilong rushes over, and Chen forces a smile, saying he's now 3-star. Lele is stunned by Chen's insane rank-up speed, thinking he'll become a legend. In the principal's office, La Xinyi angrily demands a report on the Space Mage's support. Staff reply that help is coming but will take another hour to arrive, and Huizi loses patience, ordering them to break the barrier now to save the students. Huang Lin despairs, admitting their 4-star power isn't enough to shatter it. He worries for his son, Huang Can, trapped inside, holding his head helplessly, and Huizi shouts, calling Huang Lin a coward and threatening to act alone. Suddenly, the leaderboard lights up. Chen tops it by a ridiculous margin. The tech staff panics, urging the deans to check the results immediately. Huang Lin freezes, unable to believe Chen's score exceeds 1,000. La Xinyi suspects a system glitch. Such a score seems impossible. Huang Lin grows angrier, calling it an unreal number that smashes every record ever, even the mightiest freak in history. Lei Shen never scored above 980, and Huizi stands firm, claiming Chen might be the next legend. The other two principals immediately reject that as nonsense. Lai Xinyi insists they must uncover the real reason behind such absurdly high points, and Huizi hesitantly admits Chen was originally a jobless student. Huang Lin scoffs, saying that comparison insults Lei Shen's reputation. Just then, a tech staffer rushes in, shouting that the students have escaped. The three principals are stunned and demand confirmation. The staff happily confirms, saying they saw students being teleported out. Outside, Chen strides out proudly with the students from the teleport array. The system announces everyone's safe and rewards are being calculated. Chen marvels, realizing this world works like in Rapi and is getting more fun. The system reports his earned strength, soul points, and the rare Spider Queen's sleeping elixir. The three principals rush over, relieved the students survived but curious who saved them. La Xinyi is certain the miracle was caused by genius Li Yangyan, and Huizi argues it's more likely to Chen. Given his insane score, the other two principals instantly reject that ridiculous idea. Huang Lin snaps, declaring if Chen really saved them, he can enter his academy's ultimate dungeon. And Huizi sighs, realizing the second academy nearly beat the third this time. All three principals surround Li Yangyan, eager for her heroic story. She blushes and denies it, saying clearly she wasn't the savior. Huang Lin hurriedly tries to credit his student, proudly patting Xiao Hu. Xiao Hu awkwardly admits he did absolutely nothing in the secret realm. Huang Lin doesn't believe it and presses him about any achievement. He calmly replies, does recognizing a foster dad count? Stunning everyone, Huang Lin is speechless, jaw-dropping as if struck by lightning, losing control. He slaps Xiao Hu in fury, thinking he's being mocked. Li Yangyan intervenes, clarifying that Chen was the true savior, and Huizi is shocked, turning his gaze to Chen the unexpected hero. Doubt echoes in his mind. He can't believe Chen pulled it off. Chen calmly asks if saving people earns any rewards. Lai Xinyi solemnly replies that his merit will be reported to the Star Tower Alliance. Chen nods coolly, confirming he was indeed the one who turned the tide, and Huizi beams proudly, declaring the second academy has officially risen to the top. Huang Lin roars in rage, refusing to believe a jobless Chen could achieve that. Without arguing, Chen decks Huang Lin with one punch, leaving everyone frozen, and Huizi smirks, reminding Huang Lin of his promise about the ultimate dungeon. But Li Xinyi steps in, saying the donkey summoning incident is too complex and needs Star Tower review. After hearing that, the crowd quietly disperses only to Chen stays, still curious about the Godslayer points, and Huaiji cheerfully explains that Godslayer points appear only at peak performance, rare even among Shrankers. Lai Xinyi coldly asks to Chen if has actually achieved one already. To Chen calmly confirms has only gained a single point. Lai Xinyi is stunned, noting even university geniuses rarely reach that. She eyes to Chen with both doubt and admiration, saying he's the first from the Central Party Academy to do so, and Huaiji pats to Chen's shoulder, excitedly congratulating him for topping the trial and earning a precious skill. To Chen shivers, remembering Mu Rong Liu Yan and fearing she might come for him. Li Yang Yan steps up, declaring she'll take the top human ranking in the next exam. To Chen replies coolly, advising her not to compare herself to him. Li Yang Yan frowns, suspecting his looking down on her. To Chen turns away, saying indifferently he's just an AF player. Li Yang Yan is baffled by the strange phrase and murmurs guesses, but To Chen vanishes without a trace. The scene shifts to a hellish volcano-like realm blanketed in red earth. A blonde man is tied up, screaming desperately for mercy. A group of hooded figures chant praises to the false god, the future master of the world. Flames surround the pillar, lighting the man's pained face as 5 cultists raise their arms. The captive howls in agony as the fire consumes his body. One cultist shouts with glee that the false god has responded to their many sacrifices. A horrific shadow looms above a purple face with horns and fangs, chills every soul. The fanatics scream in ecstasy, worshiping the apparition as if a true god had descended. From above, the entity's thunderous voice declares its wrath. The cultists immediately prostrate, trembling as they beg to know the reason for his anger and vow eternal service. The deity coldly states his 4th child was slain by humans while hunting in secret. The cult leader panics, demanding to know who dared kill the prince. The god gives no name, only ordering them to hunt down the murderer and report back. The lead devotee vows to investigate thoroughly, certain the high-ranked beast's death left traces. Before vanishing, the god roars like thunder, swearing even the thunder god himself will face punishment. In a lavish villa, La Xiao sits bruise-faced while his bald underling worries nearby. La Xiao snaps, shouting that anyone trampled by hundreds of donkeys would hurt too. The underling reports that the item he sought might now be in Chen's hands. Hearing that, La Xiao leaps up in fury, vowing to reclaim it and deal with Chen personally. His men panic, warning that Chen's rescue deed has reached the Alliance's ears. La Xiao growls, ignoring the warning and showing he fears no one. The underling wipes sweat, carefully reminding him that making a scene could tarnish the La family's name. La Xiao thinks for a moment, then orders to hire top-tier assassins from Jing Mai to retrieve the item. The underling obeys immediately, promising to handle everything smoothly. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion shakes the sky. Startling La Xiao, another servant bursts in, yelling that a herd of donkeys is charging straight toward the villa. Sure enough, the massive herd storms in, filling the air with dust and chaos. Seeing the madness, La Xiao shouts in disbelief, not these creatures again. With no time to dodge, everyone gets mercilessly trampled by the donkeys. La Xiao clutches his stomach, groaning in pain with tears in his eyes. The donkeys pass, leaving behind wreckage and swirling clouds of dust. Sprawled amid the ruins, La Xiao wails in despair his new mansion is now rubble. Meanwhile, Chen watches a news report about his donkeys. The host says only one victim surnamed Lo was affected. Chen breaks into a cold sweat, realizing he forgot to recall his massive roaming herd. He hurriedly asks the system if he can summon back 10,000 donkeys. The system replies it's possible, delighting Chen as he orders a full recall. Instantly, the rampaging donkeys turn into light and vanish into the void. Chen beams, feeling power surge within him as a bold idea sparks. Just then, Zhu Zilong rushes in, worriedly announcing an emergency meeting. On the way, Chen wonders what's so special about the upcoming meeting. Zhu Zilong explains seriously that due to many student failures, the academies have opened secret realms and demon zones to boost strength. Chen asks curiously what a demon zone is. Zhu Zilong replies it's a region dominated by demonic beasts, far deadlier than secret realms. He adds those zones exist in the real world, ruled by vicious monsters. Chen is shocked that demon zones are real and asks why no one destroys them. Zhu Zilong says they're too many and too strong, attacking could trigger catastrophic retaliation. He pauses, warning that any large disturbance could bring humanity unprecedented disaster. Chen strokes his chin, pondering the true origin of these monsters. Zhu Zilong explains some escape from secret realms, others emerge from space rifts, and deeper answers await in higher academies. Suddenly, the system issues a new mission, making Chen jump to bear triplets for humanity's preservation. He yells in disbelief, unable to process what he just heard. The system coldly responds that it only jokes when it can't resist, and this time, it's serious. Chen screams in outrage, calling the mission absurd since has not even matured. Zhu Zilong just stares blankly. The system mercilessly declares that once issued, a mission cannot be changed and must be completed ASAP. Blushing furiously, Chen stammers, asking how to have kids when he's still single and begging the system for matchmaking help. But the system crushes his hope, bluntly replying that feature isn't supported. Chen turns to Zhu Zilong, hesitation all over his face. Zhu Zilong folds his arms warily, asking what's going on. Embarrassed to death, Chen asks if Zhu Zilong is capable of bearing children. The bizarre question freezes Zhu Zilong on the spot, his mind completely blank. In class, students excitedly discuss how Chen saved them in the secret realm. Awaiting score verification, Ngai Baihui clenches fists, vowing not to let Chen steal his glory or his goddess. Meanwhile, Chen and Zhu Zilong enter the conference room, with Chen mumbling about a mission worse than cheesy love confessions. The students gossip further, mocking Nu and Baihui for being unimpressive despite claiming hidden skills. Unable to hold it in, Ngai Baihui jumps up, eyes blazing. He points at Chen and angrily orders him to stand. Chen calmly complies, asking what he wants. Ngai Baihui shouts that everyone in the room is useless trash. Chen freezes briefly, then regains his cool demeanor. He smirks and tells Ngai Baihui to sit down, then invites him to join a game. Ngai Baihui grinds his teeth, face red with rage. Just then, Principal N appears, restoring order with a single authoritative tap. He sullenly solemnly announces that thanks to Chen's excellence, the Academy will be rewarded by the Star Tower Alliance, and Chen himself earns access to the formless secret realm of Academy No. 3. The principal hands Chen a special card, instructing him to visit Chenjing Academy and meet Mu Rong Ilian for a rare job-free skill. Half an hour later, principal stresses that the human college entrance exam is near and all 3 academies have opened demon zones. His words excite the students. He urges them to form groups for demon zone training, especially praising Academy No. 2 for its dominance, smiling proudly. He notes it's the first time in years the academy ranked first and urges everyone to seize the chance. Leaving the meeting, Chen sighs that the principal's short speech somehow lasted over an hour. Lali rushes up, thrilled, asking when training in the demon zone begins. He warms up energetically, declaring he's ready for the journey. Zhang Yu bounces over, playfully asking to join Chen's team. She earnestly begs to tag along for training and adventure. Lali tenses up, scolding Yu about their unresolved spat, but she confidently retorts, calling to Chen dad, leaving all 3 stunned in embarrassment. Suddenly, the system announces Chen has offspring, partially completing his reproduction mission, baffling everyone. Chen twitches in disbelief, unable to understand how that even counts. As confusion swirls, a distant voice calls out Chen's name, Tsengayan Bai Hui, sternly warning Chen to stay away from Mu Rong or face consequences. Chen quickly assures him he has no interest in Mu Rong and promises to keep his distance. To sound convincing, Chen offers to sell his Jobble skill slot Tsengayan Bai for 10 million star coins, flashing a shiny VIP card. Nguyen Bai Hui freezes, thrilled yet suspicious, unable to hide his desire for the valuable card. Chen smiles and confirms but adds one small condition. Nguyen Bai Hui instantly agrees and calls Chen his brother. Suddenly, Chen grins wickedly and demands he say daddy to finalize the deal. Nguyen Bai Hui screams in disbelief, feeling betrayed. He thought he gained a brother, not a father. Chen turns away coolly, saying it's fine if he want hell, just revoke the offer. Nguyen Bai Hui panics, shouting for Chen to stop withdrawing the card. Face red as a tomato, he mutters a reluctant daddy. Chen beams, pats his head, while Nguyen Bai Hui burns with embarrassment, staring at the floor. Just then, the system chimes step 2 of the Reproduce for Humanity quest completed. Chen clenches his fists, thrilled that the impossible task now needs only one final step, just finding Xiao Hu Hu. Suddenly, his phone vibrates. It's a call from the only relative of the original host in this world. He answers softly, agreeing to visit that afternoon at his uncle's house. The man sighs heavily, worry etched across his face. From the kitchen, the aunt brings out fruit, scolding her husband for contacting the nephew she's long disliked. Slamming the plate down, she snaps that Chen is useless and jobless, insisting he be thrown out. The uncle pleads gently, worrying where the boy would go if kicked out now. The aunt snaps back that the dorm or even the streets would be better than keeping that burden home. The uncle, torn, begs her to wait 1 more month, at least until after the human exam. Suddenly, Tu Ting enters elegantly, mocking that someone jobless like Chen taking exams is pointless. The aunt nods, agreeing that Chen's presence could ruin her daughter's ties with the principal's son from Academy No. 1. She softens her tone, asking her daughter about her date and wanting to hear more about Huang Can. Yu Ting gazes in the mirror, saying yesterday's secret realm training went wrong, preventing many from advancing. She reapplies her makeup, adding that Huang Can will pick her up for Demon Zone training this afternoon. Hearing this, Anta frets, saying she heard people have died in those dangerous zones. Yu Ting shrugs, saying she hid safely when it happened, and the real savior remains unidentified. Meanwhile, Chen strolls casually through the streets, unaware danger lurks nearby. 2 ambushers have locked onto him. Ready to strike, the scared one whispers that they thought the academy would be hard to infiltrate, but Chen walking out makes it easy. The other grumbles that 2 5-star assassins against a student is overkill. The scarred man smirks, suggesting they find a quiet place to finish the job and earn top marks. Suddenly, a blonde teen rushes over, panting hard. He calls out dad, saying he ran over in the middle of class after being summoned. The system dings again, another offspring confirmed. Many kids, much luck, mission completed. The boy wipes sweat, asking curiously what his foster dad needed. Chen calmly says nothing, leaving the kid utterly confused. The system immediately announces a reward, a new skill called Escape. Chen face palms, grumbling how running away counts as a skill. The system seriously explains that when carrying a bucket, Escape boosts speed tenfold. Chen just sighs, clicks his tongue, and continues on his way to his uncle's house. On the way, he walks deep in thought, lost in endless musings. Based on memory, his uncle's house is just a few steps away. Suddenly, a man jumps out from the shadows, shouting that hell take his life. Chen frowns irritably, though a flicker of caution glints in his eyes. The scarfist attacker grins, thinking Chen is frozen in fear. But the moment he strikes, Chen throws a blazing energy punch straight at him. The devastating blow stuns the assassin. He can't believe Chen reacted that fast. Screaming, his blasted backward, crashing violently into the ground. Trembling, clutching his wounded arm, he stares in disbelief at Chen's power. Chen looks at his glowing hand, judging the opponent stronger than a 2-star beast. Despite his injuries, the scarred man glares hatefully, admitting he underestimated him. Chen coldly demands to know who hired him for the hit. The man mutters that an anonymous client posted the job on Jingmi just as another figure appears behind Chen. Feeling danger, he realizes both are 3-star professionals, and the fight's gone out of control. Staying calm, he offers to pay double if they target the one who hired them instead. But life's no dream. The scarred man roars in fury, calling it an insult to assassin pride. With that, he lunges forward like an arrow, aiming to finish the job. Chen clenches his fist and shouts, activating Power Gathering Punch. Energy bursts forth, but the assassin sidesteps, sneering that Chen doesn't stand a chance. Chen freezes in shock, Sweat dripping his foe's speed is terrifying. Though he dodges, he still takes a punch to the face, sent flying backward, regaining balance. He hears the scarred man mock his slowness, bragging about his thief profession, wiping blood from his lip. Chen realizes this is his first real fight against a true professional and feels the pressure. Suddenly both assassins charge at once, forcing him to flee for his life. He spins around and bolts, but they give relentless chase. They taunt him mid-run, boasting their superior speed he'll never escape. Seeing them close in, Chen thinks fast, knowing he can't drag this out. Just then, a knife vendor appears on the street, shouting his wares. Chen dashes over, grabs the carrying pole, and says he'll borrow it for a sec. As he picks up the bucket, the assassins arrive, yelling he won't get far. At that moment, the system ping skill activated, making him grin. Thanks to the skill, he rockets away at insane speed, leaving them in the dust. The assassins gape, stunned by the absurd velocity. The scarred one refuses to give up, boosting his own speed to chase again. The knife vendor screams, demanding his stolen goods back. As Chen sprints, he admits the skill's incredible but knows the killers won't stop yet. The assassins mutter in disbelief, wondering how a student could outrun them so easily. Chen veers into a narrow alley, deciding to end this once and for all. He reaches the alley's end and stands waiting as they catch up. The scarred one, clutching his arm, looks shocked as not running. The other sneers, thinking he's surrendered. Chen calmly announces he's about to unleash a powerful strike, and that the confined space will limit their dodging. The enemies scoff again, saying his speed won't help in real combat. Chen unleashed his special skill with a sharp shout. A massive herd of donkeys appeared, charging straight at the foes in panic. Within seconds, both were trampled into dust under the storming donkeys. The shopkeeper froze, utterly baffled by what just happened. Seeing the stampede, he darted into an alley, muttering about danger. Minutes later, the two assassins lay sprawled in the smoky haze. Chen stood akimbo, sighing in regret for missing the mastermind. He turned to leave, realizing he'd been away too long from his people. Suddenly, the old man grabbed his pant leg, shouting for him to stop. Startled, Chen quickly returned the borrowed item. Awkwardly apologizing, the old man furiously accused him of being hit by the donkeys. Refusing to forgive, Chen bent down to help, saying they should talk once he stood up, but the old man jumped in anger, demanding 100,000 in compensation. Chen gawked, stunned by the absurd demand, and snapped back. He argued the old man wasn't hurt at all and was clearly faking. The elder kept lying on the ground, wailing for money out of sheer stubbornness. Calmly, Chen took out his phone, saying he'd call someone to handle it. Over the phone, he spoke with chilling menace, ordering a large transfer to deal with the man. The old man broke into cold sweat, baffled by his tone and actions. Chen coolly assured him that funeral money would be sent home soon. Then he summoned the donkeys again with a curt command. The herd surged back like a thunderstorm, hooves thundering as he grinned. The shopkeeper bolted in terror, cursing for being pranked so hard. Chen waved goodbye, teasing and warning not to mess up again. On a perilous peak, Juxing's Zhuzulation meditated amid raging skis. A soldier entered, kneeling respectfully to greet Lei Shen. A sudden lightning bolt crashed down, aimed straight at the soldier. Terrified, he fell backward, drenched in sweat and screaming. Lei Shen opened his eyes and shouted, instantly halting the strike. The lightning vanished into thin air without a trace. The soldier exhaled in all one bolt could vaporize him. No wonder Lei Shen guarded the demon abyss alone. Lei Shen sternly asked if a calamity from the deep abyss was coming. The soldier replied it wasn't a demonic disaster, but an incident in Area 16 after a trial ended. Lei Shen frowned, curious to know what exactly occurred. Under pressure, the soldier reported about a student named Chen with record-breaking points. Lei Shen chuckled, surprised that the boy's score surpassed his own youth. The soldier cautiously added the dungeon had leveled up even though Chen had no profession. Clenching his fists, he marveled at how a jobless kid crushed a 2-star challenge. Lei Shen was shocked, demanding answers about this anomaly. The soldier respectfully suggested investigating. Chen might have a hidden class or rare power. Lei Shen waved it off, turning away to meditate, saying fate wasn't worth probing. The soldier nervously asked how to announce it, as the academies awaited higher orders. Lei Shen calmly ordered to report the truth. Chen is jobless and unranked. He added permission for the boy to enroll in Xinjing Academy. The soldier was stunned. Only 3 people a year ever made it into that elite school. Finally, he bowed and accepted the order without a word. Lei Shen gazed at the sky, lightning swirling around his hands, murmuring that Chen might be the first jobless one of the Star Tower era. On the familiar road, Chen carried a gift bag, planning to use his new wealth to move out. Passing his old house, he felt his dream of independence still burned, only delayed by circumstance. Suddenly, he froze. His belongings were thrown outside amid his aunt's shrill scolding. His uncle tried to stop her, pleading to wait until Chen returned. She ignored him, tossing more things out, saying keeping Chen was a burden best ended. Uncle Chen scrambled to collect the usable items before they were ruined. As he bent down, he froze, seeing his nephew already standing there silently. Chen greeted him calmly, unfazed by the chaos. His aunt, holding a box, snapped that she couldn't live peacefully unless he left. Her tone was icy, declaring that moving out was inevitable for him. Chen nodded, saying he came precisely to say goodbye and announce his move. His uncle turned, urging him to wait until things settled before leaving. Aunt Chen slapped her husband hard, shouting that she had cut all ties with Chen. Chen gently placed the gift down, told his uncle a few words, and walked away. She folded her arms mockingly, sneering that his cheap gift wasn't worth her years of care. Anger boiled inside him, wanting to lash out, but he chose restraint. His uncle came over, patted his shoulder kindly, offering to help carry things. He secretly handed him a wad of cash, his savings from half a year. Chen refused, but his uncle insisted, ashamed he couldn't protect him better. The man sighed softly, urging him to stay strong and work hard ahead. Yueting linked arms with her boyfriend, proudly showing off the house. Aunt Chen rushed out beaming. While Uncle glanced at the young man beside her, he curiously asked if the guy was his daughter's boyfriend. Huang Kai confidently introduced himself, boasting of his powerful father. Hearing that, the aunt beamed, showering praise and calling them a perfect match. Suddenly, Yuding spotted Chen nearby, her smile fading in disgust. She mocked him as a freeloading, jobless cousin kicked out by the family. Huang Kai's face darkened. He recalled the secret realm incident. Shocked the guy was alive, the aunt eagerly invited Huang Kai to stay for a cozy dinner. Chen clenched his jaw, fuming this was the man who once tried to kill him with divine gear. Yuding snapped, demanding he disappear, saying his presence ruined the mood. Ignoring her, Chen stepped up to Huang Kai, voice cold as frost, reminding him of the promised revenge. The arrogant aunt sneered, saying he'd never step into young Huang's world. Yuding joined in, mocking the class gap between them. Huang Kai sneered, daring him to do anything despite his grudge. Without a word, Chen lunged forward and punched the traitor square in the face. Everyone froze as Huang Kai collapsed and Yuding screamed in shock. The aunt turned purple with rage, shouting at him for hitting someone of Huang Xiao's status. Huang Kai sat up, blood on his lip, threatening to make Chen pay dearly. Chen's hand glowed as he charged again, eyes cold and ready to vent fury. Huang Kai drew his sword, tense, vowing to end Chen's worthless life. Yuding jeered that a jobless loser like him was just rushing to die. Uncle Chen tried to stop him, fearing reckless action, but with one punch, Huang Kai's sword shattered instantly. Huang Kai's eyes bulged as he screamed in disbelief. Another blow sent him flying backward. The entire family stood frozen, unable to believe their eyes. Yuding clenched her fists, furious that Huang Kai was losing so badly. Chen slowly approached the helpless Huang Kai on the ground. He grabbed his collar, smirking coldly. Proud of his victory, Uncle Chen felt a surge of emotion. His nephew had truly transformed. The aunt rushed over, shouting that he was provoking someone with terrifying backing. Huang Kai glared and threatened that his family would crush Chen unless he knelt. Chen said nothing, landing more punches and asking which was stronger, threats or fists. Seeing no one interfere, the aunt screamed at her husband to stop it, but the uncle calmly said if this was his chosen path, he should walk it firmly. His wife went mad, yelling that he'd lost his mind too. He clenched his fist, declaring a man must have backbone, not life cowardly like he once did. With fiery eyes, he urged his nephew to keep that spirit and never back down. Moved, Chen called out to his uncle, determination swelling. The uncle continued, saying chaotic times need warriors hold bleed for humanity. But mid-speech, his wife smacked him down with a thunderous slap. Chen's eyes lit up. It was the first time he'd seen his uncle so bold. Huang Kai's face was wrecked, yet he still taunted Chen to finish him. Chen raised his glowing fist, coldly vowing to do just that. Aunt Chen folded her arms, sneering that Huang Kai's father could erase him in seconds. Helping Huang Kai up, Yuding urged him to endure, convinced Chen wouldn't dare strike. But Chen roared furiously, unleashing 5 blazing punches to end it. As the blow neared, Huang Kai panicked, screaming surrender. Chen halted mid-strike. Huang Kai sat in a puddle of his own urine, crying for mercy, while Yuding begged beside him. Trembling, Huang Kai confessed had once used divine gear to harm Chen. Ashamed before his father, Chen turned away, coldly warning that next time he'd beat him till he peed again. Aunt Chen rushed over in panic, shouting for Huang Kai to stand and save face. Yuding fussed over him, trying to soothe her humiliated lover, leaning on her shoulder. Huang Kai forced a grin, claiming it was all just an act. He laughed boastfully, claiming the act was so real it fooled everyone. He blamed banned drugs for his loss, vowing revenge once they wore off. Aunt Chen nodded in agreement, insisting his sudden power came from stimulants. A few drops of Huang Kai's pee still leaked down his pants. Not yet dry, he smugly said that puddle was part of his perfect acting performance. Yuding gave a thumbs up while the aunt praised young Huang's Oscar-worthy role. Suddenly, a massive sky screen appeared with an urgent message from the Star Tower Alliance. Yuding pointed excitedly. It was news from the Supreme Star Tower. Source of earth-shaking announcements, a clear voice echoed, announcing the global rankings of the 3 academies trial. Huang Kai shouted proudly that anyone using illegal boosters would be exposed, and he'd rank high. Yuding beamed, certain Huang Kai would crush that useless cousin. The board flashed to Chen ranked first with 1,388 points, miles ahead of second place's 186. Yuding screamed in disbelief while the aunt turned pale as paper. Huang Kai muttered blankly that his father once mentioned to Chen the one who humiliated his academy's history. Aunt Chen trembled, whispering if the ranking system might be wrong. Huang Kai frowned, asserting the Star Towers could never make mistakes. Still, she clung to false hope, stammering about the strange score gap. Huang Kai looked up, equally stunned by the astronomical difference. Yuding and her aunt exchanged blank stares, too shocked to speak. Clueless, Huang Kai cheerfully promised to introduce Chen to them someday. Aunt Chen broke into a sweat, hastily refusing with nervous panic. Huang Kai scratched his head, baffled by their odd reaction. She covered her face, pointing at the boy carrying luggage, revealing he was Chen. A thunderclap exploded in Huang Kai's mind. He stood speechless. Yuding quickly cut in, claiming it must be a name coincidence. Huang Kai nodded furiously, praying it was just that. Just then, Principal Anihai ran up, calling Chen's name aloud. He proudly declared Chen the top of the trial and winner of a special award. Huang Kai stood frozen while the aunt screamed in disbelief. Uncle Chen burst out laughing with pride at his nephew's glory. Chen calmly told the principal they'd talk more later. The aunt instantly changed tone, eagerly inviting him to stay for dinner as if nothing happened. He turned coldly, refusing and saying he had no ties left with them. The aunt begged her husband to make him stay. Uncle Chen sternly reminded her she was the one who severed ties. How could she face him now? She clutched her head, crying in regret for casting out the genius. Beneath the tree-lined road, Principal and walked beside Chen, asking seriously why I'd come in person. Chen chuckled, joking that it surely wasn't about romance. The principal laughed heartily, giving a thumbs up. This reward was a direct admission to Qinjing Academy, an honor never before seen in their region. I frowned in disappointment, complaining that the reward wasn't something fancy like a villa. Principal widened his eyes, stressing how priceless a direct admission to the elite academy was. He solemnly explained that even top scorers fail yearly, so this special quota was vital for the academy's prestige. As we reached the plaza, he continued talking about Morong Lialian and the unique skill Shed promised to grant. I coolly replied that she could be found anymore. The principal, confused, asked again. I calmly said it sold that skill. He erupted, scolding me for wasting something so rare and crucial for a jobless person. Then the system chimed a new quest, and I realized skills could now be earned through missions anyway. The principal fumed harder, saying Morong was a legend whose brilliance had squandered. I scratched my cheek, hesitant but wanting to ask another question about the special quota. He wiped his sweat, holding his temper, and told me to ask. I slowly asked if I could sell my direct admission slot. The principal trembled in shock, then roared in anger as I backed up defensively. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, lighting a sleek, modern mansion. A re-haired man stared into the garden, coldly questioning why the assassins failed their mission. A tall bald man and his chubby partner explained the killers had fought with full strength. Red Hair decided to retrieve the key himself from the soon-to-be ancient ruins. An old silver-haired man appeared, warning him that the upcoming human trial was the true priority. Adjusting his coat, Red Hair's eyes gleamed with faith in Dian Shu, a 4-star spirit archmage. I leaned against the gate wall, silently waiting under the clear blue sky. Zai Long and Lei Lei came out. Lei Lei excitedly asked which demon realm we should challenge among the 3 new ones. I replied flatly that I'd skip them and keep grinding in the old 2-star dungeon. Lei Lei frowned, arguing it was too dangerous for just 3 of us. Suddenly, I spotted 90 Hoi strolling by lazily with a bag on his shoulder. Zai Long and I crossed our arms and invited him to join our dungeon run. Ngai Nahoi brushed us off, saying he was busy, then walked away. In his mind, he sneered at studying with us, planning to find Morong for stronger skills in the top rank. Our trio headed toward the Demon Realm gate, surprised by the massive crowd. Lei Lei explained it was crowded because people gathered near the entrances or had just finished trials. The crowd murmured as we took another path, many recognizing Chen, the Star Tower leader. A system voice echoed as we entered, announcing it was the Spider Queen's lair, level locked for large parties. I frowned, puzzled why such notices hadn't appeared in previous runs. Zai Long guessed it was a new Star Tower feature to warn profession holders of high risk. He added gravely that the dungeon scale now meant a huge difficulty spike. Lei Lei fretted about not calling for backup, but I insisted we go in anyway. A girl nearby gasped as we entered. Onlookers gossiped about Chen's fame and luck. One young man scoffed that the trio was delusional. No way they could clear a dungeon meant for 40 people. The group appeared in a barren plain with sparse grass beneath the bright sky. I glanced at Lei Lei and ordered him to use his special ability to lure enemies. Lei Lei dashed off, shouting back that his life was now into Chen's hands. A horde of savage beasts quickly chased after him as a one-horned wolf nearly bit him. Lei Lei screamed for help in terror. Chen chuckled, telling Zilong that Lei Lei's aggro skill worked better than rare gear. Light flared around Chen as he shouted the moment of miracle had come. Suddenly, countless donkeys rained down from the sky. They charged wildly into the monster horde ahead. Wherever the donkeys rampaged, beasts were blown away in utter chaos. Lei Lei sat on the ground gasping, stunned that hundreds of monsters died in seconds. A giant iron door creaked open, letting light pierce the cave's darkness. Half-human Spider Queen lazily stretched, sensing intruders and hoping for fresh prey. But hearing strange noises, her face turned tense. Then the donkey herd smashed through the gate, storming inside. She was flung aside, cursing furiously upon realizing it was those donkeys again. Fired up, Lei Lei offered to lure more monsters. Chen shook his head, saying there was no need, leaving him puzzled. He gave a thumbs up, smiling confidently that they'd already cleared it. Lei Lei gaped, refusing to believe it. They had just started. A system message confirmed the dungeon was complete and asked if they wished to exit. Lei Lei muttered in disbelief, realizing they'd truly beaten it. Outside, a curly-haired youth swore Chen's team was doomed, while others doubted their survival. Dian Shu peered into the secret realm, thinking the trio too weak even he would struggle with such burdens. Stroking his beard, he grinned, deciding no need to interfere, and called the young master. On screen, Lasho lounged casually, asking if the task was done. Dian Shu cheerfully reported success and readiness to retrieve the key for him. The reed-haired man lipped up excitedly, praising Dian Shu and promising a personal reward upon his return. Meanwhile, Chen's trio quietly exited the secret realm unnoticed. Dian Shu chatted merrily on the phone, unaware they had just passed behind him. Lasho laughed heartily, saying a great reward awaited him. Dian Shu froze, shouting in confusion. Lasho crossed his legs and pointed, telling him to look behind. Dian Shu turned, stunned to see the trio standing there, stammering when they had escaped. The crowd swarmed around Chen's group, murmuring in disbelief at their speed. One man insisted such a fast clear was impossible, swearing to livestream robbery if proven wrong. Another theorized they'd used an exit stone, a rare item, and lamented Chen's waste. Just then, a system alert congratulated Chen's team for clearing the dungeon. The next line revealed they'd set a new record, only 7 minutes and 28 seconds. The crowd froze in shock, then erupted in astonishment. Someone stammered that even without monsters, travel time alone should take longer. The guy who guessed about the exit stone mumbled, utterly lost for an explanation. Lei Lei burst out laughing, bragging that breaking records was child's play. Chen received in frank notice and the tears of the Spider Queen reward, but no bottom mark point this time. Lei Lei reminded him that each dungeon grants only 1 mark on the first clear and only for exceptional feats. Suddenly, red light engulfed Li and Zilong. As it faded, Zilong cheered had reached 1-star rank with barely any effort. Li clenched his fists in joy, also hitting 1-star, mocking Nguyen Hui for skipping the chance. Chen confidently led the team back into the dungeon, aiming to clear it 10 times for rapid skill evolution. Dian Dang bowed, begging Le Xiao for another chance to fully eliminate the problem. Le Xiao leisurely raised his wine, convinced Dian Shu could crush Chen's group with their massive level gap. Fired up, Dian Dang vowed to livestream the kill for Le Xiao as proof of his strength. Minutes later, the donkey stormed in again, attacking the Spider Queen madly. The queen screamed in terror, calling out to Night God as the herd appeared. Defeated for the 10th time, she collapsed once more under the hooves as the donkeys calmly left. A bright notice appeared to Chen's team had set a new record 6 minutes 18 seconds. The shocking result flipped public opinion. Haters now praised Chen. A fiery-eyed girl admired him, wanting to join, but a friend reminded her of level restrictions. Dian Dang seized the moment, reporting to Le Xiao that the enemy was out and had strike now. Suddenly, Chen's group re-entered the secret realm immediately after exiting. Dian Dang panicked, baffled why they went back in. Le Xiao froze on screen, speechless at the absurd twist. The crowd gawked, saying Shen's logic had transcended human understanding. 2 hours later, the donkey stampede hit the Spider Queen again. She fell into despair, unable to endure such repeated torment in one day. Before she could curse, she was crushed again, trapped in endless suffering. Lele sighed, saying no 2-star boss had ever been tortured this badly. Zilong frowned, noting the boss still remembered past deaths, something impossible. Lele guessed it was due to dungeon mutations from earlier runs. Then, strange purple energy seeped from the Spider Queen's body. Chen calmly told the team to leave. The job was done. The battered Spider Queen shrieked, vowing a curse upon them and their loved ones. Her body flared with violent violet light the curse had activated. At that moment, Chen's team stepped out as if nothing happened. He stretched leisurely, awaiting the final quest reward. Suddenly, a blinding beam shone on him, making him stop in his tracks. Chen clutched his head as searing pain struck without warning. Li and Zilong panicked, thinking he was leveling up. Chen reported had reached 4 stars but doubted each upgrade brought pain yet no power change. Zilong noted they hit 2 stars before climbing the star tower, losing stored progress but still had a chance for 3-star if they cleared the next mission. The system announces the team cleared 10 2-star dungeons in 10 hours and earned a new skill. Chen turns to Zilong to confirm, unable to believe his eyes. The system repeats the new skill allows instant item swapping, making Chen curse it as a stripping skill. Suddenly, a faint ghostly aura silently seeps into his body. He shivers, feeling something invading him. The system warns he's under attack by the despair curse from the Spider Queen. Chen reels, not understanding what this curse means. A purple slime appears on his chest, spreading deadly cold over his body. Zilong panics and points, asking what that slime is. Chen immediately commands the system to remove the curse, but the system coldly refuses its beyond support scope. Furious, he curses the system, calling it a dog despite knowing it's not human. A small soul resembling the Spider Queen emerges from the slime. Seething with hatred, she curses Chen to kill his dearest and carry eternal shame in his blood and hatred. Lele screams, while Zilong trembles, repeating the terrifying words. Chen grits his teeth. Realizing this enemy is far too cruel and dangerous, he decisively orders his teammates to get away before they're dragged in. His words leave Li and Zilong frozen, unsure how to respond. Meanwhile, Dian Dang watches with regret, thinking Chen too talented yet doomed after offending Le Xiao. He sets down his device, signaling a 5-second countdown to kill Chen and report the kill. Chen keeps urging Zilong to leave before it's too late, but Zilong refuses, determined to stay even if it means dying with him. Chen snaps, shouting for them to obey and retreat immediately. Lele weeps, pressing his chest, ready to sacrifice himself and asking to be revived if Chen succeeds. The Spider Queen laughs mockingly, declaring the curse irreversible: kill your kin or die yourself. Suddenly, Dian Dang charges in, shouting the signal to attack. Chen's group freezes at the sudden ambush. Dian Dang advances, sneering and mocking Chen as a knave fool, but as he nears, Chen mutters something strange that makes him hesitate. Seizing the moment, Chen redirects the curse toward Dian Dang, the nearest target. The purple aura instantly shifts and dives into Dian Dang's body. Wrapped in dark mist, he realizes the horror and screams for help in vain. Before finishing his cry, Dian Dang bursts into blood and rags dead on the spot. Zilong sighs at the irony. Chen picks up his phone, confirming he was allied with the assassins after him. Meanwhile, Le Xiao sleeps soundly, unaware of anything. His bald bodyguard answers the phone, reporting Dian Dang's call and that the job's done. Le Xiao wakes up, scolding Dian Dang for wasting time on a mid-level student. He presses answer, lazily asking if the goods have been delivered. But suddenly, Chen's mocking face appears on the screen. Le Xiao jolts in shock, not expecting Chen to be the one answering. He roars, demanding why the phone's in his enemy's hands. Chen coolly replies has already dealt with Dian Dang. Then he starts questioning, demanding an explanation for the murder attempt. Le Xiao coolly admits it's because Chen took the secret key from the hidden realm chest. Hearing that, Chen smirks, mocking him to call him uncle or dad instead of kid. Le Xiao snaps, threatening that resistance changes nothing. Chen's face hardens as he realizes Le Xiao caused the deadly realm upgrade. Le Xiao admits it casually, mentioning a spatial dojo mistaken for a secret realm. Clenching his fists, he reveals his ambition to seize the final key fragment to open the ruins. Chen bluntly asks how he plans to take what's inside his body. The reply is simple: kill him, and the key will appear. Chen confirms this is a fight where only one survives. Le Xiao laughs arrogantly, claiming he's strong enough to crush him. Chen glances at Li, who's secretly recording everything. Le Xiao, still on screen, hasn't realized the setup. Li announces they've gathered enough evidence to report to the Alliance serious crimes. Le Xiao explodes in rage, realizing he's been trapped. Chen mocks him once more before cutting the call. Zilong warns that the La family's influence is immense and hard to topple. Chen confidently replies they can't attack openly now and hell strike back. Le Xiao smashes things in fury, screaming at the humiliation. A bodyguard suggests hiring assassins from the Bloody Guild. Another stops him, fearing the Alliance's investigation might drag La family down. The bald guard frets that missing the ruins opening means waiting a century. Le Xiao decides to transfer schools, planning to kill Chen himself during an exam accident. Elsewhere, Li Lian shows her teacher a strange photo on an iPad, making Gao Yang frown. She explains it was taken 10 days before they met a beast, and she is only now reporting it. Gao Yang studies the creature in the photo, asking with hidden meaning. Liu Lian honestly replies that the beast has been slain. Gao Yang nearly drops the device in shock, unable to believe it. Seeing his panic, Li Lian looks confused, thinking he's overreacting. Gao Yang, sweating, reveals it's a descendant of the creature that once doomed humanity. Liu Lian is stunned, admitting she sensed strange energy from it. Gao Yang worries about the wild god's vengeance but promises to protect his disciple. Liu Lian hurriedly clarifies the killer was a student named Chen. Leaving Gao Yang puzzled, she recounts how Chen broke records in the recent exam with dazzling results. The more Gao Yang listens, the graver his tone acknowledging the boy's rare talent. Yet he fears the wild god and its followers once spared Chen, clouding his fate. Just then, a pink-haired girl arrives, saying someone's come to see Liu Lian. She smiles brightly, saying the visitor's here to receive a classless skill. Liu Lian quickly guesses the visitor must be Chen. Gai Nihoi excitedly introduces himself, thrilled to meet his idol. Liu Lian stays cold, immediately asking about Chen's whereabouts. Tihoi explains he's only here to claim the skill on Chen's behalf. Liu Lian grows suspicious since only the top ranker can receive that reward. Tihai honestly confesses he bought the slot directly from Chen. Hearing that, Liu Lian's fury ignites. Trembling with rage, she curses Chen outright, vowing to give him a beating hell never forget. As she turns away, Tihui panics, calling after her, clueless what to do. Liu Lian coldly refuses to accept and demands Chen meet her in person. Meanwhile, La Xiao and his gang arrive, hunting Chen relentlessly. One henchman reports Chen is heading to meet Mo Rong Sr. to claim his reward. La Xiao sneers in anger, shocked Mo Rong fancies just a mid-level student. He grows nastier, saying Chen is unworthy of being a human prodigy. Just then, the reed-haired thug yells they've spotted Chen ahead. Gai Nihoi still doesn't get what's going on. Looking dumbfounded, La Xiao wastes no words, pointing to order an immediate attack. Two lackeys charge forward, shouting as they rush to beat him. Tiho feels chills and gets hit before even reacting. The redhead kicks him in the face, sending him sprawling. He screams in pain, utterly confused. The two thugs grin wickedly, keep beating him despite his protests. After a brutal round, seeing his bruised face, they finally stop. Writhing on the ground, he chokes out his confusion and grief. La Xiao laughs scornfully, thinking the victim is Chen. Tihoi shouts back furiously that his Gai Nihui, not Chen. La Xiao freezes, realizing a terrible mistake. The glasses-wearing thug checks the photo, wrong target confirmed. La Xiao sneers, orders retreat. Acting as if nothing happened, Tiho weeps bitterly, regretting paying money just to get beaten up. Meanwhile, Chen's group carefully enters a desolate zone. From afar, three cloaked figures secretly observe their every move. The reed-haired one confirms Chen, not Lilian, killed the fourth prince. The purple-haired one grins, eager for the wild god's reward upon killing Chen. Elsewhere, Gao Yang leisurely sips wine, praising the monkey tribe's brew as superior to humans. Li Lian rushes past, catching his attention as he asks what's the hurry. She calmly replies she's off to find Chen. Gao Yang immediately grows worried, warning her of the wild god's looming danger, but Li Lian ignores him, determined to meet Chen and settle things. Gao Yang eyes her suspiciously, wondering if she's fallen for the boy. Meanwhile, Chen's team nears the ruins, watched by a murderous werewolf from above. A glance around the desolate area, sighing it's actually the demon domain. Unlike I imagined, Zilong explains the demon domain once devoured a bustling city like Ping'an County when space rifts tore open. The city collapsed instantly as beasts flooded out, few survived. Zilong size rare but utterly destructive, enough to erase entire districts. Chen bends down and quietly picks up a child stuffed toy near the ruins. The sight twists his heart face heavy with grief. He whispers that the demon domain is doomsday itself. Li clenches his fists, eyes burning, declaring the domain unstoppable monsters keep spilling from rifts unless a top powerhouse intervenes. And worse, a demon king lurks inside. Chen turns coldly, telling the team to retreat. Their power isn't enough to survive here. He finally grasps how cruel this world is, where human lives vanish beneath the tides of survival wars. Nearby, a cloaked man impatiently asks if they should act, but the leader says to wait since academy teachers are still guarding the area during exams. After watching a while, the mysterious group decides to secretly tail Chen's team. As they're about to lose sight, the green-haired man urges attack, making the purple-haired leader order an immediate strike. With sharp instincts, Zilong senses danger and shouts a warning of ambush. The purple-haired man raises his hand, killing aura flaring, shouting Chen's name and vowing to destroy him. Realizing another ambush, Chen snarls in furious third one while the team scatters. He waves his hand, fire elements blaze around him, his aura surging violently. Then he throws a mighty punch forward. Bursting with destructive power, the purple-haired man scoffs, calling him reckless and ignorant of death, but is silenced as all three are blasted backward by a thunderous punch. The strike sends them flying, gravely injured, blood spilling from their mouths. The purple-haired one clutches his chest in terror, unable to believe a middle schooler had such power. Chen glares coldly, demanding who they are. Suspecting ties to Le Xiao, the purple-haired man laughs scornfully, claiming to be from the wild god cult. Avenging the fourth prince's death, Lai Lei freezes at the name, cursing the infamous cult and calling their death divine justice. Without hesitation, the purple-haired man lifts his dagger, admitting he misjudged Chen, then orders contact with the wild god. He slits his throat without hesitation, his comrades following suit, blood gushing everywhere, watching in horror. Chen shivers at their insane devotion. As blood pools, the zealots clasp their hands, chanting prayers to summon the wild god. The purple-haired man screams wildly, announcing they've found the killer of the fourth prince. As a violet barrier envelops them, the glowing barrier cracks, releasing a dreadful aura. Zilong screams it's a Haidir dark god summoning, urging immediate escape. The purple-haired fanatic howls that none can flee the sacrificial rite. The cultists spiral into madness, their chants echoing through the void. Pressure from the sky's rift shakes Lele. He trembles, asking in fear what tier of beast is coming. Suddenly, a colossal demonic face forms in the sky, eyes blazing as it roars its name, Jia Shen. Seeing him, the cultists drop to their knees, begging Jia Shen to punish Chen for killing the fourth prince. Zilong pales in terror, saying Jia Shen once killed even a 9-star powerhouse. Lele trembles, asking why Chen provoked such a god compared to Jia Shen. The Spider Queen was nothing. Chen, utterly confused, yells back that there must be some mistake, but Jia Shen glares furiously, pointing straight at him, declaring he slew his fourth son a month ago. Cold sweat pours as Chen recalls his first kill in this world, realizing it was the god's child. At that moment, Morong Yilian descends, her sword blazing bright. Jia Yang rushes after, panting and shouting, making Liu Lian turn and ask why her master would risk entering danger. Gao Yang sternly answers that Ji Shen's appearance threatens not only Chen, a rare genius, but all humanity. Morong Liu still flies straight toward Chen, insisting she's not saving him, just wants to slice him herself. Gao Yang sighs, helpless against her stubborn temper. He mutters that despite her cold demon queen title, she always puts humanity first and can't ignore suffering. Suddenly, a surge of black energy shoots skyward, making Liu Lian halt, eyes sharp with caution. Gao Yang instantly recognizes Jia Shen's aura and shouts in alarm. The ritual succeeded too quickly, things have spiraled out of control. Liu Lian steels herself, reasoning that if Ji Shen hasn't fully descended, Chen still has a chance. But Gao Yang refutes it, saying even a partial projection could kill Chen instantly. He's hopelessly outmatched. Back in the field, Chen roars at Zilong, demanding any way to escape. Zilong shakes his head in despair. If Jia Shen acts directly, none will survive. Jia Shen's shadow emerges from the rift, mocking humans for their arrogance, saying they're unworthy of his effort. Though fading from sight, he leaves a cursed divine wrath will turn the city into humanity's grave. Instantly, a massive spatial tear opens behind Chen, freezing everyone in shock. Chen stares at it, mind racing, wondering what that terrifying thing truly is. Lele explains numbly it's a space node birthing a demon domain. Jia Shen plans to turn this place into a dead zone. Zilong adds that once stabilized, countless beasts will pour out, erasing the city like Pingham before. Hearing that, Chen blazes with fury, shouting for a way to stop it. Zilong replies grimly only by destroying the node before it stabilizes, though success is nearly impossible. Just then, a seductive demoness steps from the rift, her honeyed voice announcing her arrival. The wild god cultists cheer madly. She's a Haidir entity with deadly powers, proof this demon domain will be monstrous. The demoness bows to Jia Shen, pledging loyalty and asking to guard this place under his command. Jia Shen immediately orders her to destroy Chen's team and then massacre the entire city. From afar, Morong Ilian and Gao Yang halt, sensing an overwhelming surge of power. Li Lian anxiously asks her master if she's mistaken or if something truly catastrophic is happening. Gao Yang confirms the mad god intends to forge a demon domain by ripping open new space. Liu Lian worries they're too late, their speed can't stop the spatial core from forming. The cultists gasp that a mid-level student killed a class beast, only rescue is left. The two dash forward, their figures blurring like wind. Jia Shen crushes the demoness beneath his power, declaring coldly that all humanity shall die. Rage surges into Chen as the death toll climbs past 1,000. He refuses such an ending. The demoness sneers, mocking his warnings as worthless. Unable to contain it, he lunges forward, fist clenched tight. His blow sends the demoness flying backward. Furious at the humiliation, she screams in rage, smirking slyly. She casts new enchantments through seductive sorcery. She threatens to drain everyone's life force for a slow, miserable death. Li warns everyone not to look at her to stay lucid. The demoness boasts that hearing or smelling her scent also enslaves men. Chen blushes, nearly succumbing, but calls out to Zilong for help. His mind starts slipping. Overwhelmed by her allure, a shadow appears, vowing to kill them all as sacrifice to Jia Shen. Suddenly, Zilong transforms, stabbing the demoness in the back before she reacts. She gasps that no man could resist her. Zilong coolly replies his gender is flexible. He swings again, unleashing a fatal slash. The demoness collapses in agony, bleeding and cursing her unjust death. Chen and Li snap free from her charm, both praising Zilong's perfect strike. Zilong humbly says if not for the sneak attack, defeating a class beast was impossible. Jia Shen, enraged at human defiance, bellows to annihilate them all. Chen shouts back profanities, daring the god to come down himself. The cultists howl infuriated as blasphemy. Chen keeps provoking, taunting Jia Shen for hiding behind threats. Jia Shen roars, hell, let monsters devour humanity till none remain. A two-headed hellhound steps from the rift, snarling. Zilong screams to destroy the spatial crack now or face extinction. Chen gathers power and charges at the rift, determined to end it. Jia Shen laughs mockingly, calling him a weak mortal. Chen says nothing, slamming his fist into the spatial tier. The impact compresses the rift, shrinking it significantly. Jia Shen stares in disbelief, muttering at such absurd power. Chen strikes harder, vowing no tragedy will repeat. His next punch halves the portal size. Seeing danger, Jia Shen commands his minions to stop him. Dozens of two-headed hounds rush out in a frenzy, One mighty punch from Chen smashes most aside as he roars for them to move, but overwhelmed by numbers, two hellhounds bite down, locking Chen in place. He immediately calls for Lili's aid, voice sharp and firm. Lili obeys, charging recklessly to draw the beast's attention. He smashes one on the head, trying to provoke them, but his blows barely scratch their hides. Lili changes tactics, running off while shouting that Jia Shen is his biological son. The taunt enrages the beasts, sending them charging after him in fury. Seizing the moment, Chen gathers his full strength. His final strike completely shatters the spatial point. The cultists stare in disbelief. A mere student achieved the impossible. Jia Shen roars in wrath, vowing to personally kill Chen no matter the cost. He swings a colossal hand to obliterate him. Chen, desperate and trapped, screams for the system's help. The god strike shakes the heavens and earth. Zilong screams Chen's name in panic, but shockingly, Chen survives, dazed by his own survival. His savior is wrongly reliant, sword glowing as she blocks the divine blow, eyes fierce. Jia Shen admits she's strong enough to withstand it, sounding almost impressed. Li Lian doesn't reply. She retaliates with a blazing slash, vowing to destroy him. Her strike is so fierce it severs Jia Shen's massive hand. Instead of anger, he laughs maniacally, saying killing her means ending humanity's future. Then he releases the Black Star Pillar, raining violet comets down on them. The cultists scream in ecstasy, praising their god and welcoming the apocalypse. Zilong gasps. It's a forbidden spell, utterly unavoidable. Just then, Gao Yang appears, shouting furiously that no one touches his disciple. He opens a strange gourd that sucks in every black star before impact. Jia Shen notices him, stunned that Gao Yang is here. The cultists also recognize the human powerhouse, cheering they're saved. Gao Yang wastes no time. He hurls the gourd at Jia Shen, commanding him to vanish. The gourd pulls in Jia Shen's avatar, dragging him out of the world. Jia Shen roars in fury, humiliated beyond bearing. Once done, Gao Yang warns the god not to underestimate humanity's rise. Chen exhales in relief, thinking it's finally over, but before vanishing, Jia Shen fires a purple ray straight at him. Gao Yang senses danger instantly, his face tightening. The beam hits Chen. He has no idea what just happened. Panicked, he checks himself all over, clueless about the effect. Gao Yang rushes to him, ordering him to stay still for inspection. Touching the dark aura, he confirms Jia Shen branded him with a divine mark. Gao Yang explains it's a tracking seal. Jia Shen can locate him anywhere. Chen frantically asks if that means he could be killed anytime. Gao Yang reassures him it's not that easy, as the worlds will block gods from entering except in special zones. Still shaken, Chen begs for a way to remove it. Gao Yang firmly shakes his head. Only a soul at the third tier can erase the mark. He studies Chen closely, puzzled why Jia Shen marked him. Such marks are for threats like the thunder god once was. Chen calmly said it was because it killed the other guy's kid. Gao Yang dismissed that, since spirit gods don't care about descendants. He pondered, guessing it might be from destroying a spatial junction. Hearing that, Gao Yang was stunned. He hadn't realized the node was gone. They looked around and saw the space points truly vanished. Yang grew suspicious. Stopping a demon realm's formation was absurdly rare. Chen confidently claimed everyone had witnessed his deed. Gao Yang beamed, patting his back and praising his great feat. Nearby, Li was panting, chased half dead by monsters, crying for help. Xiailong, in female form, appeared just in time and kicked them off him, yet she ended up dragging the whole monster pack after her. Suddenly, a group dressed like weird superheroes flew in. They charged right in, slaying demon hounds without hesitation. Lu Wuqian led the attack, slaughtering every last beast. Xiailong joined fiercely, her sword art cutting down many foes. Once safe, Li proudly introduced them as the famed Blood Core Squad. Morong Lilium suddenly shouted his name, voice filled with killing intent. Lele noticed her deadly stare and whispered in worry. Chen also sensed danger creeping close, agreeing quietly. He tried to stay calm, greeting her like nothing was wrong, but she slapped him so hard he flew several meters away. Lilium grabbed his collar, yelling about him fleeing and selling her quota. Terrified, Chen begged and tried to explain. She ignored him, dragging him off without a word of mercy. He shouted for help, reminding her they were in public, no use. She hauled him into a corner, his screams echoing soon after. Lele shuddered, whispering in horror at the unseen punishment. Meanwhile, Xiailong kept slashing demon hounds with heroic flair. When the fight ended, Xiailong exhaled proudly, still majestic. Her sight caught Lu Wuqian's eye, and his heart instantly fluttered. A teammate asked why he was spacing out when the battle was done. Lu Wuqian praised the girl. His comrades nodded in agreement. Seeing his gaze, one buddy urged him to go for it. Lu Wuqian was surprised he hadn't thought that far. The whole team hyped him up, saying there's nothing to fear. They teased him for being too shy with women, making him blush. Their cheers fired him up. His eyes gleamed with resolve. He swore he'd take initiative for once in his life. Brimming with confidence, he walked up smiling to greet her. He boldly confessed, asking her out and to be his girlfriend. Xiailong coldly retorted that under the clothes, she's buffer than him. That sharp line shattered Lu Wuqian's heart instantly. He staggered away, mumbling about digging himself a hole. The team realized the girl was actually a disguised bro. Watching their captain curled up in a corner, they couldn't help but pity him. From afar came Chen's miserable screams, echoing with despair. Li worried for him, but Xiailong shot a glare that shut him up. Trembling, Li warned that Li Lian was a monster who could tank a spirit god's strike. In the room, Chen was tied tight, shouting what she planned to do to him. Li Lian said nothing, just jabbed a syringe right into his butt. Chen yelled in terror, clueless what had been injected. She coolly said it was a spirit god locator that auto-linked to HQ on detection. She added it could calculate spatial positions to trace the god's appearance. He was baffled. Why would she even want to track that being? Lilim coldly ordered secrecy, saying she was just borrowing his body for her plan. Chen agreed to help only if their past grudges were erased. Lilim flatly declared he was now her official boyfriend, leaving him frozen by that weird claim. He suspected a scheme and swore never to trust women again. When they stepped out, Chen had freed himself, wary she might grab him again. He asked his friends what it meant to be Lilim's boyfriend. Li warned it earned every man's envy. Zai Long said top geniuses would come challenge him. Hearing that, Chen groaned what a painful price to pay. He vowed to break up at once, refusing to keep up the act. Just then Gao Yang arrived, announcing their great merit and that the Sparagot affair must stay secret until the alliance's release. Chen ignored it, begging Liam to break up. She threatened violence if he spoke again. Terrified, he dropped the idea, planning to avoid her school at all costs. 3 days later, crowds filled the plaza for the grand university exam ceremony. The Misi cheerfully announced the total candidates, wishing them luck to shine as future elites. The students buzzed. One whispered that pass or fail. It was all for humanity's future. Chen gazed around, nostalgia stirring from his past life college exams. Suddenly, a colossal tower appeared floating in the sky. Zai Long quickly reported the star tower had manifested. The exam was about to begin. Chen stared up, sensing the tower's deep bond with humankind's fate. Lei explained it was one of the supreme tower's thousands of branches, a stepping stone to greatness and alliance. Notice, remembering the spirit god mark, Chen swore to grow stronger and change destiny. Right then, his system issued a mission: break 3 records in the human university exam. Staring at the task list, he tensed. Those records were near impossible to beat. The star tower announced 3-point-based rounds with eliminations and duels among elite students. The crowd erupted, amazed at such a bizarre exam format. Zai Long explained it was a special stage for the most powerful to compete with top contenders. The star tower officially declared the exam begun, calling the Hedong province candidates. Instantly, countless space portals opened, linking to the battle's secret realms. Each student burned with resolve to clear the first round and rack up points. In another corner, Lingxiao clung to Xiao Lu, asking why she broke up. Xiao Lu coldly ended it, saying he'd failed his internship. She turned and walked away, leaving Lingxiao shattered in despair. He knelt, begging and tossing away pride, only wishing her happiness. Li watched, goosebumps rising. Something about it felt off. Chen ignored them, urging everyone to enter the secret realm. In an instant, he was teleported to a completely new area. Surveying the scene, he guessed this was the scoring test zone where each was judged alone. The star tower announced the first mission: destroy the battle turret. A robot appeared, and he muttered it was a weapon built by the Central A for warriors. The turret launched missiles with a mocking tone. As one flew at his feet, he dodged just in time, but the smart missile turned midair and chased him again. He shouted in disbelief, homing missiles now? Somehow a bucket appeared in his hand, his eyes wary. He raised it, sidestepping the incoming projectile. As the missile exploded, had already leapt clear of the blast. Breathing relief, he thanked the foldable bucket. Without it, he'd be toast. The cannon kept hammering his position relentlessly. Chen weaved and dodged gracefully. Like dancing through gunfire, he strategized, saving strength for the perfect counterattack. Suddenly, the turret's firepower spiked, turning the field into a bombing storm. Struggling to defend, he groaned. So there's just the first challenge. Thanks to his speed and trusty bucket, he dodged every explosion. Spotting an opening, he charged like a tiger to strike. Channeling inner force, he launched a devastating punch. But right then, the turret vanished instantly. The star tower declared round 1 over 0 damage, 0 points. Furious, he cursed about not being told of the time limit. Calming down, he deduced the scoring system relied on speed and damage. In the control room, Huang Lin announced results as the scoreboard appeared. Rankings showed First Academy students dominating the list. Chinese stared at it, shocked not to find Chen's name. She double-checked he wasn't even in the top 20. Huang Lin sneered, saying Chen was just a fluke from past luck. Huiz pulled data clears data. Chen, 0 points. Everyone froze, unable to believe it was real. Huang Lin mocked that Second Academy would utterly lose this time. Then the Star Tower announced round 2: slay 3 wind demonic beasts. 3 wind, shimmering green creatures appeared from a summoning array. One darted forward like lightning, striking first. Chen grinned, admiring its impressive speed. The beast opened its jaws to bite him in a flash, but he stayed calm, reacting even faster. One lightning kick stunned it, dropping it instantly. The other 2 lunged in to avenge their fallen ally. Chen confidently commanded his blazing flames to devour them all. The fire beast joined forces, swiftly taking down the remaining 2 monsters. The Star Tower gleamed, announcing had set a new record in under a minute. At the same time, the system celebrated that had partially achieved his mission goal. Next, it reported his donkey had leveled up with boosted power. Stunned, he saw one of his beasts had evolved. The donkey appeared with a glowing horn, fierce and majestic. Chen stepped closer, curious about the horn's new function. Suddenly, the donkey opened its mouth and swallowed him whole. He yelled in outrage, eaten by his own pet. Then he realized he was inside a vast inner space. Guessing it was a new skill, he firmly commanded to exit the creature's internal realm. In an instant, he was back in the arena, safe and sound. Grinning, he confirmed he could freely enter and exit the beast's inner space. The Star Tower officially declared his score a record-breaking achievement. Yet his name hadn't shown up. Like Shuenjin was still leading. Chinese studied the board, pondering over the stable results. Huiz fidgeted nervously, worried for Second Academy's reputation. Huang Lin sneered, claiming Chen had no real ability. Suddenly, the leaderboard flipped. Chen shot to first place with 56 points. The 3 witnesses froze, utterly speechless. Chini gasped aloud as Chen unexpectedly claimed the top spot. Huiz burst into laughter, eyes gleaming with pride. Huang Lin stammered, dumbfounded by the dramatic turnaround. In contrast, Huiz shouted in triumph, saying record-breaking was only natural. Just then, a stern supervisor appeared, demanding to know the cause of the commotion. Everyone gathered and Huiz greeted politely while Huang Lin scrambled to explain. Tan Xing eyed the board, mocking Zone 16's pathetic performance, and Huiz smoothly defended his district's honor. The supervisor sneered, declaring he'd personally test each zone through the Star Tower. Chini bristled, openly challenging his unfair remarks, but Tan Xing only smirked, mocking their repeated weak results. Scene shift to Chen stepped into a new arena, eyes blazing with resolve for round 3. Before him, 3 massive vortex gates opened, hinting at fresh dangers. Colossal stone creature emerged, shaking the ground with each stump. Facing the mighty foe, Chen calmly deduced this trial focused on quantity. He shouted orders, ready to unleash his full strength this round. The fiery beast behind him went wild, their aura blazing, prepare to fight to the death. They stormed forth like a hurricane, obliterating all stone monsters instantly. Chen didn't even need to move. Meanwhile, Lai Xuanjin struggled hard, surrounded by stone fiends with no escape. Elsewhere, Xiaohuohuo panted helplessly as the number of enemies kept rising. Lei ran for his life, cursing his monster-attracting physique and regretting not having Chen nearby. The stone horde surged like a flood, showing no sign of stopping. Suddenly, he noticed the rock monsters were idiots trampling each other to death. Meanwhile, Chen's fire beast had nearly wiped them all out, leaving just one twitching survivor. Riding his fiery beast, he smirked, planning to cut off the monsters at their source. Suddenly, the system announced Chen had slain 100 monsters in 5 minutes, scoring 50 points and setting a record. His personal system chimed that the second of 3 missions was complete. Kanxing left but sneered, saying only scores above 100 were truly champion-worthy. Right then, the board flashed. Chen's name appeared with 106 points. Shocking everyone, the inspector gawked, mumbling doubts about the score's accuracy, and Huizi burst out laughing in sweet vindication. Lei Tiny mockingly jabbed at the inspector's earlier arrogance. Even Huang Lin smirked, beaten. Yes, but no longer belittled. Fuming, Kanxing ordered to check on the current top scorer. The system replied Han Yan. Zone 1, 110 points, 25 people total above 100. He puffed up, loudly stressing how many surpassed Chen to save face. Qin Yi calmly retorted that their side was simply being humble. The inspector frowned, asking what exactly she meant by that, and Huizi smiled slyly, delivering the blow to Chen only played 2 rounds, skipping the first. Hearing that, Kanxing froze like a statue in disbelief, principal and laughed uproariously, delighted by his opponent's shock. Kanxing stood numb, muttering how 106 points in 2 rounds could even be possible. Lei Tiny snapped, criticizing his poor comprehension and lousy oversight, struggling to save face. Kanxing reluctantly admitted fault and compared Zone 16 genius to Morong Lilium. Before leaving, he snidely remarked that the elimination stage would prove true strength and wished Zone 16 luck surviving. Once he vanished, and Huizi spat in disgust, venting his fury at the humiliation. Xinyi sighed, recalling the great catastrophe 2 decades ago that left Zone 16 disgraced and despised, and Huizi clenched his fists, vowing they'd rise again and shame their doubters. Huang Lin cautiously warned the next round was dangerous. Students could steal points from each other. Chen Yi analyzed that Chen's high score and unaffiliated status would make him everyone's target. Huang Lin bitterly admitted had already ordered all 3rd Academy students to gang up onto Chen if found, and Huizi fumed, roaring that such dirty tactics had no place in a regional exam. Huang Lin shrugged coldly, saying surpassing 2nd Academy was his only goal. Meanwhile, the referee announced the survival battle phase. Chen nodded. Ready to begin, the system added breaking another score card would transfer their points, everyone's score visible to all. Seeing the live leaderboard, Chen grinned. This new rule sounded way more fun than monster hunting. The system confirmed Zone 16 and Zone 5 would share the battlefield. All participants were now teleported. The rules forbade serious injury. Top fighters like Xiaohuohuo, Lai Xuanjian, and Ni and Tathoi grew alert, while Chen casually rode his donkey to find teammates, and Huizi broke into a sweat, stunned that Zone 5 had become their direct opponent. Lei Tiny fumed, calling it unfair to pit weak Zone 16 against powerful Zone 5. Huang Lin suspected the matchup was punishment for Chen's flashy performance. Lei Tiny agreed, blaming a central misjudgment of their true strength. Huang Lin angrily blamed 2nd Academy and Chen for dragging their whole zone into trouble. Meanwhile, Zone 16 students stayed perfectly hidden, undetected for quite a while. A Zone 5 student waited calmly, sure this would be easy points against weaklings. Then they spotted Chen casually riding his donkey toward them. When teammates shouted Zone 16 target spotted, they saw him as a walking point chest and moved to block his path. Chen noticed them and guessed they were Zone 5 contestants. 2 of them jumped out, demanding he hand over his scorecard. Chen coolly replied he had no intention of giving up anything. One wrote he'd use force if needed. That man transformed, body swelling into a hulking giant. Chen looked intrigued. It was his first time seeing that profession type. The giant checked his score and froze. It was Chen with an insanely high total. He shouted the name and score like hitting the jackpot. Greed gleamed in his eyes. This was his big break. Without hesitation, he stomped down to crush or force the card from him, but the donkey's horn suddenly pierced his leg, stopping the blow. Startled, he jerked his foot back in pain. Chen laughed, praising his pet's perfect counter. He slapped the donkey's flank, ordering a clean takedown. The beast roared and charged like a fiery tornado. One foe raised his shield, proud of his unbreakable defense. Yet the donkey suddenly leapt high into the air. Then it slammed a brutal kick straight onto the shield man's head. From afar, Chen shouted cheers and called for a surprise flank attack. The kick landed square. Shield guy howled in pain. Furious at being caught off guard, the giant lunged at Chen, slamming forward with destructive force. But the fiery donkey opened its mouth, sucking him into a vortex. Chen gaped. So that was the donkey's true internal space power. The system warned the swallowed life form was being absorbed into energy. Panicking, Chen yelled to stop. Full absorption would erase the guy completely. The remaining fighter trembled, demanding what kind of profession Chen even was. Chen strolled closer with a sly grin, just a mid-year hobbyist. After the fight, he crushed their scorecards, earning only 32 points. Clearly disappointed, the eliminated duo cursed him, warning that the real monster, would wipe Zone 16 out. A scene cut to a shadowy figure thrilled that the final hunt was about to begin. He morphed into a grotesque creature and shot forward at terrifying speed. Two students walking nearby were ambushed out of nowhere. One barely screamed a warning before doom struck. One was impaled through the chest, blood spraying everywhere. The other cried out in horror, demanding to know what the hell he was. The creature said nothing, just smashed him dead with a single blow. In an icy tone, the creature demanded their scorecards. Asked if he was some evil class, he gave no answer. His gaze shifted toward a new target to Chen. Elsewhere, Yang Bashi schemed beside his bunny-eared partner. He smirked, planning to let others rack up points before reaping them all at the end. His ruthless order: wipe out Zone 16 first, then butcher teammates to steal their points. The bunny girl activated telepathy, her cold message echoing in every Zone 5 student's mind. Yang Bashi boasted that fighting Zone 16 would make him the top scorer of the Dragon region, maybe even the all-system record holder. Zone 16 students scattered in chaos, hunted down by Zone 5, who barked for their cards. Xiao Ludu shouted for Li Lingxiao to split up, but he kept chasing after her. Furious, she reminded him they'd broken up and had nothing left between them. Li Lingxiao stubbornly vowed to protect her anyway. A Zone 5 fighter blocked their path, grinning coldly with certain victory. Xiao Ludu cast a breeze spell, whisking them both out of danger. She muttered in irritation, frustrated that her stronger magic couldn't keep up with the enemy's speed. To Chen, riding his fiery beast, watched from afar, ready to intercept the pursuers. Suddenly, a command from Yang Beishi rang in his mind: eliminate all Zone 16 students. A squad from Zone 5 surrounded to Chen, mocking him as a worthless weakling. Li Lingxiao and Xiao Ludu, exhausted, stumbled close to Chen and stopped. Xiao Ludu panicked, realizing they were trapped with no way out. Li Lingxiao suggested joining forces with Chen to shield Xiao Ludu. Chen scoffed, saying he saw no reason to help. Li Lingxiao hinted this could win him back Xiao Ludu's favor. Chen laughed dryly, calling Li Lingxiao's obsession utterly pathetic. Xiao Ludu misread his sarcasm as proof of lingering affection. Chen snapped, asking what nonsense she was talking about. She insisted his actions were just to get her attention. Chen nearly laughed out loud. She was completely delusional. Xiao Ludu doubled down, claiming she understood him better than he did himself. She seemed to be writing her own love story in her head. Convinced he still had a chance, she told both men to stall the enemy while she prepared her spell. Chen ignored her completely, uninterested in her drama. The enemies noticed her chanting and rushed in to interrupt. Xiao Ludu yelled for Chen to come back, counting down nervously. Chen muttered in disgust, wondering how the original body ever liked someone like her. She screamed again, warning he'd lose his last chance if he didn't return now. Li Lingxiao sighed, admitting Chen was truly over her. Xiao Ludu fumed, hurt that he no longer obeyed her like before. Still, she thought his reckless solo act was pure suicide. A Zone 5 warrior charged, mocking Chen for walking away mid-fight. Chen ordered his mount to accelerate, eyes cold as steel. The fiery donkey bolted so fast the enemy couldn't catch up. The pursuer gawked, impressed by the speed, yet sneering Chen wasn't worthy of it. He shouted threats, demanding the card or death. Unfazed, Chen pulled out a strange item, dismounted and ran even faster than before. The Zone 5 soldier froze, unable to believe his eyes. The two behind gawked. Xiao Ludu couldn't fathom how Chen escaped so easily. Another shouted threats, demanding the card or promising death. Xiao Ludu trembled, realizing elimination was near. She shook off despair, reminding herself the goal was far bigger. Li Lingxiao anxiously asked if she had any move left. She turned and asked if he'd sacrifice everything for her. He answered instantly, confessing fierce devotion and total obedience. Suddenly, a Zone 5 fighter charged in with crushing force. They had no choice but to unleash full combat strength. Out of nowhere, a giant stone arm burst from the ground. It grabbed the foe, leaving him screaming in confusion. Xiao Ludu seized the moment and cast a lightning strike. A monstrous bolt hit, flinging the enemy like a corpse reanimated by thunder. She laughed coldly, revealing the summoner was a genius from the 3rd Academy. Everyone gawked. The man was supposed to be dead. Someone guessed she was a necromancer of grim profession. Xiao Ludu ordered Li Lingxiao to prepare his offering. He stammered in fear of becoming undead. Xiao Ludu sneered, saying he was too weak to be worthy of that. Li Lingxiao panicked, wondering what he was supposed to do. She raised a glowing ancient book, naming it and commanding its true power. The book floated up, opening before everyone's stunned eyes. A Zone 5 student whispered in fear it was a legendary rare weapon. Xiao Ludu declared she wasn't some ordinary mage, radiating confidence. She ordered Li Lingxiao to burn his remaining life to activate it. A blinding ray shot through him from the book. He felt explosive power surge, eyes blazing. He boasted that now he could beat any profession alive. The Zone 5 students screamed, attacking. Sure, no undead could stop them. Shehao, now a powerful corpse warrior, charged forth. He unleashed ferocious blows, halting the enemy's entire advance. Xiao Ludu coldly ordered them to hold for 2 minutes. She rose high, chanting to activate the Wheel of Fate. She summoned ultimate power, turning flames into annihilating weapons. The enemies panicked, pointing wildly, clueless about her spell. They rushed in to disrupt her casting. Li Lingxiao blocked their way, vowing no one would touch Lulu. One mocked him, saying he'd die in seconds. Li Lingxiao fired back with a brutal shot, blasting the foe away. The crowd gasped it wasn't bullets but cannon shells. He laughed victoriously, claiming his strength had skyrocketed. Above, Xiao Ludu gathered energy, her red glowing arms forming a fiery fan that blew back attackers. She pointed and declared domineeringly that she was the sovereign of this moment. Two enemies were locked by red light, frozen stiff. One trembled, realizing she far surpassed a loadier mage. The other scoffed, thinking it was just a one-time trick. But then Xiao Ludu lifted her head, eyes icy, and told them to look up. Hundreds of blazing meteors fell like a rain of doomsday stars. The Zone 5 students screamed in panic, clueless about the terrifying spell. One realized it was a forbidden fire spell, shocking everyone that a loadier mage could use it. The meteors poured down like a storm, sealing all escape routes. A trembling student suspected Xiao Ludu might be of a dark profession, not a normal mage, someone worried about punishment, urging her to stop before the Alliance intervened. But before he finished, a meteor crashed right beside him. The meteor meteor rain continued, shaking the entire arena violently. Xiao Ludu arrogantly declared she cared nothing for lives, power ruled all. The Zone 5 group clutched their heads, fleeing from the forbidden spell's pressure. One instantly activated his retreat token to leave the match. Others followed, screaming they'd rather quit than die. The system coldly announced 11 Zone 16 students eliminated. Xiao Ludu gained 210 points. She grew prouder, dreaming of wiping out all contestants and making her name echo across Long Zone. The remaining ones panicked, wondering if this was still part of the exam. Those too slow were struck by meteors, bodies flying and blood spraying. Elsewhere, Rabbit Girl sensed the anomaly. Standing up in shock at the forbidden spell, Yang Bashi lost his calm, while Su Chen frowned. Watching from afar, he judged that Xiao Ludu had played her final card. None could stop her now. She mocked Su Chen, ordering him to return to her side like fate intended. Su Chen smirked coldly, saying he'd only consider it if he were her dad. Xiao Ludu raged, commanding meteors to strike Su Chen. He shouted, ready to face her head-in. Refusing to act weak again, Lingqiu laughed, doubting Su Chen could survive the forbidden spell, and even swore to change his surname if he did. The fiery meteor hurtled toward him. Su Chen calmly ordered it to be swallowed. The fire donkey opened its mouth, gulping the meteor into nothingness. Lingqiu froze, unable to comprehend what he'd just seen. Su Chen praised his pet, moving as it devoured every attack Xiao Ludu cast. Lingqiu screamed in disbelief, watching the donkey consume forbidden magic. Xiao Ludu furiously ordered the severing of the forbidden spell's link. Su Chen sneered, commanding it to swallow her too. A barrage of forbidden spells rained down like a storm, yet the fire donkey kept swallowing them all effortlessly. Xiao Ludu screamed mockingly, challenging a speed duel between her spells and its swallowing. Suddenly, more fire donkeys swooped down from above to attack. One kicked her hard, slamming her into the ground. She roared in rage, shocked that Su Chen could break her forbidden spell. She seethed, furious that her grand fame plan was ruined. Su Chen sneered, mocking her for chasing glory through bloodshed. She screamed, calling herself a goddess and vowing to drag him to hell. She lunged, but Su Chen struck with a crushing punch. The blow shook her entire body violently. She staggered back, clutching her injured arm. Eyes wide with disbelief, she admitted she never expected Su Chen to hide such power. Su Chen smirked, mocking that her mage title was just surface-level fluff. Lingqiu, still deluded, raised his gun to stop Su Chen from touching Xiao Lutu, but his body trembled. The gun slipped from his grasp uncontrollably. In horror, he saw his hands turn to stone and shatter like ice. Xiao Lutu coldly reminded him of the cost of burning too much life force. Lingqiu despaired, realizing he'd lost his hands and his career. Su Chen pointed mockingly, returning the earlier loyal dog insult. The system warned that the donkey's inner space was overloaded with forbidden energy and was now disabled. Su Chen frowned, admitting the spell's power had overwhelmed the space itself. Takan returned to the judge's booth, loudly announcing the scoring review. He scanned the board and saw Su Chen ranked 38th with only 138 points. He laughed derisively, claiming Su Chen's weakness had been fully exposed. Like Xiandeep stood tense beside him, worried by Su Chen's low score. She turned to Kanqing, angrily insisting low points didn't mean Zone 16 was weak. Suddenly, the system declared shocking news. Su Chen eliminated Xiao Lu, broke the forbidden spell, and saved both zones, earning 2,000 points. His total shot up to 3,527, leading the entire second academy. Everyone gaped, sweating in disbelief at his sudden leap. Even in the first round, that score rivaled past provincial champions. One judge laughed heartily, thrilled by Su Chen's extraordinary feat. Yet some grew jealous, whispering it simply turned luck into strength. Then the system warned of abnormal point fluctuations, preparing to reveal the reward reason. A sneering voice claimed Su Chen's 3,000 points made him everyone's prey. Like Xiandeep frowned, questioning Kanqing about the system's interference. Kanqing calmly replied the system could act for fairness, though even he was shocked it granted mid-test bonuses. With that monstrous score, Su Chen was now the prime target in this brutal survival exam. Meanwhile, on-site, some contestants noticed the strange energy shift. The rabbit-eared girl gasped as the forbidden spell completely vanished. At the same time, Su Chen's image appeared on the main screen with his terrifying score. The system declared had been rewarded for stopping the curse, boosting his total to a crushing lead. The news spread everywhere, leaving crowds shouting in disbelief. Su Chen's name instantly became the #1 target in the southern exam zone. A feral creature saw his name on the board and roared viciously. Its red eyes gleamed murderously. Su Chen, this time you die. Su Chen sighed helplessly, realizing the points had dragged him into danger. A bloodthirsty group surrounded him. One stepped forward to confirm his identity. Su Chen answered coolly, voice like ice, yes, that's me. The man grinned wickedly, calling him golden prey and vowing he'd never escape. He ordered his team to force Su Chen to withdraw or be dealt with. Su Chen smirked, eyes sharp as blades, saying, those points weren't free, don't even dream of it. They laughed scornfully, claiming 5 of them were enough to drop him. Even Yang Bashi would hesitate. But as one lunged forward, Su Chen cast a fire spell that threw him off balance. Before the man could counter, Su Chen punched him down cold. Another confirmed, yes, is definitely a summoner. The guy proposed turning it into a true summoner's duel. He summoned a giant bear charging with savage fury. The bear's claws tore through flames, forcing Su Chen to defend cautiously. The man mocked that Su Chen's donkey was too weak to beat a bear, but Su Chen instantly summoned 4 more beasts at once. All 4 struck like thunder, smashing into the giant bear. The foe was stunned. He never expected Su Chen to summon so many creatures. He gritted his teeth, summoning another fierce beast, a Jingong Welly. Su Chen spoke coldly, taunting, got anything else? Bring it on. The man laughed darkly, vowing to make Su Chen taste despair. Another charged in, using a support skill to allow extra summons. A massive crocodile rose roared into being, its aura crushing. A second helper boosted, claiming he could double his beast's strength. The last one boasted unbreakable defenses for their pets. All three activated their buffs, making the summoned beasts erupt with power. One arrogantly claimed this lineup could even make Yangbashi wary, asking if Suchen felt despair. Yet, Suchen stayed calm, lips curling as if ready to move. The group mocked his composure, teasing him to surrender. He replied icily, threatening to show them true despair. He waved his hand, summoning a sky full of blazing firepower. The sight left the enemies frozen, eyes wide in shock. One gawked, unable to believe he saw tens of thousands of beasts. The whole group panicked, unable to grasp how one man could summon so many. Someone shouted they couldn't win, urging the others to run. Another cried hopelessly that there was no escape left among the beasts. He gave up, crushing his retreat token to withdraw. The system announced 4 students eliminated. Su Chen gained 159 points. Though the group was strong, none could counter Su Chen's unorthodox style. His image now dominated every screen. From afar, Su Chen spotted Lele being chased. The pursuers shouted, ordering him to stop and reveal Su Chen's location. Su Chen didn't hide. He called out loudly and appeared. They turned, eyes gleaming with greedy ambition upon recognizing him. Lele, panting, ran towards Su Chen. He confirmed in shock that it was truly Su Chen. Lele asked about Zilong's whereabouts. Gasping for breath, he said he'd been hunted since the start and was exhausted. One attacker laughed, saying it was time to settle all old and new debts with Su Chen. Lele panicked, tugging Su Chen to flee, warning that the Third Academy was going all out. Su Chen remained calm, eyes sharp, saying there were still many ways to fight back. One shouted that Su Chen was completely surrounded. Su Chen pointed back, declaring that they were the ones trapped. He summoned a massive herd of donkeys encircling the enemies. The students screamed, confirming he was a rare Haidir summoner with overwhelming power. The herd attacked fiercely, kicking opponents flying with absurd force. Su Chen reminded them of his old promise to beat Huang Gan every time they met. Huang Gan stayed calm, pulling out a glowing orb and claiming he was fully prepared for Su Chen. Lele panicked, warning it was an emergency signal sphere that would broadcast their location instantly. Huang Gan grinned darkly, declaring Su Chen's death sealed as reinforcements were already en route. He crushed the signal sphere without hesitation. On the other end, the signal spread fast. Crowds rushed towards Su Chen's position. Some recalled the Dean's kill order, others craved Su Chen's points. The team swiftly deployed a magic array, setting up a large barrier. The defense command rang out, and the formation activated. 2 solid shields appeared, and Huang Gan smirked, certain they'd hold Su Chen back. Su Chen sneered, mocking their stupidity, and then turned his back and walked away. Seeing him leave, the crowd froze. Huang Gan stood baffled by the unexpected move. He screamed desperately, begging weakly for Su Chen to stay. Su Chen stopped and coldly said, "If you want me to stay, call me Dad." Without hesitation, Huang Gan shouted Dad to hold him there. Su Chen burst out laughing, mocking him for trading dignity for time. Moments later, Third Academy students flooded in like a tidal wave, sealing the area. Some shouted to tighten the encirclement. Others cheered for the reinforcements' arrival. Huang Gan gloated, bragging his dad act successfully delayed Su Chen. Lele panicked, urging Su Chen to escape before the circle closed, but Su Chen calmly refused, saying he was actually waiting for them. From afar, Huang Lin appeared, laughing loudly. Thinking Su Chen was caught, he proudly announced to everyone that victory was his. Huang Lin was convinced his son had subdued Su Chen. Another student mocked the Third Academy's cowardice for ganging up on one man, but still believed in Su Chen. Someone suggested using the 10-second observation right to check Huang Can's status in Zone 16 of Star Tower. The screen showed Huang Gan clinging desperately, begging Su Chen not to leave. Su Chen teased him again, forcing him to call Dad one more time. That line left Huang Lin speechless, as if splashed with cold water before the crowd, and Huichi laughed uproariously, mocking Huang Lin for his son's dad-powered achievement. Like Xiandeep couldn't hold back louder either, teasing Dean Huang for the absurd scene. Huang Lin fumed, cursing his unfilial son, then growled at Huichi that Su Chen would soon die. In the test chamber, Rabbit Girl panicked, reporting that Su Chen now fully surrounded in Zone 16. A command came instantly. Yang Bashi entered the field, calling Zone 15 to advance as well. A Third Academy student boasted confidently, praising the Dean's strategic foresight. Su Chen stood amid the encirclement, his icy gaze unwavering. His control over the donkey herd had evolved. They moved like a disciplined army. Huang Can, after dispelling his barrier, shouted in denial that the donkeys were nothing to fear. Su Chen challenged him, summoning donkeys from the flames beneath his feet to strike back. Tens of thousands of donkeys appeared at once, surging outward from his center like a tidal wave. The crowd was terrified. Some stammered in disbelief at the absurd number. More people arrived by signal, surrounding the entire zone. A worried voice, someone from Zone 5, called out as Hungan realized the enemy force was overwhelmingly larger. He tried to rally his side, shouting that numbers didn't matter, whoever killed Su Chen would win. Su Chen stayed calm, eyes gleaming, declaring the enemies had arrived right on time. Lili was horrified, unable to believe most contestants had gathered just to face one man. In the sky, Yang Bashi and Rabbit Girl descended, their presence overwhelming. Yang Bashi roared that Su Chen was his target as Zone 5's leader and a newly awakened legendary class. He pointed at Su Chen, demanding the scorecard immediately. Su Chen replied coldly, "If you want points, call me Dad first." He added Esily, mocking that his opponent's death was already near. Suddenly, a distant voice yelled Dad, stunning everyone who couldn't tell who said it. A figure charged in, shouting for everyone to move aside. She was looking for Su Chen. Lele gasped, recognizing her as Zhang Yu and asked why she was there. The girl's eyes blazed, declaring she couldn't stand people bullying her dad. From afar, Lai Shuangyan appeared too, announcing she'd come for Su Chen. Su Chen blinked in surprise and asked to confirm. She nodded firmly, saying she came to repay his life-saving favor and lift the old curse. Su Chen laughed, waving both Yu and Shuangyan to join him for an all-out fight. Yang Bashi sneered, mocking that the four of them were too weak, no number of donkeys could save them. He urged them to surrender, pretending it'd be a contribution to Zone 16 in exchange for Su Chen's card. Zhang Yu furiously pointed at him, condemning his betrayal of the man who once saved them all. Yang Bashi replied coldly, justifying his ambush under exam rules. He began channeling power, aura flaring as he swore to end it quickly. Yu shouted a direct challenge, cursing them as ingrates attacking their savior. Yang Bashi smirked, saying only strength was truth, then hurled an energy orb at Su Chen. Lai Shuangyan instantly drew her sword, blocking the fierce blast. The shockwave flung her backward violently, yet she roared, eyes blazing, charging right back into battle. Su Chen raised his hand to stop her, calmly telling her not to risk her life for him. Yang Bashi sneered, demanding Su Chen hand over his scorecard for safety or face certain death. Su Chen looked around, declaring he had once saved them all. Was there truly no gratitude left? The crowd burst into laughter. Someone mocked that no one ever needed his help. Another jeered that Su Chen just faked heroics for points and was now begging for pity. Yang Bashi laughed, claiming only the weak spoke of gratitude. They lived by strength and gain. He dismissed Su Chen's deeds, insisting they'd have survived fine without him. Su Chen's eyes turned icy, his voice storm-cold as he vowed a merciless fight. He swept his hand, drawing back all surrounding flames, stunning everyone. Someone screamed in panic, thinking he was about to flee, ordering his death for points. Su Chen stood tall, shouting that he'd return the forbidden spell to them all, commanding his donkeys to unleash their ultimate move. A torrent of energy exploded from above, shaking the entire battlefield violently. Rabbit Girl was the first to realize, eyes wide in terror, it was a real forbidden spell. She cried out in shock, unable to believe the longband magic had returned. With an icy face, Su Chen raised his hand and ordered the meters to fall. Instantly, blazing rocks rained down like shooting stars guided by an unseen force. The crushing pressure blanketed the arena. Many couldn't breathe. Crying for mercy, Su Chen gave no reply. He simply watched their despair, cold as stone. Yang Bashi roared furiously, charging recklessly to resist till the end, but a massive meteor smashed into his face, stopping him instantly. With one strike, Yang Bashi collapsed unconscious, completely defeated. Trembling, he begged for mercy, admitting his fault and pleading for his life. Yet Su Chen's eyes stayed frigid, utterly unmoved. He said coldly, if you believe someone else will save you, then wait for them. At his words, meteors kept raining down like fire, cracking the earth. Yang Bashi was pinned immobile. Lele burst out laughing, unable to hide his joy at seeing the enemy crushed. He clapped and praised Su Chen, calling him dad, admiring his absolute dominance. Meanwhile, Huanggan fled in panic, cursing Su Chen as he ran, but a meteor slammed down, flinging him like trash, leaving him motionless. The survivors were terrified beyond reason, breaking their surrender tokens to escape. The observing teacher stood frozen as Su Chen's points skyrocketed like a rocket launch. One teacher rejoiced, thinking his son Huanggan had climbed to the top after Su Chen's fall. But turning to the board, Huang Lin froze. Su Chen sat alone at rank 1 with 11,988 points. Far beyond all others, Huang Lin's eyes bulged. He couldn't believe the number 11,988 points. And Huichi was also stunned, rubbing his eyes as if dreaming. Both dotted their senses, thinking it must be an illusion. They panicked, demanding to contact Judge Ta, suspecting a system glitch. Judge Ta appeared, eyes stern, scolding the staff for losing composure. Huang Lin hastily reported Su Chen's score. Filled with dread, Judge Ta calmly replied that such phenomena weren't rare and remained under control. The mention of prodigies surpassing 1,000 points made Huang Lin drop his badge in shock. He shouted frantically to report the situation to the Star Tower Alliance, believing the system had gone haywire. Meanwhile, the battlefield was now nothing but ruins after the Forbidden Storm. Most players were scattered. The few left crushed teleport stones to escape. Lai Shuangyan stood stunned, unable to believe the destruction she'd just witnessed. Anyone who saw that devastation and didn't call dad must be insane. Su Chen coldly scanned the wreckage, ordering his team to collect points from the fallen. Suddenly, Yang Bashi crawled up from the ground, bloodied but still defiant. Lili gaped, astonished that he'd survived the apocalypse. Yet Yang Bashi shot into the air again, drawing his sword for a final challenge. He shouted mockingly that Su Chen was just handing him free points. Screaming arrogantly, he charged, believing himself invincible. Su Chen only smirked, unleashing a single palm that shook the air. The bare-handed strike shattered Yang Bashi's sword in an instant. Yang Bashi panics, unable to believe a summoner could have such a powerful palm strike. Before he can react, the next blow slams straight into his gut. His body is hurled dozens of meters away, crashing and rolling along the ground. He mutters bitterly, unwilling to accept defeat by someone he once deemed weak. Before leaving, he warns he won't forget today's humiliation, then crushes his teleport card to retreat. Tu Chen calmly replies that remembering won't help. He'll never be the father he wants. Lele exhales in relief, thrilled that the weakest team in Zone 16 defeated Zone 5. Just then, a strange figure Chu Zilong, beautiful yet eerie, steps from the shadows with a wicked grin. As if enjoying the show, Tu Chen turns, eyes sharp, recognizing a familiar yet murderous presence. Lai Shuangyan tenses, loudly demanding the stranger's identity. The bizarre figure's voice shifts, revealing a human face like a living nightmare. He smirks coldly, greeting Tu Chen and calling himself La Xiao. La Xiao raises his hand, demanding the fate blade he claims is his. Tu Chen flares in anger, eyes blazing, demanding he release Zilong or die. La Xiao laughs maniacally, vowing to kill Zilong right before Tu Chen's eyes. Tu Chen roars to stop him, when suddenly, a donkey from the herd delivers a fierce kick toward La Xiao. He only sneers, utterly unimpressed. Suddenly, La Shen appears like a phantom behind La Xiao, dagger gleaming with killing intent. Tu Chen senses the strange aura. Li Shan is a rare and deadly shadow assassin. He reacts fast, swinging his weapon to block the lethal strike. But Li Shan is faster, kicking Tu Chen back off balance. Seizing the moment, she snatches Zilong from Li Xiao's grasp. He screams in disbelief that someone dared steal from him to his face. A sharp sword flies toward Li Shan, threatening her life. Li Xiao's body twists monstrously as he laughs like a bloodthirsty demon. Tu Chen can't hold back, charging in with killing intent blazing. But Li Xiao, anticipating it, dodges smoothly like melting into shadow. Li Shuangyan rushes to Li Shan's side, anxiously checking on her. Gasping, Li Shan admits she owes Tu Chen yet another debt. She trembles as she sees Zilong's limbs brutally broken. Tu Chen freezes, staring at his friend in silent agony. Zilong weakly urges him to retreat, warning Li Xiao is a cruel calamity. But Li Xiao raises Zilong's scorecard, threatening his life if Tu Chen flees. Tu Chen roars, aura bursting with murderous fury, vowing to kill him no matter what. Li Xiao sneers, provoking him further, amused by his rage. Tu Chen grits his teeth, commanding his donkey herd to attack. Hooves thunder like storms as the herd charges in a blink. Li Xiao vanishes into thin air. He reappears instantly, mocking that the fire's strong but still too weak. Smirking arrogantly, Tu Chen's eyes blaze with resolve as he summons full power, unleashing a wave of fiery destruction. Li Xiao smiles triumphantly, revealing a strange glowing talisman had prepared all along. Li Shuyan suddenly recognizes the talisman, panicking that it's a heightier sealing mark and urging Tu Chen to dodge. But it's too late. The talisman is hurled with overwhelming force. It sticks to Tu Chen's body before he can resist. Instantly, his fire army vanishes without a trace, sucked back into its space. Tu Chen realizes in shock that his powers are locked. His summoned flames nullified. He gasps aloud, finding he's completely lost the ability to call fire. Li Xiao grins wickedly, boasting the seal nullifies all summoning. Tu Chen is now a dead man walking. Lei roars in fury, vowing to report this to the Alliance's higher-ups. Li Xiao sneers, mocking that no complaint will ever reach them, hinting at his powerful backers. Atop Mount Chadvode, far away, a new disturbance unfolds. The Thunder God sits silently, eyes cold as he observes. A heavy voice suddenly accuses him of meddling in the human trial. The Blood God Ashla appears, declaring opposition, but the Thunder God smirks mockingly. He insists his student Ami has extraordinary potential, destined to glorify humanity. The Blood God protests the trial must stay fair, but the Thunder God twists the rules to shift the scores. He declares his pupil will face Tu Chen, burning with intent to win. Then he leaves, while the fuming Blood God curses under his breath and departs too. Suddenly, Gao Yang appears, his gaze piercing the Thunder God's intent. He questions why the Thunder God pays such attention to Tu Chen. The Thunder God smiles darkly, saying those who are different must walk a different path. Yet he admits such growth always demands a heavy price. The coming times will be brutal. The demonic races will invade, and humanity's time runs short. Back in battle, Tu Chen unleashes lightning, blasting Li Xiao back, though he quickly closes in again. Tu Chen keeps striking, proving he can still fight without fire. This rage is his first true one. Beaten back, Li Xiao still smirks, impressed by Tu Chen's power despite his lowly rank. Tu Chen coldly retorts that empty words mean nothing. Li Xiao declares that killing Tu Chen will only make the victory sweeter. Tu Chen suspects a hidden trump card and dares him to use it. He punches again, but Li Xiao activates divine armor. Glowing in radiant light, the blow bounces off, sending Tu Chen flying back. Li Xiao taunts him to keep attacking. It's useless anyway. Tu Chen doesn't flinch, charging again with clenched fists and steel resolve, but the divine armor blocks once more, hurling him back a second time. From afar, Lei sighs, knowing such heightier armor is beyond any student's reach. Li Xiao laughs victoriously, boasting the trap was crafted perfectly to crush the weak. He strikes decisively, his blow slamming into Chen's gut, forcing him back gasping. Despite his agony, Chu Zilong shouts for his friend to run and not worry about him. Blood drips from Tu Chen's lips, but his spirit stands firm. He refuses to fall after 2 lifetimes. Facing him, Li Xiao coldly warns that no one escapes his family's hunt. Chu Zilong, frail yet defiant, yells that if Tu Chen won't retreat, he'll end his own life to force him to, but Tu Chen only shakes his head, flames of fury blazing, vowing to fight once more. He roars, charging like hellfire incarnate straight at his foe. Li Xiao sneers, certain his divine armor can endure any top-tier strike. Without a word, Tu Chen flashes forward like lightning, unleashing his full might. Li Xiao readies himself, fists brimming with killing intent for a fatal blow. Suddenly, Tu Chen uses a secret move. Compassion unravels intent, catching his enemy off guard. In an instant, Li Xiao's divine armor cracks and shatters completely, leaving him panicked. Tu Chen wastes no time, landing a thunderous punch to his chest. The crowd freezes, unable to believe what they just witnessed. Some whisper in awe about the strange skill that can nullify armor. Lei bursts out laughing in joy, certain his faith in Tu Chen was right. Tu Chen smiles faintly, thrilled to have mastered compassion unravels intent. Li Xiao trembles in terror, realizing he's utterly overpowered. He stammers curses, his fear barely hidden behind shaky words. He grabs for his teleport card, but Tu Chen kicks it out of his hand. Tu Chen coldly vows no one leaves alive. Ignoring Li Xiao's desperate pleas, he slaps him hard, leaving Li Xiao pale and staggering. Li Xiao roars in rage, demanding if Tu Chen truly dares to kill him, but another punch sends him crashing down, fear consuming him entirely. Panicking, Li Xiao begs for mercy, invoking his noble status. Tu Chen doesn't waver, striking again with a mocking remark, no one's joking here. He declares only death can end the arrogance of someone like Li Xiao. Desperate, Li Xiao cites exam rules, warning of the consequences of disqualification. Chu Zilong, weak but conscious, pleads for Tu Chen to calm down and not lose his chance. Li Shuangyan also urges restraint, reminding him of his future. Hearing this, Li Xiao lifts his chin, smirking proudly. Thinking is safe, but Tu Chen's eyes are icy, has never been one for delusions. Believing is one, Li Xiao demands Tu Chen hand over the scorecard. Tu Chen stays silent, then lunges forward with weapon drawn. In Intent on ending it, LeShou screams in panic, trying to stop him, terrified of losing exam points. At that moment, a cold voice slices through the air like a blade. Tu Chen smirks calmly and says, "Sorry, I was already exempted." LeShou freezes, eyes wide in disbelief at the revelation. Tu Chen turns to the others, explaining he already had a place in Tianjing Academy. Then he mocks LeShou for setting records only to lose everything. Without hesitation, he tosses his scorecard toward Shuang Yan. She catches it, stunned, unsure what Tu Chen intends. He explains that from now on, everyone will destroy their cards starting with him. Someone worries this will affect the top scorer rankings if his points vanish. Zhang Yu bursts into tears, moved by Tu Chen's quiet sacrifice. Outside, the crowd stirs, watching the leaderboard and awaiting news from the Star Tower Alliance. Some fret over the silence, convinced the matter's gravity will soon force an official response. They realize that if no errors exist, Tu Chen will be this year's exam valedictorian. Huang Lin shouts in protest, refusing to believe the top rank could belong outside his region. Just then, a broadcast from the Alliance silences everyone. It confirms the Central Intelligence has verified Tu Chen's score is fully valid. Huang Lin stands petrified, unable to accept the official result. He mutters in horror that humanity has birthed a genius beyond all standards. Cheers erupt everywhere, people celebrate a new leader of humankind. But joy dies instantly when the next notice announces a score deletion penalty, and Huaiji freezes mid-laugh. Face stunned, Huang Lin laughs mockingly, saying they celebrated too early. The leaderboard flashes again, revealing new ranks that leave the crowd speechless. Teachers are shocked to see Tu Chen disqualified before his points were even deducted. La Shendai bursts into laughter, proud her academy reclaimed its glory, but moments later, ranks shift wildly, the top spot changing again and again. The crowd panics, unable to believe the dizzying fluctuations, and Huaizi leaps with joy, thrilled that the top three are all from Academy No. 2. Huang Lin rages, accusing students of collusion to manipulate results. Judge to calmly denies it, saying the actions don't break exam rules. He adds that convincing others to yield points is itself a kind of strength. Then the final announcement declares the exam's end, sealing every student's fate. Lele sighs in relief, moved to have survived such a brutal test. A new notice draws attention. The top 100 scores above 1,500 points are invited to the Super Student Tournament. Many start debating whether to sign up for the next challenge. Some are thrilled to be in the top 100 alongside Tu Chen, but Xiao Zilong, though qualified, declines due to his injuries. Another student eagerly decides to join, hoping to meet the best prodigies. He thanks Tu Chen for giving him the chance to reach the top ranks. Tu Chen smiles warmly, promising to repay the favor if ever needed. After their goodbyes, Xiao Zilong is teleported out of the exam zone. Zhang Yu rushes to Tu Chen, moved that she too changed her fate. Tu Chen ponders how the system handles erased points but believes has broken 3 major records. The system suddenly confirms it has shattered 3 historical records, filling him with joy. Then it rewards him with a skill called Draw and Slash Once, leaving him dumbfounded and cursing at its absurdity. The system explains the skill allows borrowing another's attack if they fully trust you to deal critical or weakening damage. Tu Chen nods, seeing its potential despite the tricky activation requirement. Zhang Yu worriedly asks about Zilong's severe injuries. Tu Chen calmly replies they should all seek Dinan for help. Before leaving, he retrieves the radiant divine armor left by LeShou. The scene shifts. The Thunder God watches from afar while Guiyang questions Tu Chen's true intentions, but the Thunder God just laughs contentedly, saying the boy acted brilliantly. He notes that without Tu Chen, Dragon Zona's team will suffer badly in the Super Student Tournament. The Thunder God praises Tu Chen's point-sharing move as ingenious, something he should have invented himself. Gao Yang agrees, seeing that Tu Chen resembles the Thunder God and breaking every old rule. Back with Tu Chen, he faces Dinan, worriedly asking about Zilong's condition. And Huaiji delivers grim news: Zilong's not only fractured but poisoned by a rare toxin, fatal within a week without cure. Tu Chen reels in shock, losing composure at the severity of it, and Huaiji reassures him a detox herb exists in the Wuxiang secret realm. Place Tu Chen once qualified to enter, but Tu Chen refuses the dean's help, volunteering to go himself and asking the dean to care for Zilong. Without hesitation, he mounts his fiery steed and speeds into the Wuxiang realm. Through thick mist, he rides the flames across perilous terrain, determined to seize the cure for his friend. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Huang Can punches a wall in fury, crushed by total defeat as Tu Chen surpasses him. His father Huang Lin can only sigh helplessly, accepting the unchangeable truth. He laments that Tu Chen claimed the secret realm, wasting his son's 3-year wait. He concludes fate's decided Tu Chen is simply too formidable. Consumed by malice, Huang Can suggests releasing the realm's boss to kill Tu Chen. Huang Lin roars, calling his son insane and threatening to send him to factory work after the exam. Huang Can protests angrily, demanding to know why he must lose so miserably to Tu Chen. A cold voice echoes from afar, questioning his resentment. Figures in red cloaks appear, each step heavy with menace. Huang Lin tenses, demanding to know which dark cult they serve. Their leader introduces himself as Ngai Yunla, the scarlet pope of the false god cult of Adong. Huang Lin, furious, vows to execute them on the spot. Ngai Yunla raises a hand for peace, asking him to hear a proposal. Huang Lin coldly replies that their paths can never align. The cult leader then unveils a rare skill scroll, saying their common goal is to slay Tu Chen. Huang Can recognizes it as a profession-free skill. Eyes gleaming with greed, Ngai Yunla confirms and adds it enhances Swordmaster's power. Huang Can eagerly asks what the technique is. Huang Lin snaps, forbidding any trade with heretics. Ngai Yunla continues it's the 6-star sword art, letting one strike like a 6-star master. Huang Can grows ecstatic, imagining his strength multiplied. Ngai Yunla says their only goal is Tu Chen's death after that. They part ways. Huang Can clings to his father, begging to accept the deal for its immense benefit. Huang Lin slaps him hard, shouting for silence. Huang Can cries out in despair, demanding why a nobody like Tu Chen surpasses him. Ngai Yunla smirks cunningly, urging Huang Lin to support his son. promising the six-star sword art will outshine Tu Chen. Huang Lin flatly refuses, declaring he'll never ally with the false god cult or meddle with Tu Chen. Huang Can pleads again, wishing to become a warrior, not a bowl-tightening laborer. Huang Lin shakes his head, telling him to abandon delusion, for a true hero needs resolve. Something Can lacks. Hearing that, Huang Can trembles with rage, screaming madly. A sudden strike drives a blade into Huang Lin's chest, making him stagger, eyes wide. He gasps a dying warning for Can to flee, but Can ignores him, blinded by fury, and charges Nguyen Yunla, is instantly struck down by a blow like thunder before he can attack. Nguyen Yunla smirks coldly, declaring that with the dean dead, cooperation is now possible. Huang Can screams, accusing them of murdering his father. A blade presses against his forehead, steel glinting in the tense air. Nguyen Yunla threatens him join or die. Trembling, Can agrees in terror, begging for mercy and promising obedience. Satisfied, Nguyen Yunla tosses him the six-star skill scroll. Calling them allies now, Can clutches it tightly, meditating as his aura surges. He shouts triumphantly, feeling the power of the six-star sword art awaken. Eyes burning with hatred, he demands Nguyen Yunla lead him into the secret realm to kill Tu Chen, but Nguyen Yunla stops him, saying they can instead unleash a hidden boss within Wuxiang. Can kneels beside his father's corpse, searching for something with a frozen stare. At last he retrieves a strange glowing token, holding it up victoriously. Nguyen Yunla looks doubtful, demanding proof that this plan will work. Can confidently claims the hidden boss is stronger than even 9-star professionals. Nguyen Yunla is astonished that such a creature forged the realm itself, agreeing it's safer to release it than fight. Can crushes the token, breaking the seal with eyes blazing vengeance. He screams with hatred, vowing to end his grudge against Tu Chen. Meanwhile, Tu Chen discovers a strange flower radiating pure spiritual energy from the ground. He guesses it's the detox herb and smiles with relief. Suddenly the system chimes secret realm cleared with Shrank. Reward Wuxiang strategy manual. Holding the book, has stunned to also receive a rare body mark point usually found only in special dungeons. Flipping it open, he mutters in confusion it's just an ordinary skill. Without hesitation, he decides to leave after collecting the herb since Zilong awaits. He bends down carefully to uproot the spiritual flower, but the ground quakes violently as if about to collapse. He jumps up, clutching the flower tightly. The system pings again, logging his points and reclaiming the Wuxiang manual. A black column of smoke rises, twisting as though tearing space apart. Ruby hovers, glowing crimson and shaking the realm as a deep voice declares an ancient seal broken. Tu Chen stares in shock, unsure what the ruby is. The voice from within explains the hidden boss has been awakened by external force, trapping everyone inside. The ruby names itself Wuxiang, the supreme being beyond material existence. Tu Chen realizes Wuxiang must be the very core of the secret realm. Suddenly, the ruby vanishes from behind him. In a blink, it reappears right before his eyes. Too fast to react, he gasps in horror as he recognizes teleportation. The ruby lunges forward, striking him hard and sending him tumbling across the ground. Wuxiang's voice rings out with disdain, saying weak beings can never decide their own fate. Tu Chen fights back fiercely, summoning his fire steeds in a thunder of hooves to challenge the foe. But as the herd charges, they pass straight through the ruby as if it were only an illusion. His stunned, doubting the ruby's physicality yet wondering how it still managed to harm him. Wuxiang scoffs, declaring itself far beyond the grasp of a lowly creature. Tu Chen unleashes his strongest punch with the skill condensed force strike. Yet the blow passes right through, leaving the ruby untouched. He mutters in despair if he can't hit it, how can he fight it? Wuxiang laughs mockingly, telling him to cry before the end. Without hesitation, Tu Chen turns and runs, clutching the book and the antidote herb. The ruby pursues, firing a blast so loud it shakes the entire space. Tu Chen races on, believing no boss is unbeatable, only unsolved. Suddenly, he remembers the Wuxiang strategy manual, hoping it holds the key. He flips it open mid-run, scanning frantically for clues, but the ground erupts, an invisible force hurling him skyward. Furious, he suspects the enemy plans to drop him from above to finish him. He uses the momentum to dive back down, preparing a counterattack, but the ruby appears right beneath him, anticipating his move. Tu Chen realizes the foe can teleport no matter how he moves. Staying alert, he keeps reading, desperate for a survival hint. The book explains Wuxiang is a spatial life form. Intangible, only space itself can counter it. It also notes its bizarre hobby of collecting the tears of living beings. He frowns, wondering how to wield spatial power when he has none. Then the ruby soars high, declaring it will spare him if he survives a fall from 25,000 meters. It vanishes, leaving him plummeting through the air. Tu Chen screams in defiance, vowing to prove his worth and live. Summoning a horse midair, he lands on its back to slow his descent. He keeps summoning and dismissing steeds, forming invisible steps in the sky. Finally landing safely, he exhales in relief, proud to have survived. Wuxiang's voice trembles in disbelief, scolding him for breaking his class limits. Tu Chen smirks, reminding it of the promise to spare him, eyes blazing with challenge. Wuxiang falters, confused by how events defied its calculations. It denies all mortal oaths, calling itself unbound, then lunges to attack again. Tu Chen, enraged, summons his fiercest beast with killing aura roaring, shouting that his foe is shameless. The beast opens its jaws wide, trying to swallow the ruby into its internal space. Tu Chen's eyes gleam, his plan seems to work, but the ruby teleports away and counters, forcing him back. He realizes the foe can completely avoid being absorbed into spatial dimensions. Wuxiang laughs cruelly, diving at him again, demanding he cry. Each blow sends Tu Chen rolling in agony, blood spilling from heavy internal wounds. He begins connecting its obsession with collecting tears to its bizarre behavior. Rummaging through his bag, he pulled out the Spider Queen's tear, a rare loot from a past raid. He raised the tear high, silently praying this experiment would work. The ruby abruptly froze, flashing red lights, entranced by the tear's allure. Tu Chen realized the trick worked when Wu Shine gasped, mesmerized by the soulborn beauty of the tear. Just then, his beast lunged forward, jaws wide, aiming to swallow the tear. Wuxiang screamed in panic, begging him not to ruin the treasure it so desired. Taking advantage, the beast gulped down the ruby into its inner space. Chen silently celebrated phase 1 was complete time for the full seal. Though trapped, Wuxiang sneered, asking why he thought it couldn't escape. Chen calmly replied because it believed no one could cage it. Wuxiang wrote it was a miracle incarnate. No puny prison could hold it. It tried a spatial shift but slammed into an unseen barrier. Chen laughed mockingly at its futile struggle. Wuxiang kept trying new skills, each one blocked without mercy. The ruby's glow flickered wildly, fear crept in as it realized the seal held firm. Chen replied coldly that he used a system grand law, far beyond its power. Wuxiang stammered, shocked, asking what a system grand law even was. Chen smirked, spat a final insult, and left the space, leaving it trapped. Wuxiang went berserk, unleashing everything, but the invisible wall mocked its madness. Chen returned, handed the elixir to Huaiji, who confirmed Zilong's poison was mostly cured. Though full recovery required the higher academy's aid, he nodded firmly, assuring Zilong that a Qinjing Academy had healed completely. Someone rushed in, announcing the alliance had arrived to reward Chen for stopping the abyssal incident. Stepping out, he spotted the legendary Xuhe team, among them Lu Wukian, who had once ogled Zilong's female avatar. Lu Wukian solemnly presented him the rank of lieutenant and heartfelt thanks for defending humanity. And Huaizi stared jealous yet proud, wondering if he'd one day salute his former student on the battlefield. He stepped up, patted Chen's shoulder, proud that Academy no. Two had birthed a true genius. Lu Wukian declared Chen the youngest lieutenant in human history, showering him with praise. Chen half grinned, half serious, asking if there was a bonus prize. Lu Wukian laughed, saying the rank itself was the greatest reward, symbol of glory and power. Chen then asked, dead serious, if the medal could be sold? Lu Wukian rose, shocked, asking what it just said. Chen pointed at the badge, calmly repeating he meant trade value, and Huaizi jumped in, covering his student's mouth, trying to smooth things over, but Lu Wukian refused to drop it, saying he had more to discuss before the abyss front, and Huaizi pulled his student aside, advising that a lieutenant's rank was a shield, military merit could erase sins, and further promotion would make even great clans wary. Chen pondered the fallout of killing La Shou, figuring once he made major, the La clan wouldn't dare touch him. Lu Wukian pulled him aside, whispering about that fake girl from before. Chen pointed at Zhao Zilong nearby, eyes twinkling. Lu Wukian rose, stunned to see a chubby guy instead. Chen burst out laughing, telling Zilong to transform like last time. Though embarrassed, Zhao Zilong instantly turned into a pretty girl in a wheelchair. Lu Wukian was struck dumb, confirming she was the one who'd moved his heart, then fussed with concern. Chen replied gravely that Zilong's arms and legs were broken. Lu Wukian vowed seriously to help heal him. He added that the abyss dungeon held elixirs able to mend even crippling wounds. Zilong hastily clarified he was male. Lu Wukian laughed loudly, claiming true love knows no gender. Zilong sighed in defeat, too tired to argue, while Chen's group still laughed. Inside the Wuxiang secret realm, Ganyan led the false god cult in. He grew suspicious there were no traces left inside. Suddenly, a massive energy burst shook the ground. Someone screamed that an earthquake came from the Wuxiang secret realm. Ganyan tensed up, realizing the realm was collapsing, something only possible if the boss had left. Honkan smiled smugly, only caring about Chen's fate. He swore Chen was surely dead, even making an ooth to prove it. Ganyan nodded in satisfaction, ordering a return to the altar to report the good news to false god. But he turned back coldly, asking how they should deal with Huang Kan. Huang Kan bowed, pledging absolute loyalty to the false god cult to save his skin. Back at the academy, once things settled, the group prepared to head for the higher academy. None knew when or if they'd ever return. Chen felt a pang of regret, still not having found Kai Hanmei as his brother once mentioned. Suddenly, Zhang Yuyu appeared, lugging a mountain of baggage, shouting to join them. Chen frowned at the mess, suspecting she was moving house just to follow him. Zhang Yuyu giggled, claiming it was normal for girls to have lots of stuff. Chen didn't waste time, urging everyone aboard since the train was about to leave. Zhang Yuyu pouted, asking for help with her luggage but got flatly rejected. She immediately dumped it all, declaring she'd rather abandon everything than fall behind. She pointed to a nearby house, reminding Chen it was his second uncle's place, asking why not say goodbye. He thought for a moment, agreed, and told them to wait 5 minutes. Inside, the family was happily eating. An elder comforted Xiao Huang that failing the higher academy wasn't the end. Another frowned, wondering why Chen's name came up now. To Yuding bragged Shed just called to check his exam score. She laughed smugly, saying he'd scored 0, mocking that even sleeping couldn't make someone that bad. One person slammed the table, warning Yuding to stop before patience ran out. But she kept sneering, calling Chen a loser who vanished without a trace. In the corner, Huang Kan smirked quietly, sure Chen was dead by his hand and gone forever. Suddenly, loud knocking shattered the house's calm. A young man cheerfully ran to open, thinking the cake delivery had arrived. But when the door swung open, Huang Kan froze. Chen stood there, shocked and terrified. Huang Kan collapsed to his knees, unable to believe his eyes. Chen looked down coldly, smirking that it was smart of him to kneel on his own. His second uncle stepped out, happily inviting him to join dinner like nothing happened. Yuding immediately sneered, spitting that there was no food for him here. Huang Kan, trembling, lost balance and fell flat to the floor. Chen ignored him, calmly bidding farewell to his uncle. Unsure when he'd return again, the uncle, surprised, asked why he was leaving and where he'd go. Yuding cut in mockingly, hinting he'd failed the exams and must go do labor work. I ignored her venom, firmly declaring he'd been accepted into Qinjing Academy. Yuding burst into laughter, ridiculing the idea had actually passed. She even vowed to live stream herself eating a banana if I really got in. My uncle tried to comfort me, saying failing wasn't the end, offering to find me a job. I replied by handing him the acceptance letter, reading aloud my admission to Qinjing Academy. Seeing the letter, My uncle beamed with pride. Fully convinced it was real, Yuding snatched it, accusing me of forging it to save face. She threatened to burn it to expose my fraud. Someone warned her touch that letter and face serious consequences. I stayed calm, signaling to let it go, not wanting drama. Yuding lit the paper anyway, taunting that I had nothing left to fake. The letter blazed bright, seemingly destroyed. Suddenly, a flash of light erupted, followed by a system alert that made her scream. The Central Intelligence System declared it a criminal act, demanding confession or severe punishment. Yuding broke down in panic, realizing she'd committed a crime punishable by prison. She froze as it hit her the letter was genuine. I confirmed it was real, while Yuding blamed me for setting her up. My uncle scolded both her and her mother as fools who caused their own downfall and blamed others. In desperation, Yuding begged Huang Can to use his family's power to save her. Huang Can gave a bitter smirk, his clan's glory long gone, and ignored her pleas. She clung to him, begging he ask his father to pull strings to dodge prison, cut in coldly, ordering Huang Can to tell the Alliance this was all a misunderstanding. Before he could speak, I slapped him hard, sending him reeling. He shouted in outrage, demanding why it hit him without reason. I glared, accusing him of trying to kill me in the Wushang secret realm days ago. Huang Can panicked, frantically denying any involvement. I drew a knife and stabbed his thigh without hesitation. He screamed in agony, voice cracking in terror. He howled, demanding why I'd attack like that. He warned I could be charged for this assault. I roared that if he spoke again, it cut out his tongue. I pressed on coldly, repeating the anomalies in the secret realm and demanding the truth. Sweating profusely, he begged me to calm down, warning I had a bright future ahead. I coldly stabbed him again, this time in the gut. His face went pale, trembling, unable to believe it'd really do it. I warned this was his last chance to tell the truth. He quivered, arguing that killing him would get me imprisoned. I sneered, raising my badge his death would be filed as suicide. Seeing the lieutenant insignia, he collapsed, so terrified he wet himself. Yuding and my uncle gawked, stunned by a rank far above the Huang clan's reach. I mocked him for being so cowardly he couldn't control his bladder. Shaken, Huang Can cried out that he'd confess everything. He admitted had triggered the dungeon boss out of jealousy, nearly getting me killed. I pressed further what was the true origin of the Wushang secret realm. He said he only knew it and the Supreme Star Tower dated back to ancient times and eventually turned into dungeons. Hearing that, I turned to my uncle, gave a few last words, and prepared to leave. My uncle held my arm, earnestly asking me not to rush off. He took out a wooden box and handed it to me. I opened it curiously. He said my parents left instructions this was to be given only when it surpassed my peers. Chen was deeply moved. It was a keepsake from his late parents, who'd lived simply and died in the Beast War. His uncle's eyes gleamed with pride. Had never imagined Chen would rise so high. Yuding suddenly switched tones, pretending warmth, inviting Chen to stay for dinner. The two men instantly shouted her down, furious at her hypocrisy. As Chen left, someone clenched their teeth in hatred, whispering his name. He swore that once he mastered the six-star sword art, had killed Chen in revenge. Without another word, he strode toward the train station where crowds were gathering. Someone spoke nervously. It was their first time traveling far. Another warned that the route to the academy crossed dangerous wastelands. A third reassured them, saying the train had experts guarding it. From afar came the rumble the train was arriving. As it appeared, Zhang Yu suddenly felt a chill of unease. She muttered that the train was 10 minutes earlier than schedule. Lele shrugged, saying it was nothing and urged her to get on. Seeing her still hesitant, he asked why she kept glancing around. She replied suspiciously, wondering why the station was completely empty. Lele calmly said it was because the abyss had spread, so few traveled now. But even he began to feel uneasy. The silence was unnaturally heavy. The train shuddered softly, beginning to move out of the station. Across the Isle, another group chatted excitedly about famous academies. Yang Jinqing bragged he was from Qinwu Academy, second only to Tianjing Academy. Wu Yaina gasped, saying she and her friend only got into Qianling Academy. Yang Jinqing went on about his cousin from Qinjing and offered to give them a tour. Wu Yaina eagerly agreed, saying it was her dream to visit that school. He turned to Wang Yuqian, inviting her to join too. Wang Yuan smiled politely, declining. She wanted to earn entry on her own merit. Yang Jinqing persisted, saying friendship and connections in the capital were crucial. Yukon nodded in agreement, and the group quickly exchanged contacts. After befriending them, Yang Jinqing turned to a nearby guy, asking if he was also a new student. The young man simply confirmed he was. Yang Jinqing eagerly asked which academy they'd gotten into. The man calmly replied, Qinjing Academy. The three others instantly turned around, stunned. Yang Jinqing burst out laughing, calling it an overthought joke. The man frowned, insisting all four of them truly passed Qinjing. Yang Jinqing laughed louder, mocking that the guy looked 40 and still dreamed of college. The man shouted angrily that he was only 18. Yang Jinqing kept sneering, saying with looks like that and being from Hedong, there was no way they passed a top school. Wu Yana chimed in, saying failing wasn't shameful but lying sure was. Yu Kuan frowned, warning them not to judge too fast, they might be telling the truth. Yan Cheng lifted his chin, declaring that if they were, had called them dad. Wu Yana agreed, saying Yu Kan was too gullible, and kept mocking the four. Lele snapped, urging Zhang Yu to clap back. Yu took a deep breath, coldly asking if anyone smelled something strange. Yang Jinqing blinked, saying he smelled nothing. She glanced around, repeating if they truly noticed nothing. Yu nodded firmly. She smelled demonic beasts. Yang Jinqing laughed, saying they were just making stuff up to change the topic. He added confidently that the train's magic barrier kept beasts far away. Yu replied icily, asking if he was absolutely sure. He nodded without hesitation, but she smirked, saying her senses were enhanced tenfold to detect anomalies. She added the beast scent was thickening by the second. Suddenly the train jolted violently, speeding up as if yanked off track. Panic erupted when the train derailed, hurling into the endless desert like swallowed by a giant creature. A trembling voice cried that demonic energy filled the entire car. Yang Jinqing snorted, saying they were overacting and that he'd kill any beast himself if it was real. Wu Yaina gushed admiration, praising his courage like a true Chinwoo student. Yu Qian sternly told them to shut up. They needed to verify the situation first. She pointed to the window, telling Lei to check outside. Lei tried pulling, but the window wouldn't budge. He cursed aloud. Yu nodded, saying something was definitely wrong and suggested breaking the glass. Lei clenched his fists, ready to strike. Yang Jinqing frowned, scolding them for overreacting and warning that damaging the train was illegal. Lei slammed a heavy punch, but the glass didn't even crack. He shouted in frustration, admitting he couldn't break it. Yu stepped up, saying, "Let me try." She unleashed her power, but the glass held firm like forged steel. Breathing hard, she admitted defeat, while another voice screamed that they were truly doomed. Yu steadied herself, saying she'd send her soul out to scout if they kept still. Lei nodded, urging her to begin quickly. She closed her eyes, her spirit detached, drifting out through the cabin wall. Meanwhile, Yang Jinqing snapped, yelling for their group to move away and stop annoying him and the two girls. He blocked the path arrogantly, daring them to come closer. He kept jeering that low-tier students couldn't even crack a window, yet dared to act tough. Lei said nothing. He slapped Yang Jiancheng across the face. In spirit form, Yu saw the train's true shape. She froze in terror. The sight before her was nightmarish. Inside, Wu Yaina worriedly asked if Yang Jiancheng was hurt. He grimaced, saying it was just a sneak attack, nothing serious. Gritting his teeth, he accused them of hitting him after being exposed as liars. He swore Lei would pay once they reached the capital. At that moment, Yu's soul returned. She burst into tears. Lei panicked, asking why she was crying. Trembling, she said she'd seen a gigantic worm. They were all inside its body. Everyone went pale with horror. Someone stammered, asking if she was sure. She nodded hard, crying that she was absolutely certain. Lei shuddered, realizing why the train was early and empty. It was a fake, swallowed whole. Now off track and destination unknown, one passenger declared they had to escape immediately. No matter what, Yang Jinqing fumed, calling them lunatics. He sneered to Wu Yaina that the group was just trying to stir chaos. The others decided to move, planning to check the next cars. Yu Qian frowned and firmly said she was going with them. Yang Jinqing gawked, scoffing that believing them was like believing he was Qun Shai Hu. Yu Qian replied seriously that in life or death matters, it's safer to believe than ignore danger. Suddenly, Wu Yaina paled, pointing toward the cabin, screaming, "It's here!" A massive tentacle erupted from the floor like a monster from the abyss. A passenger screamed in panic, clueless what was happening. Yang Jinqing still tried to argue it was their illusion trick and lunged to destroy it. But before he could strike, a tentacle coiled around his neck, lifting him into the air. He screamed in terror, finally realizing it was real. The arrogance vanished, only fear remained. Yang Jinqing cried for help, begging Wu Yaina to save him, but she panicked, yelling he should save himself since he was so strong. Yang Jinqing steadied himself, shouting for everyone's attention. He warned loudly they were inside a giant worm and must leave their seats or be attacked. Some passengers laughed, mocking him as delusional and saying the joke had gone too far. Lei sighed helplessly. No one believed the warning. Then dozens of tentacles burst from the floor, wrapping around screaming passengers. Many cried for help, regretting not believing sooner. Lei charged forward, eyes blazing. Ready to fight, his powerful punch smashed a tentacle apart, spraying red blood. He calculated 3 solid hits could kill one, but Yu Qian stepped up, saying his strikes were too slow. She'd handle it. She swung her sword, lightning-fast slashes slicing tentacles to pieces. A passenger gasped in awe, realizing she was a high-ranked sword immortal. But more tentacles kept rising, swarming toward Yu Qian. Though her blade struck true again and again, sheer numbers wore her down. Just then, a figure charged in Lei's flaming fist blazing, shouting for everyone to move. His punch obliterated a cluster of tentacles in a single instant. Passengers gaped. The power far exceeded a typical 2-star fighter. Freed from the bindings, everyone gasped in relief, narrowly escaping death. Yu Qian spoke gravely, saying they must either escape or slay the worm or all would die. She asked if Lei had a plan. Lei reasoned that a creature this powerful wouldn't attack randomly. It was after a specific target. Yu Qian agreed, suspecting they were just collateral in its true hunt. Lei said finding the real target might help them counter it. Yang Jinqing rudely cut in, mocking their nonsense theories. Wu Yaina rushed over, faking concern and praising Yang for surviving so heroically. Yang Jinqing proudly announced he was a second year and an acting lieutenant from Qinwu Academy. Passenger gasped. Impressed by his title and record, Yang declared he was taking command, ordering everyone to follow his lead. The whole car agreed, treating him like a savior and pinning their hopes on him. Yet some still doubted the living creature story and wanted proof. Yang ignored them and barked orders. He pointed straight at Chen, ordering him and his group to inspect the other cars and gather everyone. Chen frowned, sneering at the idiotic command, and refused. Yang exploded, demanding why Chen disobeyed. Without a word, Chen slapped him so hard he staggered sideways. Yang shouted furiously that Chen was violating military law. Zhang Yu stepped up, slapped Wu Yaina, and told her to shut it. Yang turned red with rage, accusing them of mutiny and threatening military court. Suddenly, more tentacles appeared, surging toward them. Someone screamed. A tentacle wave was attacking again. Before they could dodge, Chen and Yang Jinqing were both ensnared from below, completely immobilized. Around them, countless new tentacles erupted, plunging the cabin into chaos. Passengers screamed for help, asking Yang what to do. He turned away coldly, yelling for everyone to run and abandon the danger zone. Others nodded, trembling, urging the group to flee. Zhang Yu shouted angrily, calling them ungrateful cowards for deserting their saviors. One weakly replied they were too powerless to fight and had to survive. Chen roared in fury, cursing their heartless betrayal. He turned to Wu Yaina, begging her to help, but she coldly looked away. muttering, "Sorry," then fell silent. Yu spoke firmly, "Some mistakes can't be undone, and saving others can sometimes mean betraying yourself." She nodded quietly when told to stay safe, eyes filled with resolve. The danger escalated, tentacles multiplied, fast escape was urgent before full restraint. The strike team rushed in to assist, trying to approach the beast, yet the moment they appeared, the tentacles coiled tight, catching them instantly. A fire user cried out as power failed to ignite, panic and despair setting in. At that instant, an idea struck him. He recalled a long-forgotten skill. He turned to the group, asking someone to slash him. Everyone froze. Puzzled by the strange request, he shouted for a real strike to destroy the binding tentacles. Someone objected, confused by his true intent. He insisted just trust him and do it. No arguing. Yu Chan stepped forward, ready to help and fully trust him. She swung her sword fiercely, slicing through a mass of thick tentacles. Someone gasped at the overwhelming power of that single slash, unheard of before. Yu Chan was stunned herself, not expecting to be that strong. The guy rejoiced, realizing the slash triggered a debuff, weakening the enemy. But before celebrating, more tentacles appeared, lunging toward Yu. She stood firm, radiating strength and confidence amid danger. She countered but was struck back hard, forced to retreat with a damaged weapon. The guy discovered each person could only unleash one effective slash. The next fighter rushed forward, ready to deliver his supportive strike. The new slash shredded the tentacles, scattering like falling leaves. Yu Chan began doubting his true identity, perhaps a rare fable master. She turned to Zilong, asking him to try breaking the window next. Zilong obeyed, swinging decisively toward the glass. The glass cracked loudly, signaling a breakthrough. Yu Chan cheered as the window shattered. The plan was working. That slash greatly weakened the creature, opening a counterattack chance. But someone rushed in, panicking, warning the tentacles were still pursuing. An old man was caught, his body crushed and twisted. He screamed desperately for help, trapped in hopeless peril. In a flash, his body was torn in half in horror. Fear filled the air. Everyone panicked, feeling utterly powerless. Yang Jianqing roared orders, commanding everyone to face the tentacles. Another coldly retorted, showing disdain and defiance. Suddenly, a terrifying voice came from a severed head, taunting them. Panic erupted as they realized the monster was speaking through the head. The icy voice offered them a deadly choice. One person reflexively shouted they wanted to live. The head laughed maniacally, mocking them as useless. It demanded they kill 3 men and 2 women to let the rest live. Silence fell, everyone stunned by the brutal choice. Someone turned to Yang Jianqing for a decision. Another urged to ask their superiors. Yang Jianqing sternly refused to kill their own, calling it unacceptable. Yet others argued killing a few to save many made sense. And more agreed. Jianqing wavered, using the chance to label dissenters as rebels. The crowd quickly agreed, shouting support and condemning the accused. Yu Chan stood in fury, declaring humanity's greatest strength was unity. One replied indifferently that her words wouldn't change their will to live. Tu Chen raged, cursing the cowardly crowd for dooming humanity. The monster's head gleefully urged them to act, warning its patience was fading. Provoked, the mob roared, calling to attack the so-called traitors. One justified the slaughter as following orders. A fighter lunged forward, declaring his hatred for people like Tu Chen. Yang Jianqing laughed, claiming their deaths were well-deserved. He noticed someone in Tu Chen's group was a rare sword immortal. Pointing ahead, he told the mob not to fear, he'd restrain them for easy killing. Tu Chen shouted that the worm was manipulating them like pawns and called Yu Chan for help. He spoke her name firmly, and she nodded in response. He asked if she truly trusted him. She smiled, saying she wouldn't have come this far otherwise. Relieved, he left the rest to her, asking for the final slash. Yu Chan agreed calmly. Ready to strike, the furious mob charged, determined to kill Tu Chen's group to survive. Tu Chen bravely fought back, summoning a herd of donkeys with a special skill. The donkeys rampaged, trampling attackers and spreading chaos and screams. Meanwhile, Yu Chan dashed toward the window with her sword. Her mighty slash tore through space itself, creating an escape path. She shouted in excitement the plan had finally worked. Tu Chen's eyes gleamed, impressed beyond expectation by her strike. He praised her and leapt forward, signaling everyone to follow. The others screamed in protest, trying to block their escape. One person froze, shocked they actually got away. Another regretted not running after them. The monster roared, declaring none would survive. After a fierce struggle, the main group finally escaped, some crying, others regretting their choices. But before they could rest, the giant worm charged again. Menacingly, someone screamed. Sure, this clash meant certain death. Yuan decided to risk everything for one final gamble. He summoned a colossal donkey, radiating crushing power. To everyone's shock, the donkey opened its mouth and swallowed the worm into another dimension. The group stared, dumbfounded, not knowing where the worm had gone. Yu Chan was stunned, demanding Tu Chen reveal his true identity after seeing such power. In a strange void, the worm tumbled, lost and disoriented. A mysterious being appeared, eyeing it with amused curiosity. It threatened to play with the worm to death as revenge. The worm was baffled, unable to grasp its absurd fate. The being treated it as a toy, gleefully torturing it for fun. Outside, Lei surveyed the area and concluded they entered an unknown wasteland. He reassured everyone, saying he'd sent a signal and alliance reinforcements were on the way. From afar, Yang Jianqing approached with a group, requesting a private talk with Tu Chen. Tu Chen coldly questioned him, unimpressed by the offer. Yang Jianqing forced a smile, claiming it was all a misunderstanding and begging Tu Chen to keep quiet before the alliance. Tu Chen frowned, unsure what the real purpose of the talk was. Yang hinted a threat, reminding him of past violations and boasting that no one would believe Tu Chen since he held the power. Wu Yana hurried over, pretending warmth, hoping to reconcile with Yu Chan. Yu Chan's face froze. She brushed Yana's hand away with clear contempt. Jianqing's followers chimed in, urging everyone to forget the past and share credit. Jianqing issued a veiled threat, warning of consequences if they didn't stay silent. Tu Chen sneered, asking bluntly what he planned to do next. As Jianqing cursed, Tu Chen punched him, sending teeth and blood flying. Yaina screamed in defense, scolding him for attacking a soldier. He instantly slashed at her with no hesitation. She panicked, begging for mercy, hiding behind her gender. He replied harshly, spitting insults full of disdain. Jianqing roared, threatening to have him jailed. Tu Chen struck again, slicing his thigh. Jianqing screamed in pain. Clutching his leg, Tu Chen vented his fury with relentless knife blows. Jianqing writhed and cried, limbs shredded and bleeding. He cursed through the agony. Still refusing to yield, Tu Chen coldly stated that scum like him must be cut down for the world's sake. He pointed at him, saying his filth exceeded even monsters. Just then, engine roars echoed. The Blood Crane rescue team arrived. The crowd rejoiced at the sight of the famed squad. Captain Lu Wuqian strode up solemnly, asking about the beast's whereabouts. Jianqing rushed to claim credit, flaunting his rank. Lu Wuqian asked sharply who had dealt the finishing blow. Jianqing's followers scrambled to claim merit for themselves. Tu Chen laughed, mocking their shamelessness in stealing glory. Jianqing's face went pale. He stepped forward, crying injustice. Lu Wuqian raised an eyebrow, asking who dared strike him. Yana pointed straight at Tu Chen, blaming him entirely. Lu Wuqian removed his glasses, confirming Tu Chen's name. Jianqing smirked inwardly, thinking it turned the tables, but Lu Wuqian stepped up, patted Tu Chen's shoulder, and smiled like an old friend. Jianqing froze, eyes wide in shock. He couldn't believe Tu Chen knew such a renowned captain. He tried to argue, citing military protocol to save face. He shouted to arrest Tu Chen under his warrant officer title. Lu Wuqian sneered, saying his rank wasn't high enough to touch Tu Chen. Jianqing screamed, accusing Lu Wuqian of bias and corruption. He refused to accept it, insisting he still outranked Tu Chen. Lu Wuqian burst out laughing, calling him an idiot. Jianqing fumed, unable to understand what made Tu Chen superior. Lu turned to Tu Chen, asking him to prove his status publicly. Tu Chen calmly presented a gleaming rank insignia. Wu Yaina scoffed immediately, saying it proved nothing, but Jianqing's face went ashen. He recognized it as a Supreme Commissioner's badge. Lu Wuqian thundered that Tu Chen was the true hero, while Jianqing wasn't fit to polish his boots. Jianqing trembled, unable to accept that a mere student outranked him so highly. He whispered in panic, realizing he was completely finished. Tu Chen recounted everything, and Lu Wuqian seriously asked how to handle it. Tu Chen coldly declared that the liars and frauds must pay the price. Jianqing knelt, begging mercy, citing their old school ties. He turned to Yu Chan, pleading for help, even offering to be her slave. Others also knelt, pretending remorse, begging the Supreme Commissioner's pardon, but Tu Chen stayed firm, demanding military justice be carried out. Lu Wuqian agreed and promised to report Tu Chen's new merits to superiors. He then turned to Chu Zilong, looking slightly awkward. Hesitating, he asked if he could make a small request. Then he bluntly asked Zilong for that girl's number again. Zilong roared furiously, kicking him away. Lu Wuqian sighed and left in defeat. The group moved on. Yu Chan paused to announce shed leave to enroll. Tu Chen waved, telling her just to call him Tu Chen. He asked directly if the monster had come because of her. She was shocked that he guessed correctly. Tu Chen said it was obvious all attacks had targeted her. Yu Chan admitted she wouldn't have survived without his team's help. Tu Chen frowned, still unsure why she was the target. She turned away, revealing she was the daughter of Wang Longxiang. Tu Chen was stunned at hearing that name. She confirmed and warned that being close to her could bring trouble. As she left, Tu Chen muttered that the name Wang Longxiang sounded familiar. Chu Zilong explained with admiration that Longxiang, one of humanity's 12 marshals. He once led the Dragon Vanguard army, whose victories made monsters tremble, second only to Chen himself. Xing Yu gasped, shocked that Yu Chan was the daughter of such a legend. She wondered why a marshal's daughter studied quietly at a second-rate academy despite being a sword immortal. Suddenly, Xing Yu panicked and handed Tu Chen her phone with worry. His face darkened instantly after glancing at the screen. A shocking headline announced Marshal Wang Longxiang's death in the abyss. The group was shaken, realizing the news had broken 3 days earlier. Ceremonial gunfire thundered, marking a great tragedy for the Alliance. It was a right reserved for humanity's highest losses. Before them, a holographic screen appeared, broadcasting an urgent notice. The Alliance officially confirmed Marshal Wang Longxiang's sacrifice. His funeral would be held at Longdu. The group fell silent, stunned that one of the 12 marshals was the first to fall. Tu Chen spoke gravely, sensing something suspicious. Zilong nodded, noting the delay and vagueness of the announcement. Yu Chan stood quietly, tears streaming as she vowed to carry her father's will. The four, heavy-hearted, continued their journey and finally reached Tianjing Academy. Lele sighed in relief they'd made it at last and could tend to Zilong's wounds. Xing Yu pointed toward the gate, saying the guard looked familiar. Tu Chen squinted and realized it was Wei Tihui. The group confirmed it was indeed their old acquaintance now working as a guard. Wei Tihui snarled irritably when he noticed them staring. Tu Chen smirked, teasingly asking why he took this job. Wei gritted his teeth, admitting he failed the Tianjing Academy exam. Lele was surprised someone like Wei could easily pass other schools. Wei lifted his head proudly, declaring he stayed only for Tianjing and Senior Mo Rong. Guarding if he must, Chu Zilong applauded his spirit, and the group moved on. Wei shouted after them, vowing to surpass Tu Chen even as a guard. The four entered the registration area, finally reaching their turn after a long wait. Lele sighed in relief they were finally called. Just then, a man cut in arrogantly, demanding go first. Xing Yu fumed, asking if he had no manners. He sneered that when he said move, she should move. She retorted that everyone must queue, no exceptions. He boasted of his noble bloodline. Yu scoffed even if he were her own kin, he had no right to cut the line. The man snapped and slapped her hard for her insolence. Lele exploded, ready to fight the jerk, but Tu Chen held him back and asked the supervisor to intervene. The teacher, named Deng Kongming, calmly said Hong Fian broke no rule. Tu Chen frowned, insisting Lennicutting was clearly wrong. He cited Hong Qianfei's own claim of privilege as proof of abuse. Hong Qianfei sneered that the two families' so-called top scorer was nothing special. He mocked Tu Chen's group, saying top scorers were as common as weeds here. Pretending generosity, Hong offered to teach the new students a lesson about hierarchy. He explained that the celestial ranking placed nobles above all, while top scorers sat at the bottom. People like Tu Chen's group were mere commoners, the lowest class in this elite academy. At that moment, Tu Chen heard the system trigger a quest become famous across the academy. He smirked, eyes blazing with determination. Yu challenged the teacher, asking if this class system was official policy. Deng Kongming replied blandly that the academy had no such rule. Hong Qianfei scoffed, saying it was an unwritten law everyone knew. Unable to hold back, Tu Chen slapped him hard across the face. Hong roared in disbelief that anyone dared strike him. Tu Chen coldly ordered him to cue properly. The students buzzed in shock. Someone actually slapped the powerful Hong Qianfei. Deng Kongming shook his head, thinking Tu Chen foolish for offending a noble. Hong Qianfei fumed, ordering Tu Chen to cut off the hand that struck him. He sneered condescendingly, acting like some mighty elder. Tu Chen dodged his attacks effortlessly, not even breaking a sweat. Hong Qianfei shouted in rage, calling his opponent worthless for daring to resist. Just as he boasted, a giant fire creature suddenly lunged at him. Everyone burst out laughing. The fiery kick to his head was the perfect ending. Someone realized he was actually a summoner. Hong Qianfei raged, flames blazing so fiercely they frightened everyone. A student whispered that he was a powerful fire warrior from a noble clan. He charged, shouting he'd show the top scorer the true gap in strength, but Tu Chen summoned a giant barrel and dodged with ease. Hong attacked nonstop, yet Tu Chen slipped away effortlessly. The difference was clear. His reputation wasn't worth a dime. The crowd gawked at the freshman's daring mockery. Hong roared, pushed to the point of unleashing lethal force. He fired his ultimate move, a fiery cyclone engulfing his foe. Tu Chen's teammates panicked, calling his name in fear. Xing Yu worried, while Lei scolded Tu Chen for showing off. Hong Qianfei smirked, thinking his rival was now Ash. He waved smugly, telling everyone to stop watching and continue registering. But as the fire cleared, Tu Chen stood unharmed, icy calm. Hong froze, stunned that his attack had failed completely. Tu Chen smiled, saying the flames had been absorbed on contact. Hong panicked, clueless about what kind of trick that was. Deng Kongming observed silently, wondering who Tu Chen really was. Hong Qianfei thought it was his turn to strike back. A single fire beast couldn't possibly threaten him, he thought. As it lunged, he dodged and spat out another insult. But suddenly, another beast appeared and kicked him to the ground. Tu Chen burst out laughing, mocking him with his own earlier words. Hong scrambled up, realizing his foe was a dual summoner. Before he could react, a third beast appeared. His face turned pale. He hadn't expected another one. The next blow sent him flying flat on his back. The crowd murmured in disbelief. No one had seen a summoner control 3 beasts before. Tu Chen stepped forward, pressing his sword to Hong's neck with a cold warning. Someone whispered the victory reminded them of the genius Mo Rong. Though Tu Chen still fell short, Hong still acted proud, shouting and calling him a brat. Tu Chen slapped him again, demanding he call him father. Hong fumed, saying Tu Chen was all talk and couldn't touch him. Tu Chen taunted back, daring him to find out. Just then, Deng Kongming shouted to stop and release the student. Hong laughed smugly, boasting that Tu Chen couldn't hurt him now. Tu Chen turned, demanded why the teacher hadn't stopped Hong's earlier attack. Teacher Deng frowned, scolding him for questioning authority. Tu Chen refused to back down, condemning the academy's arrogance. Deng cut him off, saying more words were useless. Tu Chen stepped up, openly accusing the school of blatant favoritism. Deng replied coldly that this academy respected only power and authority. Tu Chen narrowed his eyes, realizing the truth. Deng sneered that with such temper, Tu Chen would never go far. The surrounding students shouted too, disillusioned by the school's hypocrisy. Tu Chen, seething with anger, turned to leave, but Hong Qianfei suddenly lunged, eyes bloodshot. Screaming for his life, Tu Chen spun around, his gaze cold as frost. Hong shrieked that he wouldn't rest until Tu Chen was dead. Tu Chen clenched his fist, gathering long-stirred power. The punch shattered Hong Qianfei's clothes and pride in one brutal blow. The leftover force from the punch shot straight toward the teacher. Teacher Deng turned pale, hastily raising a stone shield and shouting to block it. The shield shattered instantly. Unable to withstand the blow, Deng was blasted backward, collapsing and unable to rise. The crowd roared in awe, stunned that this was just a freshman. More students gathered, the commotion shaking the entire area. Others gasped Tu Chen had struck both a noble and a teacher. Someone noticed he looked like Mo Rong's rumored boyfriend. A chubby guy pointed furiously, shouting that Tu Chen stole his goddess. A system alert chimed, congratulating Tu Chen for becoming academy-wide famous and granting him the happy blade. He frowned, wondering what kind of weird item that was. The system explained it was a one-use tool that, once a week, could slice a grown man's 2 spirit pearls. Tu Chen's face darkened. He cursed the system for such a twisted reward. The scene shifted to 4 figures in a tense meeting. Tahika V kept warned Mo Rong that if Dragon Sector didn't act, Flower Sector would open the ruins alone. Bayes from Mist Sector demanded Dragon Sector respond by today. Tahika stressed the ruins lay in Dragon Sector's territory and couldn't be seized. Mo Rong coldly replied the keys were held by the other 3 sectors Dragon Sector had known. Bayes snapped that it was Dragon Sector's fault for being too weak to claim one. Tahika slammed the table, declaring if Dragon Sector stayed empty-handed in half a month, they'd open the secret realm themselves. He left, warning Mo Rong this was the final deadline. Meng Miao trembled in anger, fearing their relic would be stolen. She asked where the last key was. Mo Rong said it hadn't been found. Laza had acted once but stopped after their young master died in the human exam. Miao was shocked that a great clan's heir died in a human test. Mo Rong confirmed it was true. She pondered deeply and ordered an investigation into why that young master joined the human exam. Miao agreed and went to gather intel. The entrance exam had ended. Tu Chen's power qualified him for Qianjing even without a profession. According to schedule, he would soon arrive at the academy. The scene returned to the chaotic freshman area after the brawl. Ong Chanfei clutched his groin, screaming he'd sue and that if Tu Chen stayed, he wasn't a man. Tu Chen coolly drew the happy blade, saying he'd brand him with its mark. Instantly Hong screamed in agony, clutching his lower body as his spirit pearls took critical damage. Tu Chen shrugged, declaring him no longer qualified as a man. The crowd buzzed, some wincing in sympathetic pain below the belt. Ong Qianfei, bleeding through his pants, begged the teacher to punish his assailant. Teacher Deng sternly accused Tu Chen of assault and ordered him to the dean's office. Threatening expulsion, Tu Chen protested, insisting Hong had struck first. Deng sneered, demanding obedience and rejecting excuses. Zheng Yu shouted angrily, refusing such unfair treatment. The teacher replied with disdain that common students weren't worth concern. Tu Chen flipped him the finger, eyes dripping sarcasm. Deng exploded, yelling at the student's insolence. Tu Chen mocked him further, adding another finger for emphasis. Teacher Dan shouted and charged forward, vowing to expel him today, but a freezing sword suddenly blocked his way. All eyes lit up as Mo Rong appeared like a celestial beauty. Teacher Dan frowned, asking if she intended to meddle in faculty matters. Mo Rong coldly warned that no one was allowed to touch her man. To Cham, sweating behind her, was shocked by such a bold claim. The students groaned, heartbroken to learn their goddess was taken. Teacher Dan gritted his teeth, reminding her she was still a student. Mo Rong sneered, declaring she was a heavenly student of special rank. Teacher Dan faltered, not expecting her to truly defend to Cham. Mo Rong confirmed she had no intention of changing her mind. Teacher Dan had no choice but to help Hong Qinfei leave. Before leaving, Hong Qinfei snarled a vow of revenge. Once calm returned, to Cham thanked Mo Rong for her help. She replied coolly, saying it also served her own interest and officially named him her boyfriend for easier protection. To Cham merely shrugged, skipping further thanks. She asked if he had any more questions before leaving. He asked why Long District's top academy divided its students by rank. Mo Rong smiled, explaining the power hierarchy was ruled by human elites. To Cham was intrigued and wanted to know more about these elites. She said it was natural since he hadn't reached that tier yet to survive in Xinjiang. He must prove himself and join the elite ranks. To Cham wondered if Mo Rong was also part of that elite. She bluntly said she wasn't counted among them. He asked if there was any way to heal his injured brothers. Mo Rong thought, then said Snow Spirit Herb from the Medicine King's secret realm could fully heal them. To Cham got excited and wanted to go immediately. Mo Rong frowned, warning that a 3-star secret realm was deadly for low-tier freshmen. After some time, the group followed guidance to the Warrior Stair Ascension Tower. To Cham turned to his two friends, urging all three to enter together. He reminded everyone to be extremely cautious inside, but when they exited the tower, all looked gloomy after failing. Chu Zi alongside, saying Star Ascension was too hard for ordinary folks. To Cham only shook his head, admitting the professional path was brutal. Chu Zilong sadly blamed himself for dragging the team down. The others quickly denied it, thanking him instead for saving them in time. Just then, a stranger limped out of the tower, badly wounded but cheerful. He boasted of forging his hammer for 2 years to power through the trial. To Cham curiously asked how he managed to succeed. The man shrugged, unwilling to share the details. He pulled out a pile of strong gear, saying it all belonged to young Master La. Generously, he gifted divine armor and 30 donkeys as tower companions. Li gaped, asking if donkeys could really enter a dungeon. The man laughed, saying they were just support tools, try and see. The trio brought the donkeys in, but mistakenly entered a summoner's tower, baffling everyone. Minutes later, they burst out beaming in victory. To Cham was stunned they'd ranked up so fast. Zhang Yu confirmed that after reaching 2 stars, her power felt tenfold stronger. Lele excitedly said his defense felt enhanced, like a major breakthrough. To Cham nodded, deciding the team would head into the Medicine King's secret realm. They arrived to find a massive crowd waiting, utterly stunned. Lele sighed, saying this must be the hottest dungeon around. Hearing the chatter, To Cham was puzzled until Li explained today marked the herbs when seen to nears ripening. Zhang Yu added that only 3 starfighters could enter safely. So many experts came but for 2 stars. It was suicide. Suddenly, a wounded team stumbled out. It was the famous Shinsu squad of 3-star members. Seeing their miserable state, they clearly failed for the 3rd time. Someone said the dungeon's difficulty had risen to nightmare because of the rare herb. Many lost hope, saying if Chin Suo failed, no one else dared go in. To Cham firmly said he'd go alone to avoid dragging his newly ranked up team. Lili agreed, saying they'd only slow him down anyway. Chu Zilong worriedly told him to retreat if things went wrong. To Cham reassured them and stepped into the secret realm. Just then, a familiar voice called his name. It was someone he knew. To Cham smiled, saying what a coincidence to meet here. Like Xiangnan stood beside a young man, introducing To Cham as a top student from Xinjiang. She then introduced the man as Du Xinyai, 2nd year, 3-star, and leader of Team Xinyai. Du Xinyai remarked that talented mature students fade quickly in Xinjiang, advising To Cham to adjust his mindset. To Cham sarcastically noted Du was a privileged kid from academia. Du proudly confirmed, saying his aura was unlike commoners. To Cham gave a thumbs up, smirking that aura reminded him of the rich brats he used to beat up. The crowd bristled, some shouting he was arrogant and deserved a beating for comparing himself to Academy C elites. Another held them back, saying let reality teach the newbie a lesson. Like Xiangnan anxiously asked if To Cham planned to enter the Medicine King realm too, and he confirmed. She asked where his team was. To Cham shrugged, saying he was going solo. Xiangnan's eyes widened in horror, calling it reckless. A student laughed mockingly, saying To Cham was delusional to think he could solo the dungeon. Du Xinyi pretended to be generous, offering To Cham a spot in his team. He turned and invited him again, saying it'd be easier to help. To Cham coldly refused, saying he had other matters. The crowd murmured that he was too arrogant for his own good, Sighing, Nan defended him, saying Cham was someone she truly admired. Dushin Yi sneered, saying she was naive to Cham was nothing among true geniuses. He strode confidently into the realm, promising to show real power. Meanwhile, Cham ventured alone deep into the Medicine King realm. The air brimmed with fragrant herbs, astonishing him with their abundance. As he reached for one, a giant tree lunged out to attack. He reacted fast, summoning his beast to dodge the deadly strike. He thought grimly this place was truly dangerous, no room for carelessness. The giant tree roared, launching a fierce assault. Cham clenched his fists, ready to deliver the finishing blow. One punch shattered the tree's body into splinters. He dusted his hands off and went back to gathering herbs. A passing group noticed and began whispering. One guy shouted, asking what the hell he was doing. Cham calmly replied he was just picking herbs. Was that a problem? The man sneered, saying go ahead, then whispered he was just a dumb rookie. A blonde guy excitedly said if they seized the Medicine King tree ahead, their Huangmao team would be famous. A girl approached gently but warned him not to pick recklessly. Cham turned, puzzled, and asked why. She explained each person could only take out 3 types of herbs from this realm. He was shocked such a rule existed. Realizing why the others mocked him, the key info had been hidden. The girl clarified the true goal was the Medicine King herb. A one-time pick became useless once touched. He grew anxious, having unknowingly gathered 3 herbs already. It might cause serious trouble. Just then, a fierce group appeared from afar. The blonde guy led them to the giant spirit plant. The girl warned a guardian beast was nearby and urged retreat, but a dark-skinned man was instantly impaled by a branch and fell dead. Everyone panicked. This foe was at least a tier 3 boss and fled. Before they got far, massive roots rose and blocked the path. Someone screamed there was no escape. What now? The blonde yelled the only way was to grab the lotus seed. Cutting the link would collapse the beast. Fired up, the group charged back into battle. Suddenly, the lotus closed, forming a shield as hard as stone. A student shouted in shock, telling them to split the petals open. Several drew weapons and struck head-on, but their blows bounced off like steel, sending them flying back. 2 were thrown aside, realizing the lotus defense matched a 4-star armor completely unbreakable. Before they could think of a plan, roots behind them shot up, killing 2 instantly. The blonde panted, admitting the Medicine King herb was too hard to claim. No team had ever succeeded. The last 3 panicked and fled, but the lotus beast chased them relentlessly. The trio exchanged cunning looks, plotting to lure it toward Cham to buy time. One agreed to the vile plan, and they all dashed straight toward him as the blonde's group closed in. 2 Cham's allies quickly withdrew from danger, but as he ran, his foot sank into quicksand, clearly a spell trap. He spun around, eyes cold, glaring at the fleeing traders, and growled a challenge. The 3 snickered, mocking him for being dumb enough to be their sacrifice. Fury flared in his eyes as he vowed to make them pay in pain. The girl urged him to go first, her tone resolute, but he refused to leave her. She said she'd stay and block the attack, determined to counter when possible. He firmly refused, saying they should fight together instead. She sternly said he was inexperienced, and as the senior, she'd take responsibility, but the shifting sand made every step heavier. Time was running out. She cracked her whip fiercely at the oncoming branch. The sharp sound rang out, but the strike failed. She anxiously urged a retreat. Before he could turn, massive roots surged up to block every path. All directions were sealed, no escape left. Despair filled the air, every hope snuffed out. She gasped for breath, sweat pouring as danger closed. Meanwhile, the blonde gang watched secretly from afar, gathering intel for next time. They stood silent like statues, eyes gleaming like predators. Suddenly, a root slammed into her, sending her flying. He rushed forward, catching her and asking if she was okay. She sighed, believing death was near. Forcing herself up, she said the lotus could be slain if they seized its seed, prompting him to act. But she quickly stopped him, warning its petals were steel walls. He kept advancing, making the blonde group sneer they'd failed the same way before. The roots lashed out again in a wild frenzy. He moved like a dancer, dodging each strike effortlessly. The blonde group stared in awe at his agility and the strange bucket he carried. The roots kept attacking, but he glided like wind through chaos. One blonde doubted him, another mocked that he'd soon fail. He reached the lotus, whose petals sealed tight like a fortress. Without hesitation, he unleashed a powerful punch at the petals. The backlash hurled him away in an instant. The blow lacked force, the armor petals stood unbroken. The blonde gang burst out laughing, mocking his futile bravery. The girl shouted in panic, warning him to be careful. Suddenly, every root turned toward him at once. He inhaled deeply, eyes blazing with resolve for one final gamble. He cast skill Shinzi Ren, shooting into the beast like a flaming arrow. Shockingly, the lotus shattered, revealing a glowing core inside. The blonde gang was stunned. How had the barrier opened by itself? Without hesitation, he dashed forward, ignoring the roots whipping like snakes. At last, he seized the lotus core, a radiant smile on his face. Instantly, all roots froze and wilted lifelessly. The blonde group stood dumbfounded. He had truly claimed the 7 lotus seed. He raised the flower high, feeling an incredible surge of energy. One blonde screamed in rage, unable to accept the easy loss. The group charged at him, faces twisted with fury. He rushed back to the girl, who joyfully urged him to store the herb. As he tried, the system suddenly warned had hit the collection limit. He froze, staring at the priceless herb helplessly. The blonde gang jeered, mocking that no one ever failed to carry off a medicine king like this. One shouted, demanding he hand over the 7 lotus seed immediately. His anger flared. He wouldn't yield to those who'd tried to sacrifice him. The leader smirked, saying he knew Cham couldn't keep it, so had better surrender. Cham's lips curled in firelit defiance. He said his flames would decide its fate. The blonde gang gaped in disbelief that had dare burn such a treasure. He instantly summoned his fire beast without hesitation. The group roared threats, promising revenge if he dared act. Cham laughed wildly, taunting them and tossing the herb to his fire pet. The blonde gang screamed in horror, begging him to stop, but the fire beast didn't hesitate. It gulped the herb down whole. One man screamed in agony at the waist, unable to accept what had seen. The system announced the fire beast had successfully absorbed it. Stats skyrocketing. In an instant, its body glowed and sprouted a radiant horn? Tacham grinned proudly, satisfied the treasure wasn't wasted. The blonde leader went berserk, ordering an all-out attack. His men charged, both furious and convinced Tacham was insane, but Tacham smirked slyly and shouted to summon his special army. Instantly, countless donkeys appeared, flooding the ground like a tidal wave. The blonde gang panicked, utterly confused by the sight. One stammered, asking if he was a summoner. The leader yelled, "Who summons 10,000 donkeys?" Too late, his donkey horde stampeded, trampling everyone into chaos. After the storm, silence fell. Tacham told the girl to leave with him. She nodded, still stunned by what Shed witnessed. He led the donkey army forward, looking like he ruled the entire realm. The girl whispered in disbelief, "Were all those donkeys really his?" He nodded calmly, smiling like a breeze. She eyed him curiously, asking what his profession was. He simply replied he had none. She laughed in disbelief, saying his power surpassed even super professions. As they talked, a swarm of bloodthirsty flowers blocked their way. Without pause, he shouted for the donkeys to charge. In seconds, the flowers were crushed to mush under the hooves. He turned and ordered the herd to eat every herb left behind. The donkeys eagerly munched through everything, leaving nothing but dirt. The girl was stunned. He actually let them devour all the herbs. He replied calmly that herbs regrow anyway. This realm was now his buffet. She laughed, then suddenly wondered why she was alone in the realm. She sighed. No team had wanted to accept her. He asked in surprise if it was because her profession wasn't valued. She denied it, saying she was strong enough for any academy. She was a dragon knight. He widened his eyes, saying that was a top-tier class. How could she be shunned? She smiled awkwardly, admitting she hadn't found a dragon partner yet. Without one, she felt unworthy of the title and came here seeking dragon grass. That herb emitted a scent that attracted dragons. Her final chance. Far away, Du Chenyi's team advanced cautiously, suspicion on their faces. A member complained they hadn't found a single herb, let alone a royal one. Captain Du Chenyi frowned, saying something was definitely off. Someone guessed all herbs had been looted by someone far beyond normal students. Du Chenyi coldly ordered them to keep searching and scout ahead. Meanwhile, Tacham received alerts that his donkeys had absorbed herbs and were evolving. The system added they'd learned a new group skill, rolling herd slam. Tacham chuckled at the ridiculous name. The system explained it was a powerful group skill. The more donkeys, the stronger it hit, especially deadly against plant and wood types. Suddenly, they spotted a massive creature blocking the path. It was an elite trend, a powerful beast of the Medicine King realm. It struck first, swatting 3 donkeys away in a single blow. The girl urged retreat, but Tacham smirked, saying he'd crush it for good. He ordered a test of the new skill, picking 10 donkeys for the trial. The chosen herd spun forward like a prairie cyclone. The trend staggered a few steps but stood firm. The girl exclaimed nervously it wasn't enough to pierce that giant body. Tacham sneered, saying the skill wasn't weak, just too few donkeys, then summoned 50 more. 50 donkeys spun together, surging like a tidal storm toward the Trent. In a blink, they drilled through its belly, toppling it instantly. The girl gaped, asking if he was some kind of fable master. He laughed helplessly, neither confirming nor denying, but truly wasn't one. She still had believed only a fable master could pull off such absurd power. Suddenly, a sweet, rich scent drifted by, halting his steps. The girl gasped with delight. It was the fragrance of dragon grass, her target herb. But as they neared, a ring of towering Trents appeared, guarding 3 royal herbs, one glowing dragon grass among them. Tacham's eyes gleamed proudly. He summoned 500 donkeys and ordered a rolling annihilation. In seconds, the Trents were obliterated, blasted apart like sawdust. The girl was dumbstruck. 5 beasts wiped out by donkeys in one strike. She declared that among freshmen, only Mo Rong Liuxi could match his strength. Tacham laughed humbly, saying he was still far below that legendary senior. She approached the dragon grass, eyes shining with emotion at her long-sought goal. She turned, asking to take the dragon grass while leaving him the other 2. He refused the greater share, saying she deserved it after risking her life for him. She was moved to tears, insisting all 3 should be his and she'd never forget his kindness. He curiously asked if the royal herbs had fixed coordinates within this realm. She shook her head, explaining their positions always shifted. There were only 7 in total, and they now had 4. She added that finding the snow spirit herb would require searching the entire area. He patted the lead donkey, commanding the herd to scatter and hunt for herbs while cleaning up leftovers. Meanwhile, Du Chenyi's group wandered on, confused by the total absence of beasts and plants. Du Frowny clearly remembered this spot had the 7 lotus seed. Yet now it was barren. Perhaps the realm had changed. One teammate suggested the chaos might be lucky, making movement easier. In a snowy region, Tacham shivered violently, teeth chattering in the freezing cold. But he clenched his jaw, eyes gleaming. He sensed an ice-type royal herb nearby, likely the snow spirit herb. In the distance, a group was locked in fierce combat with a giant ice element monster. They shouted in unison to unleash all fire-type skills for a counterattack. Flames roared high as the group poured every ounce of firepower onto the monster's icy armor. The girl's face hardened. She recognized it as a snow giant, even stronger than a Trent. The beast roared and spat a massive, deadly ice orb. She screamed a warning, telling everyone to dodge immediately. The orb struck, exploding and flinging the team like leaves in a storm. The monster charged in, unleashing an overwhelming assault. One fighter panicked, crying for help in despair. Tacham didn't hesitate. He ordered the donkeys to launch a rolling assault. The herd spun like a whirlwind, slamming into the beast and cracking its ice shell. Within seconds, the monster was crushed, its body melting into water. The survivors cheered wildly, stunned that anyone could slay a snow giant, and searched for their savior. A young man stepped up to thank him and ask his name. Tacham calmly introduced himself, voice modest and steady. The man froze, mistaking him for a member of the prestigious De clan. Tacham chuckled, denying any connection to that famous family. Baiji frowned, guessing he must be a disciple of some great academy master. But Tacham denied that too, expression unchanged. Baiji, astonished, speculated he was at least an elite student of the academy system. Cham simply shrugged, saying he was just an ordinary freshman. Baiji stood speechless, unable to believe a rookie had slain a snow giant. He muttered in disbelief, insisting no one outside the system could have such power. Cham smirked coldly, offered no reply, and left with the girl and his donkeys. But Baiji called after him, inviting him to join his group. Cham frowned slightly, puzzled by the sudden offer. Baiji puffed his chest, bragging that one word from him could make Cham famous overnight. His lackeys chimed in with flattery, but Cham coolly replied that the only person he trusted was the girl beside him. Baiji froze while Cham laughed mockingly, brushing him off and walking away. One underling whispered that the kid was way too cocky. The group fumed at being insulted by a mere freshman. Baiji quietly ordered them to follow. The girl cautioned that academy disciples held grudges, warning him to be careful. Cham only smirked, dismissing those arrogant fools as beneath notice. In the midst of the frozen river, a divine light appeared, the snow spirit herb glowing brilliantly. Cham shouted in joy he had finally found the royal herb he sought. But sensing their presence, the snow spirit herb raised massive ice walls, forming a fortress-like defense. The girl whispered nervously that breaking that wall would be nearly impossible. Cham gritted his teeth, refusing to quit, and summoned 500 donkeys to roll into battle. The herd spun violently, crashing in the icy barrier like a storm of frost and fury. From afar, Baiji's group arrived, laughing mockingly that no one could pierce that wall. Cham frowned, admitting 500 weren't enough to break through. Without hesitation, he shouted for 1,000 more donkeys to join the assault. At the same moment, Baiji and his men approached arrogantly, eager to teach him what true academy disciples were. Before they could act, the ground shook violently with thunderous roars. One of them turned in terror as 1,000 donkeys charged like a tsunami. Baiji's face went pale, stunned by the massive herd. The donkeys trampled the group mercilessly, as if no one was there. Then the herd focused their force on the ice wall protecting Shu Lingji. Cracks began to form on the solid ice surface. The girl gasped, shocked at the herd's destructive power. The ice wall shattered, revealing the glowing Shu Lingji within. She cheered and urged Chen to collect it before others could. Baiji's group groaned in pain, one complaining about nearly being stomped to death. Another panicked, shouting that Chen had seized the Shu Lingji. Chen told the girl to keep the spirit herb since had already reached his limit of 3 types. She joyfully plucked the Shu Lingji, trembling with emotion, but Baiji suddenly lunged from behind, furious at their audacity to touch the king herb. Chen dodged swiftly, ghost-like. Baiji pointed menacingly, demanding Chen surrender and the herb. Chen replied coldly, reminding them he had just saved them from the snow giant. Baiji laughed, saying common students must serve core disciples without resistance. Chen flipped him off with open contempt. Enraged, Baiji roared and charged like living fury, but Chen stood firm, unleashing a full-force punch. The blow tore through his armor, shattering Baiji's arm as he screamed in pain. In rage, he transformed into a giant ape, leading his men in an all-out assault. Chen's fury ignited, he vowed to execute the insolent fool. In an instant, his fatal punch pierced the ape's chest, leaving a gaping hole. Baiji trembled, unable to believe a freshman had slain him. Chen coldly declared this the fate of those courting death. The henchman trembled, horrified that a core disciple had been killed by a regular student. The girl grabbed his arm anxiously, warning that killing a Bei clan member could spark disaster. He replied coldly that anyone who dared harm him must pay, no exceptions. His dominance moved Duan Tingting, who vowed to stand by his side. Chen laughed and urged her onward to hunt the final flame king herb. Meanwhile, Duan, Duthi, and Nat's team trudged deeper ahead. One excitedly boasted that passing this trial would make them famous. Yang Han doubted it, suspecting the secret realm was linked to Chen. Duthi and Nat frowned, rejecting such overestimation of the freshman. Shi Nan pointed to tracks, insisting his discovery was real. Someone mocked him, claiming the kid couldn't stir up the realm and deserved a beating. Chen and Duan Tingting entered the desert, facing a deadly flame king herb that made him wary. He tested the danger by sending a donkey forward. Instantly, spikes impaled the poor beast. The system reported a lost life, shocking Chen with his first casualty. Duan Tingting nervously urged retreat, saying they'd gained enough already. Chen decided to go all in, letting the lead donkey devour the last 2 flame king herbs. Its body trembled, glowing as if evolving to a higher level. The system announced it had grasped evolution force. Stunning Chen with curiosity, the lead donkey brayed loudly, summoning the whole herd. The donkeys lined up neatly like a military formation. The girl was puzzled, unable to guess its intent. It radiated energy, channeling power into each donkey ahead, making their aura surge. Chen cheered as he realized it was initiating group evolution. The system reported a split evolution. 10 became fire-type beasts with fireball attacks. Chen was thrilled his herd now resembled a professional combat unit. The girl's eyes sparkled in excitement. Imagining their power, he ordered the fire donkeys to bombard the thorny flame king herb. The giant thorn plant couldn't withstand the barrage and collapsed. The girl was awestruck by the herd's long-range might. From the ashes, a radiant blossom shot into the air. Chen dashed forward and snatched another flame king herb. Calmly, he tossed it to the leader, urging another breakthrough. The leader swallowed it, and another batch of donkeys gathered. A glow enveloped them, forming metallic armor plates. The system declared 10 had evolved into defense-type beasts with iron bodies. Chen rejoiced, admiring their steel armor as perfect living shields. The two ventured deeper, where a glowing spirit flower floated ahead. The girl beamed, saying it was the final king herb that could break a century-old record. But her smile faded. Sensing danger behind the anomaly, she gripped her whip, determined to test its reaction. Her strike tore through empty air, utterly ineffective. He was surprised the lash hadn't even touched the flower. She tried several more times with the same empty result. Suddenly, the spirit flower countered with a rain of razor thorns. Chen shouted a warning for her to dodge. He immediately sent an armored donkey forward to block. Its steel scales deflected all the spikes harmlessly. She exhaled in relief, grateful for the timely living shield. Chen nodded, praising the iron donkey's defense beyond expectation. She stepped closer, noting the creature was immune to normal attacks. To him, strong foes weren't scary, invincible ones were. Just then, Duthi and Nat's team arrived arrogantly, gently, one mocking that he was still alive, another sneered that he only survived due to the realm's chaos. Their attention quickly shifted to the floating spirit flower. Duthi and Nat haughtily declared the herb belonged to them. Chen shrugged, saying whoever could take it deserved it. He condescendingly told Chen to back off if he knew what's good for him. Xinan stepped up, accusing him of stripping the area's spirit herbs bare. Chen casually confirmed, implying only he dared do that. Duthi and Nat waved, ordering his men to seize the king herb for glory. Two of them shot toward the spirit flower. Both hit empty air and cried out in panic. A rain of spikes fell instantly, turning them into pin cushions. Duthi and Nat was stunned by their swift deaths. Chen coldly mocked their foolishness for touching a deadly relic. Another fool tried and died just as fast. Terrified, the subordinates urged retreat, forcing Duthi and Nat to bitterly withdraw. Duantingting grabbed Chen's hand, anxiously begging him to leave this perilous place. I pressed my lips, eyes gleaming with a plan, asking her to help strike the king herb once. Trusting him after all that, Duantingting nodded without hesitation. She drew her blade and lunged at the hovering herb. Duthi and Nat's group laughed mockingly at the pointless move. But shockingly, her blade hit, making the herb's phantom body shudder. She cried out in joy for finally landing a hit. The rivals were stunned, unable to believe she struck it. Chen smirked, saying it was a guaranteed hit strike just as planned. He turned to tell Xinan to follow up with another slash. Xinan agreed, eyes fierce with resolve. Her blade swung, roaring like thunder in the sky. The king herb exploded violently midair. It turned into a glowing spirit pill, signaling the fatal skill effect triggered. Chen cheered, confirming Shinan's strike succeeded. Duthi and Nat froze, stunned that the sacred plant was destroyed. Xinan held the pill, feeling waves of potent energy. Duthi and Nat tempted her with promises of wealth and elite rank, but she suddenly tossed the pill to Chen without hesitation. He stood petrified, face twisting in disbelief. Furious, he shouted, demanding why she gave it to Chen. She calmly replied, because it belongs to the worthy one. Duthi and Nat roared, claiming the credit was theirs, like Xinan denied it, saying everything worked thanks to Chen's skill effect. He sneered, calling her words childish lies. She shrugged, too lazy to argue. He threatened she'd be expelled from his team if she refused to hand it over. She answered firmly, scorning his pathetic offer. He turned to lure Duantingting, offering her a share and a place in his team. Duantingting laughed coldly, rejecting him outright. Duthi and Nat's face turned red as a follower whispered about what to do. He decided to teach those low-tier students a brutal lesson. Pointing at Chen, he ordered him to hand over the king herb. Chen replied coldly, and what if I don't? He threatened murder. Sure it'd face no punishment. Chen raised the king herb, daring him to try taking it. Duthi and Nat thought he was surrendering and ordered him to kneel. Chen grinned, saying he'd rather feed it to a donkey than give it to him. Duthi and Nat screamed, red-faced with rage. He howled again, unable to believe Chen actually fed the priceless king herb to a donkey. Chen laughed mockingly, bragging his donkeys had eaten nearly all the herbs while Du fumed uselessly. Duthi and Nat roared back, calling it a lie since no one could collect all 7 roots. Chen only shrugged, tossing out another taunt that made him explode. Out of control, Du charged at him, intent on killing, but suddenly, a radiant gate appeared, halting the fight. Everyone was shocked it was the exit portal of the king herb's secret realm. Duthi and Hat's face shifted. He ignored Chen and rushed to leave first. With arrogant pride, he told his men to retreat, claiming a glorious victory. Xinan looked at Chen regretfully, saying he should have been the first to clear it. Chen smiled confidently, certain that true glory could never be stolen. Outside, the crowd gathered tightly before the gate, waiting for someone to emerge. Someone wondered why still hadn't appeared. The teleport gate suddenly flared brilliantly, shaking the entire area. People panicked, thinking someone had cleared the legendary realm. No one ever could. Chen Diet shouted that it could only be decay, but Duthi and Nat stepped out first, wearing a triumphant grin. The crowd erupted, praising his team for making history. He held his head high, boasting of his and his team's glory. He sneered at Xinan and Tingting for missing their chance. Flatterers swarmed around, begging to join his team. He pounded his chest, claiming victory was thanks to his own brilliance. But just then, the system voice announced the true passers to Chen and Duan Tingting. Everyone froze in utter shock. Duthi and Nat was speechless, stammering in panic. One follower pointed blankly, muttering to Chen's now famous name. Duthi and Nat yelled in protest, insisting his team exited first. Chen stepped forward calmly, voice sharp as a blade, saying had collected all king herbs. Duthi and Hat's voice shook as he denied it, calling it a system error. But the system confirmed again that Chen gathered all king herbs and cleared the realm first. The crowd gasped, unable to believe every king herb was taken. Duthi and Nat stood frozen, refusing to believe it truly taken all 7 roots. Chen smirked and mocked that soon Du would have to take his surname. A pink-haired guy screamed that it was an absurd scam. The crowd buzzed in disbelief, questioning Chen's true identity. Someone shouted that he was the one who defeated Hong Thien Fai from the academy. They couldn't fathom a freshman achieving such an insane feat. Another voice added that he was Mirong Lao Kitch's boyfriend. The crowd exploded in chaos at the shocking revelation of the legendary student's lover. Chen groaned, rubbing his head, tired of Mirong's gossip storms. Duthi and Nat eyed him greedily, suspecting he still held the king herb. Chen turned to Duan Tingting, calmly asking for the Xu Lingji back. She immediately handed over the king herb she had kept. The crowd gasped, recognizing the rare, miraculous Xu Lingji. Duthi and Nat approached, trying to bargain for forgiveness in exchange for the herb. Chen said nothing, just slapped him hard, making him stagger. Red-faced, he screamed about being from the core academy line. Before he finished, Chen delivered another thunderous slap. Gritting his teeth, he shouted again about his noble family's warrior rank. Chen slapped once more, coldly declaring he now bore To's surname. Duthi and Nat trembled with fury, his aura exploding wildly. The crowd grew tense, fearing Chen had provoked a fiery warrior-class powerhouse. Everyone thought he far surpassed Hong Thien Fai. Leaving Chen cornered, Du roared and lunged, ready to show the power gap, but Chen struck first, his punch crackling like lightning. lightning. Dew was blasted back, teeth scattering across the ground. Chen smirked, mocking that the only difference was how weak he was. The pink-haired follower rushed in panic to help his fallen captain, carrying Dew away. He shouted threats that Chen had invited disaster. Elsewhere, two mysterious figures conversed in secret. Master Hu asked the headmaster how the king herbs would be divided after the trial. Headmaster Qinju coldly replied that 3 Chanfu students each got 1. 2 went to the Court Institute's elite team, and the last 2 to the Laza and Tong families. Those 2 long district clans getting shares seemed reasonable. Hokan nodded, deciding to have a space mage forcibly retrieve the herbs. Before they left, a student rushed in reporting a major disturbance in the realm. Qinju frowned, assuming someone had died from greed again. Hokan scoffed, saying only common students would do something that's stupid, but the trembling student said all the king herbs had been taken. The headmaster's eyes widened in disbelief. Hokan shouted, demanding who could possibly take all 7. The student swallowed hard, saying it was a freshman named Chen. Hokan froze, grimacing in utter disbelief. The student insisted they could check the realm's system log if they doubted it. Qinju spoke gravely, ordering an immediate verification. Meanwhile, I received a new system mission to withdraw from Qinjing Academy. I nearly lost my mind, shouting in outrage at the absurdity. Panting, I cursed under my breath that the system was a scam. Regaining composure, I handed the Xu Lingji to Zilong for healing. My friend was touched, gratefully accepting the herb with tears in his eyes. Just then, 2 high-ranking figures appeared, their presence silencing everyone. I clasped my hands in respect, maintaining calm before the superiors. Hokan's eyes widened, staring straight at the Xu Lingji in my hand. He confirmed my identity, asking if I was really to Chen. I nodded without evasion. Headmaster Qinju asked directly if I had truly gathered every king herb. I answered firmly that it was true. Hokan skeptically demanded to know where the rest were. I just shrugged, saying they'd all been digested. The crowd erupted, asking who had eaten them. I casually replied it was my donkeys. Both Hokan and the headmaster froze, faces blank. Hokan nearly screamed, accusing me of joking. I calmly explained I couldn't carry them out, so feeding the donkeys was better than wasting them. Hokan's face turned red with rage, calling me a fool wasting divine treasures. The headmaster raised a hand, cutting him off and demanding I hand over the Xu Lingji. I frowned and asked why I should. Qianju's face hardened, invoking her authority as headmaster. I stood tall, unfazed, declaring I'd already given it to my friend. Hokan sneered, saying I didn't understand the weight of her command. Zilong, nervous, urged me to give it up, saying he could wait, but I refused flatly, demanding they heal my brother first in exchange. Qianju said gravely that his wounds ran too deep would take 10 years and another king herb. I scoffed, rejecting that no one could make me wait a decade for a miracle. Qianju was stunned that I dared defy her so openly. I turned and firmly ordered Zilong to eat it now. My friend hesitated, eyes wavering with doubt. The crowd whispered, calling me a fool destroying my own future. I shouted again, urging him not to hesitate. Finally, Zilong clenched his teeth and swallowed the Xu Lingji without looking back. Hokan's face turned purple with rage, surging forward like a tsunami. But Qinju raised a hand, calm yet commanding, telling Master Hu not to lose his temper over a child. Duan Tingting hurriedly spoke up to defend me with good intent. Yet before she could finish, Qinju cut her off coldly, eyes icy on me. Then her tone softened, saying kindly I was her student, how could she be angry? She turned away and ordered word sent that the king herbs were all taken, so no distribution was needed. Zilong looked at me worriedly, warning I had just made enemies of the entire elite class. Lele cursed furiously, outraged at the academy's rotten conduct. I pondered silently, realizing the system had foreseen this. I no longer belonged here. Suddenly, Zilong's body burst with vitality, glowing with newfound life. He leaped up in excitement, realizing he could move freely again. I asked how he felt, testing the recovery's extent. Zilong said he felt fully strengthened, stronger than ever before. Lele couldn't hide his awe, stunned by the transformation. He looked at his friend with teary admiration. 3 days passed, and Lele fumed that the academy still ignored them. I nodded, saying it was expected they were isolating us, but I smiled, eyes shining with resolve. Rest time was over. Zilong asked who would lead the next mission. I declared boldly that if no one else would, I'd lead myself. I gestured for everyone to prepare. We would conquer every academy trial. As we walked, the group chatted eagerly. Li mentioned the upcoming disciple selection. Zilong worried they lacked a mentor and might face trouble. To enter the battlefield for training, a guide was mandatory, or entry was forbidden. I smiled thinly, eyes sharp, deciding to start with exploring a secret realm. Qianjing Academy held 7 exclusive spatial zones, ruling thanks to the King Herb realm. The other 6 remained unbeaten. Rumor said anyone who cleared all 7 would earn a rare academy reward. What kind of reward was so coveted by everyone? To clear them, students had to choose the highest nightmare difficulty. Was the academy elite title itself that reward? Exactly, those who conquered all 7 nightmare realms became elite members, far above ordinary students. Qianjing's hierarchy was brutally strict, with up to 369 ranks. Near the secret realm's gate, a crowd had already gathered, all eyes on them. Everyone noticed Chen's arrival and was genuinely shocked. He was at it again, never resting, always diving into danger. Zilong stepped up fearlessly, and the secret realm gate appeared. Someone whispered to young Master Leng that it was Chen himself. Leng warned not to mistake him again. They had to be sure. No doubt now Chen's name was known across Qinjing. One hot-headed guy wanted to challenge him for the realm and see his true skill. Calmly, Chen asked about the entry conditions, knowing the minimum was 2-star and the max difficulty hell. Suddenly, young Master Leng dashed forward to block Chen's way, but he was easily shoved aside and yelled at for standing in the way. Stunned by the sheer decisiveness, young Master Leng froze in disbelief. His followers whispered in shock that someone dared disrespect young Master Leng. Enraged, Leng shouted for the offender to stop. Chen turned back coldly, asking who exactly he was calling. Leng barked furiously, declaring himself someone worth knowing. Chen smirked, saying his title had nothing to do with him. Leng couldn't believe Chen's calm defiance. The crowd buzzed. Chen had just struck the hair of the mighty Tong clan. Leng fumed. It was the first time in his life he'd been slapped in public. Chen didn't back down, facing him again head-on. Leng laughed manically, finding the situation amusing. Li, confused, thought Leng had been smacked into stupidity. Provoked, Leng growled and demanded Chen choose how he'd like to die. Chen ignored him, strolling forward unfazed. The gate's voice announced the challenge selection for the Heart of Machinery realm. Without hesitation, he picked the highest hell difficulty. Instantly, all 4 members of his team were teleported inside. The crowd erupted as Chen entered hell mode, and Leng chased in rage. Many thought the group insane for choosing the death tier level. They mocked the poor squad, saying they'd die fast inside. Besides, anyone choosing Nightmare or above was sent to isolated zones, no direct rivalries. Leng, furious, boasted his team could clear hell with ease. Without delay, he too dove into the hell level after them. Onlookers gaped. Few had ever dared enter that mode. Sparking wild debate, the scene shifted to a dazzling futuristic city filled with advanced tech. A straight highway stretched toward the realm's final checkpoint. Suddenly, mechanical beasts emerged, their metallic gleam chilling the air. Without pause, Chen signaled. The attack flames erupted like thunderbolts. In seconds, the mechs were obliterated, leaving heaps of scrap. His teammates followed close behind, moving at blinding speed. Following Chen felt like riding a storm, sweeping away all obstacles. They neared the final area, but danger was just beginning. Chen spotted a colossal machine descending from above. He shouted for everyone to dodge immediately. The metal foot slammed down, scattering the team in all directions. Panic spread. They couldn't identify the terrifying enemy. A gigantic mech loomed, towering like a mountain, its aura oppressive. Everyone gawked at the sheer size of the mechanical monster. It was clearly the final boss, the Heart of Machinery's overlord. The machine's cold voice warned that challengers would be annihilated. Chen said nothing, ordering an attack using the flow strike combo. His donkeys charged, hammering its legs, but only metallic clangs rang out. Its defense was absurdly tough, far beyond the king her bosses. The mech's arm launched missiles, detonating in fiery blasts. Explosions flung Chen's donkeys in every direction as he shouted alarms. He immediately shifted tactics, commanding the herd to use scale armor flow. The armored donkeys formed a solid wall, blocking the boss's assault. The price was steep. 2 donkeys were destroyed for good, forcing Chen to end the battle fast. Chulong steps out, transforming into a fierce warrior woman to face the boss head-on. Lele anxiously asks if she's really ready. She nods firmly, saying the mechanical heart on its head is the weak spot only she can reach. Chen agrees, telling everyone to support her. The boss roars, mocking its puny opponents. It throws a massive punch, but Chulong skillfully rebounds into the air. Suddenly, a missile shoots straight toward her. Lele shouts a warning, spotting danger from behind. Zhongzhou reacts instantly, using his skill to deflect the strike. A violent explosion erupts, smoke covering the area. Chulong seizes the chance, clinging onto the machine's body and climbing fast. Everyone worries but praises her boldness. The boss swings its other hand at its shoulder to knock her off. She dodges and lands on the glowing back of its neck. At last, the mechanical heart is revealed. Lele cheers as she reaches the monster's weak point. She raises her axe, shouting as she prepares the final blow. But the boss head suddenly turns, its cold eyes locking on her. It smirks and charges energy in its mouth for a counterattack. Massive blast fires, sending Chulong flying. Chen panics, screaming her name. A donkey rushes in just in time, catching her safely on its back. As they land, the group runs to check on her condition. Gasping, she admits the boss is tougher than expected. Suddenly, the boss arm snaps, unleashing a storm of cannon fire. The team panics. Too much firepower to endure. Shinyu spots a gap 17 meters to the left. Without hesitation, they sprint that way. Moments later, explosions consume the rest, leaving only their spot untouched. Chen nods, pressed by Yu's precision. She explains her enhanced sixth sense lets her predict attacks. But before they can breathe, another wave of missiles launches. Yu shouts for everyone to move 9 meters forward. They survive again, stunned by the miracle. Chen remarks that with more growth, she could foresee the future. Chulong frowns, saying dodging forever isn't a solution. She yells and charges again, determined to end the fight. But the boss arm whips around like lightning, aiming to crush her. She narrowly evades, her movement light as a feather. Repeating her tactic, she leaps to strike from behind the neck. But the boss turns its head, grinning cruelly at her futile effort. Chen realizes in horror the enemy has no blind spots. The boss fires a dazzling cannon blast to finish it. Unexpectedly, Chulong dives straight into its mouth, shocking everyone. Chen freezes in disbelief at her reckless move. The boss roars, thinking she's signing her own death. But inside, Chulong unleashes a barrage of mighty punches, warping its head. The machine screams in agony, clutching its head and thrashing wildly. Soon, its ears tear apart, sustaining heavy damage. It howls madly, attacking itself from unbearable pain. Chulong has pinpointed its vital weaknesses. In an instant, the head explodes, and the giant body collapses lifeless. Chulong jumps out of the wreck, holding a glowing crystal. Victory as there's the hell boss is slain. Lele cheers, awed by Chulong's sheer coolness. The massive mech collapses, shaking the ground violently. A voice announces they've cleared the hell-level dungeon with its rank, each earning a mechanical heart. Chen is stunned. He never thought he'd get the God Slayer title. He explains the mechanical heart is an ultra-rare item, dropped only on a first hell clear. Lele wonders what the item actually does. Chulong says it upgrades skills but only benefits the mechanical class. Lele looks confused as a tank warrior, unsure if it applies. Chulong hands him the crystal, telling him to use it. He refuses, saying he's not worthy of such a treasure. Chulong insists as the only one suited to it. Lele hesitates, suggesting they sell it since he's the weakest. Chen slams the table, shouting that raising his power is the best way to contribute. Touched, Lele accepts and vows to grow stronger like Chulong, then begins absorbing it. As energy surges through him, sweat pours and his aura shifts violently. Yu curiously asks how it feels to transform. Lali, excited, says he feels like a transforming robot. A blinding light erupts around him as his body mutates. In a flash, he turns into a giant hammer floating midair. Tu-Chin gapes, unable to believe has become a hammer. Chu-Long frowns, suspecting a side effect from item incompatibility. Lali, still in hammer form, talks proudly about how awesome he feels. Tu-Chin laughs, saying at least it's not catastrophic. He decides to test the new power right away. Tu-Chin grips the hammer, eyes gleaming as he finds a target. He aims at a building and commands an attack. The hammer shoots forward, punching a massive hole in the wall. Everyone stares, but the building still stands. Tu-Chin scratches his head, saying the impact seems underwhelming. Suddenly, the hammer vibrates violently, making the whole structure shake. Seconds later, the entire building collapses into rubble. The group is stunned, unable to believe that destructive power. Chu-Long explains the skill attacks internal structures instead of the surface. Li reverts to human form, confidently declaring Hell be the team's weapon. Tu-Chin frowns, suggesting he phrase that better. All settled, the four leave the dungeon together. The crowd erupts as Tu-Chin's team emerges from the Hell dungeon. Some scoff, thinking they probably used escape stones after failing again, but then the system announces they're Hell clear of the mechanical heart dungeon. Everyone freezes, unable to believe someone actually beat Hell difficulty. Lali grins wide, relishing the crowd's stunned silence. Without resting, the group enters the next Hell dungeon, Dry Skull Swamp. Tu-Chin's fire squad tears through the dried corpses with ease. Compared to the mechanical heart, the other dungeons are clearly child's play. After clearing the Medicine King, only 5 dungeons remain, all far easier. The boss appears early but is soon surrounded and burned by the fire squad. Tu-Chin signals when the boss hits half a P for everyone to deliver finishing blows. The team moves in sync 3 strike at once. Boss drops instantly. Chu-Long is amazed they cleared it in under 5 minutes. Tu-Chin laughs, urging them to sweep the last 4 dungeons in one go. 30 minutes later, they emerge blazing with glory, having finished 77 Hell dungeons. The crowd outside freezes, stunned that Tu-Chin's group just blitzed every Hell dungeon. Whispers spread that Qianjing Academy might witness another prodigy like Morong Liu Ji. Meanwhile, other teams crawl out battered and half dead. Some gasp, saying Hell difficulty simply exceeds human limits. Young Master Lang spots Tu-Chen and screams. Shocked as alive, he points at the Tian Lang team limping out, confirming their crushing defeat. Proudly, he boasts Chen Lang lasted an hour before using escape stones, unlike Tu-Chen's lot. He keeps mocking, claiming Tu-Chen's team just faked entry and bailed early. Tu-Chen grabs his hand, eyes cold with fury. Lang shrieks in pain, stunned by the retaliation. Calmly, Tu-Chen asks which eyes of his saw their failure. Lang still argues, refusing to believe Tu-Chen could clear Hell mode. Tu-Chen tightens his grip till the man's fingers nearly snap. Lang howls, cursing and trying to pull away. He roars that Hell make Tu-Chen kneel and beg, but right then, the system lights up. Tu-Chen's team confirms rank in Mechanical Heart. Lang freezes, checking the results in disbelief. The board shows Tu-Chen also earns rank in Dry Skull Swamp. Another dungeon cleared, the Dry Skull Swamp fully conquered. Henzun trembles, seeing even the Deep Beast Marsh beaten with rating. All 7 dungeons display completed. Tu-Chen has cleared them all, and collapses to his knees, utterly stunned. Stammering, he mutters that now he understands why Morong Yu Li chose Tu-Chen. Admitting Tu-Chen's brilliance, he bitterly nods. The goddess had good taste. Tu-Chen smirks coldly, asking, convinced now? Young Master Lang bows his head, mumbling, eyes him convinced. Tu-Chen grins wider, saying, then call me dad. Lang chokes, speechless and humiliated. Suddenly, a glowing token descends from the sky, accompanied by a voice awarding him the title Academy here. Tu-Chen catches it, laughing triumphantly. From afar, Instructor Hu Jin rushes over, horrified that someone cleared all 7 Hell dungeons. When he sees it's Tu-Chen, he freezes, stunned that it's him again. The students murmur has the first ever to become an academy here without backing, earning massive respect. Some whisper the true reward is automatic induction into the human elite corps after graduation. Hu Jin approaches, his gaze unreadable. If Tu-Chen apologizes publicly, Hell forgive him and take him as a disciple. The entire plaza falls silent, being Hu Jin's disciple outranks even the hair title itself. But Tu-Chen folds his arms and coldly replies, apologize? For what mistake? The students gasp. Did he just defy the demon instructor? Hu Jin roars, accusing him of letting the Medicine King fall into unworthy hands. Tu-Chen calmly counters, I cleared the dungeon. The items mine, using it to save lives isn't wrong. Hu Jin snaps, so you refuse to admit your wrongdoing? Tu-Chen answers bluntly, I did nothing wrong. The old man glares. No one's ever been this defiant before him. Hu Jin coldly declares that to join the academy lineage, all hairs must approve, and Tu-Chen has offended many. The crowd murmurs has made things worse for himself. Some pity him for rejecting such a golden chance. Instantly, Hu Jin summons all academy hairs for a vote. A re-haired youth steps forward first, coolly voting no. Ong Chanfei trembles but also refuses approval. He reminds everyone Tu-Chen killed Bai Zanji in the Medicine King dungeon, warning the Bei clan will seek vengeance. Another hostile here shouts that Tu-Chen once attacked him, unfit to join the lineage. Voices of rejection erupt everywhere. The hairs unanimously deny Tu-Chen's entry. Hu Jin laughs loudly, declaring no one supports Tu-Chen's admission. Suddenly, a lone hand rises amid silence. A voice says, I approve. The crowd freezes. Hu Jin stares in shock. Young Master Lang, what did you say? Lang calmly replies, with those feats, Tu-Chen deserves it. The title should honor him. Someone yells, reminding everyone Tu-Chen stole Morong Yu Li and beat up Lang himself. Lang shrugs, he beat me fair, so I respect that. Hu Jin fumes, declaring one yes vote changes nothing, majority rules. Tu-Chen steps forward, firmly pointing out Hu Jin's original mistake. Hu Jin snaps, what mistake? Tu-Chen smirks, you think I crave your hair title? To me, it's worthless. He declares that since entering Qianjing, every so-called hair has only earned his contempt. The crowd buzzes while Hu Jin roars in fury at his insolence. Without hesitation, Tu-Chen crushes the hair token before them all. Hu Jin stands frozen, as if struck by lightning. Lele bursts out laughing, thrilled by the audacious act. Someone screams in rage, calling everyone to kill Tu Chen. Just then, a thunderous explosion shakes the sky. Everyone looks up, panicking. It sounds like an earthquake. Someone shouts, "No, look up there." A massive space gate opens, a black hole forms beyond the city. Someone whispers, "Are the aliens launching war near the academy? They're insane." Principal Batin Zhu flies in, voice booming like thunder, declaring level 1 alert, no one may leave their post. He orders all second years and above to follow him to the outskirts for battle. Before leaving, he glances at Tu Chen, saying coldly, "Consider yourself lucky this time." With that, he soars away in a flash. Hu Jin grits his teeth and departs, leaving threats behind as the crowd curses Tu Chen. Tu Chen clutches his head, wincing from the explosion's ringing echo. Lele rushes over, worriedly asking if he just leveled up again. He confirms Tu Chen has reached 4-star, a rare feat for any Qianjing freshman. Chulong nods, saying after clearing hell dungeons, they should all ascend 2 or be left behind. Tu Chen shrugs, 4-star, huh, still feels the same. The team returns to the ascension zone. Lele shouts with joy as all 3 hit 3-star. Chulong affirms it's a key step to true mastery. The power boost is undeniable. From afar, someone yells, "Tu Chen, it's Enjuandi Hui." He turns, surprised. Asking why she's here, she replies, "To join your team for the Broken God Realm expedition." He wonders aloud what exactly Broken God Realm means when invited to the team. Enjuandi Hui is shocked they don't know it's the massive event linked to the spatial anomaly outside the city. He recalls witnessing it firsthand, realizing that must be the so-called Broken God Realm. Enjuandi Hui confirms it's the official name. Now open, and alliances are sending elite teams to explore. Chulong asks why only teams are allowed, not solo adventurers. Enjuandi Hui explains the realm's unstable and deadly if monsters seize control. It could be catastrophic. Lele excitedly asks if Tu Chen plans to join. He eagerly agrees, seeing it as a chance to rise and break free from noble control. Enjuandi Hui says she'll accompany them on this expedition. Lele curiously asks her current rank. She calmly replies she's 2-star. Tu Chen frowns, scolding her. Entering such a deadly zone at 2-star is suicide. Enjuandi Hui stands firm, danger is the only path to change destiny. He sighs, calling her reckless and impulsive. Coldly, he adds he just hopes she won't drag the team into trouble. Enjuandi Hui solemnly vows not to hold anyone back. She'd rather die than cause harm. Tu Chen retorts she's being cruel to herself. From afar, a voice calls for him. It's Lei Shen. Requesting a meeting, the elder greets him warmly. Asking how he's been, another person replies that Tu Chen has caused shockwaves ever since entering Qianjing Academy. He recounts how Tu Chen seized the entire heart of the Medicine King and conquered 6 hardest dungeons. Lei Shen laughs heartily, saying his choice was clearly right. He announces the demon domain is now stable, so Hell returned to the academy. His companion asks in surprise why he's coming back. Lei Shen reveals his intent to officially take Tu Chen as a disciple. Everyone is stunned, a top-tier powerhouse taking a freshman apprentice. The subordinate bows and begins preparations for the transfer. Meanwhile, Tu Chen and his team continue their march forward. Morong Lily appears from afar, calling out that she needs to talk. She warns him about the new dungeon, clearly worried about his plan. She frowns, saying that place is far too dangerous for new students. He shrugs, saying testing limits is worth the risk. She grows angry at his stubbornness, but he refuses to change his mind. She hands him an item, a final gesture of concern, is startled to find it's a rare skill scroll. Morong Lily confirms it's the promised reward she mentioned earlier. He teases her, asking if she's being so nice because she likes him. Her face turns red as she tells him not to get ideas. She just doesn't want someone she believes in to die. She explains the scroll grants a random skill, and with a luck shard, it could yield an ultra-powerful one. He wonders how such a rare item could be obtained so easily. She simply shrugs, saying it's just information, nothing more. He forces a smile, sincerely thanking her. Back in his room, he muses that another skill never hurts. Suddenly, his body feels strangely hot. He digs into his bag and pulls out his parents' old heirloom box. One sealed tight, it now opens on its own. A glowing stone rises from within, floating mysteriously. He freezes, stunned by this unexpected gift from his parents. The stone melts, its energy flooding into his body. The luck shard is fused. It's time to activate the scroll. Without hesitation, he uses the item as planned. The system announces his acquired in strength skill corpse detonation. He shouts with excitement, luck beyond belief. The result far exceeds expectations. Seeing the name, he guesses it makes corpses explode, definitely worth testing. The team is ready, heading straight to the newly opened dungeon. The landscape radiates terrifying energy, putting everyone on edge. A disembodied voice requests confirmation of team data. Lai Lei reminds him they haven't chosen a name yet and tells him to decide. Laughing, he names it God's Lair. The team title is registered, declaring their mission to destroy all threats to humanity. Upon entry, the team instantly earns 3 military merit points. Lele is shocked, getting rewards just for registering. Chulong frowns, suspecting something's off since merit points are normally hard to gain. He admits the huge bonus might be compensation for extreme danger. Enjuandi Ho agrees but remains fearless. She even grins, showing off her hammer form skill that boosts power immensely. She confidently says with him leading, "Danger's nothing to fear." Lali, fired up, calls this their chance to etch the God's Lair name into history. Suddenly, Duan Jingjing calls his name from afar, startling him. As surprised he didn't expect her to join too. Smiling, she says she has gathered rare herbs and now seeks greater fortune in the Broken God realm. Crowds flood the area, all eager to earn glory. In the sky, teams soar proudly, flaunting their might and ambition to rank top. Rival teams immediately counter, vowing to defend humanity's honor. And Juan Yui gazes upward, realizing the scale. Nearly every academy elite team is here. The sight shows tens of thousands already entering the realm. A massive warship suddenly appears in the sky, leaving all stunned. On its bow stands a young man radiating overwhelming power. It's the Kongqin Mother ship, heralding the arrival of a living legend. Lele panics, shouting who could shake heaven and earth like that. Injuan Hui calmly replies, "That's Ming Reachin King." Lele looks blank, unfamiliar with how famous this person truly is. Injuan Hui explains that among Qianjing's top 3 prodigies, aside from Mo Rong, Ming Rai is the one has always dreamed of surpassing. Many teams cheer wildly, calling him their true idol, a peak 5-star powerhouse. He asks if that warship is Ming Ra's innate ability. Ju into Ho confirms it's the ultimate mecha master's creation, capable of slaying gods in one strike. The colossal battleship glides smoothly forward. Entering deep into the dungeon, several groups rush after it, hoping Ming Ra's power will shield them a chance for survival. Without hesitation, he commands his team to advance into the realm. As they step in, space twists violently beneath their feet. Chulong stays alert, realizing they're surrounded by golden sand. The team's been scattered upon entry.